I feel like whenever I have a rant telling people to shut up, I'm sure people are thinking, but you do a podcast.
That's true, with your opinions on it.
But it's optional.
And also, there's almost certainly somebody building a supercut of all your rants.
Yeah, no doubt. When I was a kid, a very young man, I remember I went to one of my parents' friends' house.
Yep.
And you know when you're a kid, I don't know about you, but I hated all of my parents' friends' kids.
Yep,
most of them. Because I'm like, why are you forcing me to hang out with this guy? Like, we have nothing in common. And when you leave the room, he punches me because he's like 3 feet taller than me.
Right, okay.
And he's older. Anyway, I went to this guy's house and he's like, what movie do you want to watch? And I'm like, I want to watch Batman. You've got Batman. You're one of those kids with a TV in your room and a VHS player. Because you're one of those prick kids from the 90s. He was like a villain from the, a kid's villain from the 90s.
Yeah.
And
he wore a little ascot and a blazer.
That's it. And he was much older than me and clearly smarter. He kind of looked like, Buzz from Home Alone. You know, Macaulay Culkin's older brother with like the pig face. So he drew out the whole process of, okay, we could do it. How about we hold a raffle? And he cut up all these little tickets to like, so we could do like a raffle and we can draw which one it was. And by the time that he managed to do this, my parents came in and like, we're going to go. So I missed it. And if I ever see that guy again, I'm going to knock all these fucking teeth out. Like legitimately.
Wow, this is your own. You're gonna tie that guy to a gargoyle, push him out of a helicopter.
What a prick!
Yeah.
He was also one of those guys who'd play the Nintendo.
I see why I see why you created this podcast. Is to do about 9 episodes to cover up what this is, and then you're just gonna let loose on all your childhood bullies. I understand. I get it. I don't approve, but do your thing.
Sure.
Anyway, sorry.
He also had a Nintendo, and he'd just play it in front of me for hours. Just be like, no, you can't play.
Wow.
What a jerk.
Yeah.
Man, I hate that guy.
Does that have anything to do with the ending of Batman?
No. First off,
yes.
Ask me how I am.
How are you?
I'm not happy.
Really? Wow.
And I'll tell you why.
Yep.
You know what came out in everywhere else in the world this week?
That we didn't get.
Yeah.
At cinemas.
Yes.
What?
The Hobbit 2. Desolation of Smaug.
Smaug.
Yeah.
Smaug.
Unfucking believable. This has been an ongoing thing since the Lord of the Rings movies. We get them on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
And everybody else
for
gets
Americans is the day after Christmas.
Yeah, that's right, sorry. Which is, why do we get them so late?
I don't know, because although...
There's nothing out!
Steady, mate. Did you like the last one?
No, but apparently this one's really good. No, I didn't hate it, but apparently this one's really good.
So you were ramping up and you were super aggro.
Well, I want to review it and talk about it, but I can't, can I?
Yeah, that's true.
People are like, what do you think of it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. It's probably good. You fucking tell me.
Great, well...
See, I'm swearing a lot, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Too much.
We'll not edit that out, but...
There's that, they were talking up the bit where Ghost Rider fights a helicopter. And that scene is basically, he's on top of a building, and Ghost Rider whips the helicopter.
Just waggles the chain for a bit.
Pulls it in a little bit, and then's like, beat it, helicopter, and they're like, oh,
get out of here!
And they leave.
Yeah.
There's no fight.
There's no fight at all,
He just whips a helicopter.
Okay, well, we're going to check this off your list of personal issues that you're working through on this podcast. Angry at the part where Ghost Rider fights a helicopter. We did it, okay.
Alright. The Amazing Spider-Man.
I've seen it, no I haven't.
You've seen that 10 seconds.
Yeah, I've seen that 10 seconds. Was it in the first 10 seconds?
No.
Okay.
There's a bit in that movie where Peter Parker, after he fights the lizard, and he goes to Kurt Connors, who is the lizard.
Yep.
Who he knows has been working with lizards.
Right.
And regrowing
Smallville
lids.
syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, excuse me, Dr. Connors. And the doctor turns around and he's kind of thinning on one side of his hair and he's got like scales down his neck. And he's like, ah! Like he's like that. And he's like, could you tell me how to kill a giant lizard?
Right.
And he's like, why do you want to know about lizards? Lizards are they're the greatest. Ah! And Peter Parker's like,
I wish I was a lizard. I am a lizard.
And Peter Parker's like, okay, that's interesting. Alright, makes sense. And then Connors leaves. And then you think, I thought when I saw this, he's twigged.
Yeah.
Because he's just playing along.
Right.
But then he looks down and he sees a rat that he was experimenting on, or a mouse, and he sees that it's turned into a half lizard, half rat. And then you see him go, oh my god. And not like the penny dropped. Why did it take that point the penny dropped? You're supposed to be smart, Peter Parker!
It's a good point. Rant over?
Yes. But you know what? What really annoyed me about that guy, and I know he's cold, but he's like, back bad. After you beat him up, he's like, back bad, they've taken my wife, find my wife. And I'm like, alright, I'm gonna do this because I'm Batman. I'm not really Batman in the game. I was Batman.
Correct. Yes.
So I go and I find him, and it's a whole thing.
Yep.
And I come back.
It's a real ordeal.
It's a real ordeal. Took me a while. I come back and I'm like, here's your wife. Mr. Freeze's like, thank you, Batman. And he just turns back to his lab.
That's
and I'm like, you fucking prick. And if I could have killed him, I would have.
Yeah.
Sure. The Wizard of Oz is a shit bloke. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you why.
yeah.
You know, at the end, first of all, he doesn't want to help anybody or see anybody. Mm-hmm. So it gets to that point in his life. Who knows how that happens? Maybe he gets punched in the balls. I don't know.
That's almost certainly that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's somebody's like, he does everybody favours and he helps everybody out, and then one day somebody gets an appointment with him and he's like, I want to see the wizard, and they're like, come on in, anything you like, and then punch in the balls.
Yeah, and it's not even the witch or anything, it's just a guy. It's
just a guy, yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the original Wizard of Oz, you know, he's like, I'm not going to help you. Then he's like, you know what, I will help you. And then he gives him some bullshit metaphorical gifts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he's like, you know what, I'll take you back to Kansas. Let's go. And then the balloon takes off. And then he's like, oh, sorry, bye, can't help you. And he just fucks off. Like, he doesn't make any attempt to come back. Mm-hmm. She's trapped there. Well, she thinks she's trapped there. And as far as he knows, she's trapped there. What a dickhead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wizard of Oz, worst movie ever.
Absolutely worst movie ever.
But when I saw this movie, I went and saw it with my brothers. Mm-hmm. And it was in, Who You Know.
Yes.
No,
I think one of them's great.
No, I didn't see this in, it was in 3D.
Uh-huh.
And I don't like 3D.
No.
I hate being forced to see 3D. Mm. But anyway, the movie wasn't starting. They're like, we're having trouble with the 3D projector. So it was like about 15, 20 minutes late. And this guy behind me is like, oh, come on, this is ridiculous. And you know what? And I said this really loudly. I don't normally snap. That's not true. Sometimes I snap. But I'm like, oh, who's this
Your life is mostly a series of you snapping.
But I'm like, look at this fucking Mr. Important guy who's got something so important that he can't wait 15 minutes for a fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? What's so important? I don't know, it just really annoys me, that kind of shit. You can't just sit with your dumb fucking wife and shut your mouth. You know, you have to make a big song and dance about it.
Okay, when it got going, did they play all the ads and all the trailers? Or did they just get straight into the movie?
That's a really good question. I think they might have got straight into it. Also, another good thing that happened, they came out and said, sorry, we have to do the 2D cut, and here's a free movie ticket.
Love it.
So maybe that's why I think it's the best movie ever.
That's probably it.
But
free stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
God damn it, though. I hate people in the cinema. Really.
You've mentioned it a lot. In real life, on this, you mention it to people in the cinema.
Just really annoys me. Keep your fucking thoughts to yourself. Yeah. I've emceed some weddings like a cool kid. Just up there. Just tearing it up. Just cracking wise.
Just cracking wise like a mad dog.
That being said, yeah, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
So, don't ask me to MC your wedding.
No, fine, God.
Yeah. Jerk.
No.
I want to relax at a wedding.
Yeah.
It's like having a job. It's like saying, come to a wedding, do a job. Because you got to organise everything. I've diverted again, haven't I?
You really have.
You know why Captain Planet's the worst?
Why's that?
Okay, first of all, you get your team of environmental nerds together.
Uh-huh.
Shut up, first of all.
Yeah, shut up,
your
nerds.
stupid environmental stuff or whatever. Look after the environment, but shut up. Okay?
Good point.
Stop banging on about it. You give them each a ring of power or whatever, and they all can do different things. But they can't actually solve anything by themselves. Why go through the whole charade that you're going to solve anything? Because you know you're going to call him.
Right.
Just call him from the start. Don't waste my time. It could be a 2-minute show. Get him in. He dumps some water on a guy and he goes, you're all washed up. And then they go, good work, Captain Planet. And he goes, thanks. You guys are fucking useless. And then he disappears.
This again.
Movie.
No, don't do it. No.
And you know what else sucks about Captain Planet?
Yes.
If you get the slightest amount of pollution or rubbish on him, he just falls apart.
Yeah.
He's completely useless.
Yeah.
So if he came at you and you slapped him with, I don't know,
like an old all you have to do is keep in your pocket like one of those old styrofoam McDonald's containers, like an old Big Mac container, and he just comes at you and you just shove it on his face. You clamp it around his face, and he falls into a coma.
No, well, I was with a guy yesterday. He's like a friend of a friend from school. He's in the group, you know?
Right, yeah.
And every conversation, he'll bring up cars in that conversation. So he'll be like, I met this girl, and then he's like, and she drives this particular car. Uh-huh. Like that adds anything to the story.
Right.
Like he'll be like, or his story will start.
She challenged me to a race.
Yeah, exactly. I pulled up at the lights, and I saw this car, and then I went to the supermarket. It's like, you could have cut that bit out about the car.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not good. I remember they printed that in the newspaper.
Uh-huh.
Like the proper newspaper.
Back when we had newspapers,
Back when we used to have newspapers.
Uh-huh.
If newspapers got delivered to my house, there would just be a pile of newspapers out the front.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys.
Which would later become a bonfire.
I hate it when I get the local paper in my fucking letterbox. I pull it out and I'm like, every fucking week with this shit. Nobody reads this. It's like a phone book. Why are you sending me a fucking phone book? That's it. That's all I have to say.
Good. Well, now we can close out the podcast because that was your vendetta for the week. It's against local community, apparently.
I am against local community. I don't care if you've built a new fucking retaining wall at the local kindergarten.
What about a skate park?
No.
Are you against a skate park?
Fuck off with your skate park.
Wow.
I hate skate parks. Do whatever, build them or whatever. But I don't care.
Okay, good.
Garbage. Oh, who's the new mayor? The local Shire mayor. Who gives a fuck? You don't do anything. Just collect my bin and fucking leave me alone. Am I wrong? I'm fucking not wrong.
Email in, listeners. This should be a video for the week, I think.
Just about this?
Yeah, absolutely.
God, I'm gonna stop.
Anyway, Catwoman.
Yeah.
How did that set you off?
I have no idea. I fucking hate local council. Leave me alone. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, good. Well, you'll edit most of this out. It'll be
I
fine.
hope so, yeah. But I said to Matt Taylor, I knew a guy called Matt Taylor from my school, and I fucking hated him.
What a surprise.
This is a different guy. Yeah, real dickhead.
Uh-huh.
But this guy's not a dickhead. It's great. It's a really good stage show.
Okay then.
Yeah. But they don't always translate well, Mason.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, haven't seen that.
Right.
That's one I refuse to see, because I remember I saw ads and like, people are loving, people are raving about Mamma Mia, and then they cut to the crowd and everyone's standing up and singing ABBA. Heads up. ABBA are fucking terrible. They're a terrible band from a terrible era, and I wish they never existed. They won the Eurovision Song Contest, and I'm sorry if you love the Eurovision Song Contest, but it's fucking garbage. I'm not even a big fan of, like, I like music or whatever. I don't know
We
that
know
much
you like
about
musicals. You've made that abundantly
No,
clear.
music, I'm saying, but yeah, it's not good.
I think you only love music if it's accompanied by, like, synchronized dancing.
Yes.
And a sort of a plot where everybody talks, sings everything.
Yeah. I remember mine. I can tell you if you want.
Okay,
I think I was at primary school and some guys come in to show off the internet.
Oh.
And they were like, you love movies, right, kids? And we're like, I guess so.
I mean, we kind of hate everything at this age, but sure. We're surly.
And they're like, do you want to see the website for the Independence Day movie starring Your Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and whatever? And everyone's like, you're kidding, right? He's like, you can get photos of behind the scenes and whatever. And everyone's like freaking out because they're like, this is going to be amazing. So they load this webpage and it just jams immediately.
Right.
It loads like a quarter of a picture of a ship.
Oh, I remember
and
when
then,
that
and
was...
then, yeah. And then they're like, it's not working. And I'm like, this is the worst invention that anybody has ever made.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Uh-huh.
I mean, come on. They should have waited till the internet was really, really good.
Yeah.
They should have waited till 2011 and then released the
That's
internet.
right, yeah.
That's what I think.
Uh-huh.
So that was my first internet experience.
Sounds
and boy,
really good.
what a memory. But you couldn't swim because of the amount of crocodiles and sharks that were out there.
Uh-huh.
And we used to take a fishing boat out every weekend. And so there were a lot of local guys there, like indigenous guys, and they had no problem with it. They just go in the water. But you could see the crocs in the water.
Uh-huh.
And you could see just the heads. And for anyone who's never seen a crocodile, they're terrifying. And they're basically all the dinosaurs were wiped out and whatever, except for the crocodiles.
That we know about.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
And they're pure. All the instinct is to just kill anything that basically comes across it. And you see the heads in the water. So if the one who was at this particular spot, the boat launching ramp, the head was 1 meter long. But that means that it's 5 times the length of the head.
Right.
So this croc was 5-6 meters long.
Yeah.
Right. And so every week we take this boat out, and you'd have to take the boat out waist deep into the water to launch it, to get it going and get it set up. And I'll be standing waist deep in the water with a mate of mine who was there. He's a great guy, Andrew. I think he listens to the show. Hello, Andrew. Great bloke. And shitting myself every week, because you never get used to that.
Uh-huh.
The bloke was like, it's fine. I'm like, it's not fine. I can literally see a crocodile, and these things can swim like you fucking could not believe. Like, you see one, it goes down to the water. It could be on you in like 3 seconds.
Uh-huh.
They're ridiculous. I fucking hate crocodiles.
Wow.
In addition to that,
That's your vendetta for
that's
this
my
week.
vendetta.
Crocodiles.
I just hate them. They spook me right out. But I'm like, why do you swim in here? The local guys. And like, it's fine. I go, well, what's your trick? And they go, you know what you do? Whenever you feel like there's a crocodile, you get out of the water. I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's not anything.
Right.
You're not magic. Don't tell me this. That's nonsense. So yeah, hate Australian animals.
Right, yeah, that's the point, yeah.
Yeah.
That we're trying to make here.
Because you know I have a personal hatred against this man.
Is it John Travolta?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work at all.
He doesn't work on, no, not at all.
Too many chances, Mason.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. He's got too many chances.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a friend of a friend that you sit next to at a wedding.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Don't you hate that? You go to a wedding and they pair you up with some idiot they think you'll get along with.
Yeah.
This is my friend Blur, he's at a Blur. And immediately I just blank.
Yeah.
He's like,
you like him, he's really funny. Will I like him because he's really funny? Will I hate him instantly because, yeah.
He's not that funny.
No, maybe he is that funny and now I feel threatened. Or he's not that funny and I'm like, you think I'm funny like that guy, really? Now I hate two people, him and you.
Sure. And maybe he's the funniest guy in that girl's office who invited you to the wedding.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's always wearing a crazy t-shirt.
Yeah.
And on crazy hair day, maybe he sprays his hair pink or something.
Sure.
What a dickhead. My arch nemesis.
It's all your personal vendettas. That's your arch nemesis.
You bloody know it.
Yeah.
The combined personalities of all my personal vendettas. So that would, make things easier for me.
Yeah.
If they were all one person, I could just
Hit him with a brick.
it's all over.
Yeah.
Then suddenly I'm friendly with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But my personal hatred, unless you've got anything to add to your nemesis, you're
Nah,
super motivated.
he's super motivated, yeah.
How many sit-ups can he do?
Well, more than me, so one.
Maybe he's training for a marathon.
Yeah.
He's always training for a marathon.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I hate this guy.
Yep.
So basically, for me, it's a similar kind of thing.
Yep.
It's a guy I work with, right? And this has happened to me many times. And he really likes me, and I only kind of like him.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every time you go to work, he's always there. And when you go home from work, sometimes he messages you or calls you, and it's about nothing. What are you up to? Nothing. Wasn't that thing a good thing that happened at work today? Not really. You know what? This is my time now that you're impeding on. Maybe he wants to start running with you after work. I like to run alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to run with you. Right? What else? Let me think. You have a lunch break. I like the lunch break alone. He wants the lunch break with me all the time and whatever, and we have to sit
Do
together.
you know what my least favourite thing in the world is?
What?
My least favourite thing. Well, one, bigotry, certainly.
Sure.
That's number two. No, that's number three. Okay, hang on, let me think. That's number two. Number three is being punched in the face.
Yep.
Number one is being interrupted while I'm eating.
You hate that, do you?
It's the worst. I hate it so much. The further along in the meal I am, the more annoying it gets. If I've got one bite of a sandwich left and the doorbell rings and it's somebody doing anything, really, just existing, they're going to get
Do you answer it?
I try not to.
Yeah, I don't answer my door a lot of the time.
No, don't.
Because if I'm not expecting someone, I'm just like, not getting it.
Yeah.
It's probably not for me, or it is. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody like that. Somebody that you can't get away from, who values your friendship more than you value
He's
theirs.
omnipresent.
Yeah.
You know what? I think this guy, and if we're going to make him a supervillain, he has the power to know where you are all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I come out in the morning and maybe I'm going to catch the train to work that day, but he's waiting for me in his car. Because he's nice enough to give me a lift. That's the other thing. He's a nice enough guy where I can't be like, listen, fuck off.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got to work with this guy every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is my nemesis. Not someone who completely hates me, someone who likes me way too much.
I understand. Sure.
And I'm sure I've done that to somebody as well. I'm sure that I'm that guy in somebody's life. I'm probably that guy in your life.
Yeah. Nah, you're right.
So that's my nemesis.
Yeah, I understand.
But then again, hit him with a brick.
Hit him with a brick. What's he going to do? Nothing.
Yeah.
He ain't brick proof.
That's it. Like Meccano.
Like Meccano, exactly.
Meccano is too complicated.
It's alright.
For kids. Get it out of here.
Alright, fine. God.
Now look, I just wanted to bring this up.
Yes.
Australian ads for TV shows are the worst.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because it's like, a lot of the time for every drama, if there's a drama, in the ad they'll show like a little bit of drama and then someone will go, so much drama. Like, have you noticed that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like shit like that. Or like, there's enough, like, they'll be like, there's a secret in this town.
There's always a secret.
And then someone says, what's the secret?
Yeah.
Every commercial.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
It's the worst.
I haven't watched commercials in years, but I'm glad to see that the trend is
Well,
continuing.
Mason,
forever.
I've been watching The Bachelor, Australia.
Of course.
Yeah, Australian television is terrible in general, even the stuff that's good that they occasionally show.
Uh-huh.
I don't like it,
Great.
and I wish it would all go away. So I was in the park, right?
Uh-huh.
And dog, and whatever. I was speaking to this woman. And
Is
she was,
this in somehow related to comic book movies?
Yes.
Oh.
And TV shows, which is what we're talking about
Oh.
today, or a little bit.
Okay.
When we get to that thing that we got to talk about or whatever.
All right.
And, we're talking, I'm like, oh, you don't watch any TV shows or whatever, because, someone's normally like, oh, watch Breaking Bad, I watch Game of Thrones.
Otherwise, you're just talking about your dogs.
Exactly. And I hate talking about my dog, and I hate talking about other people's dogs more than I hate talking about my own dog. And she's like, oh, no, I don't know TV, I don't watch TV. I'm like, so you don't do, so what do you do in your downtime? And she's like, well, I have a computer, so I just download, like, shows and I watch it. You do watch TV.
You do, exactly.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
No, you don't say, if you ask somebody what TV shows they watch, they should tell you what TV shows they watch. They shouldn't open with, I don't own a TV, because we know the roundabout answer is gonna be,
Yeah.
no, okay, I actually do. Just answer the question.
That person just wanted to say, I don't own a
Correct,
TV because I
correct.
paint or whatever that I do.
Yeah.
I once met a guy, I asked him, I said, was something like, what are you into? Movies, music, whatever. And he's like, oh, I don't really watch movies, I paint. Which again is fine, but don't be a knob about it.
Right.
When can bent brim hats come back? That's when I'll start wearing a hat again.
I like a bent
I'm
brim
not
baseball
wearing
hat, yeah.
a straight brim hat.
You can bend your own. Like you bend
Yeah,
it
but it's
yourself.
not cool to wear them.
Oh,
And I'm not wearing a straight brim hat because, quite honestly, they look fucking ridiculous.
it's true.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Life is a series of mysteries and challenges. And people hugging you when... Don't hug me. That's all I'm saying. I don't like being hugged.
Send him graphic Snapchats instead.
Do you like being hugged? Actually, not. If I have a few drinks, I love a hug. But other than that, not a fan.
There you go.
Get away from me. Also, hate the kiss on the cheek.
Uh-huh.
Stupid. I remember...
Oh, why are we ending on this? I don't care what you remember about this.
I had a group of friends at uni, and
Yes.
you'd be like, I'm going to get a sandwich. And then it'd be kisses on the cheek all around.
From a sandwich. Because you're going to be away for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I
weird.
just, no. Why do you have to press your face against someone else's face? Why?
Let's leave on that.
I do it.
Let's leave on old...
I do it, but
let's
I
leave
don't
an old,
like it.
old personal display of affection Grinch over here. Let's leave on that.
You bloody
Now,
right.
before we started this, you were setting up all the equipment.
Yeah.
And you just went, ugh. And I'm like, oh, is there something wrong with the equipment? Did you delete something important or whatever? And I'm like, what's going on there? And you were like, oh, I just thought of somebody who hugged me this week and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's troubling.
It was a guy I don't really know that well, and he came up behind me.
Oh,
And
the
did
surprise
the
hug.
double the hands over, and it just made me, when like
He linked the hands in front.
He linked the hands, and it was like, how you doing? But he's like on me, like
Yeah.
right, like on my face,
like
on me,
like an angry backpack.
exactly.
Yeah, I understand.
So yeah, and when every part of your body just like
Clenches
seizes
up. Yeah, totally.
So yeah, that was great.
So you've just been having flashbacks to that.
Pretty much, exactly.
You did that SNL sketch,
That really
which you
good
don't
one.
like.
It's not good.
Yeah, alright, fine.
It's not well written, and it's
Let's
badly
not dwell on
paced.
it.
No, shut up. It's badly paced.
Yeah, but most SNL sketches are badly
Yeah, I know,
paced.
but not only that, he doesn't have the comedy chops, or he clearly just was reading off an autocue or whatever that was made. I tell you what, I'm not a comedy writer, but if you
You're telling me.
if you gave me
Yes.
if you gave me Jeremy Renner, I could write a better sketch than that.
Right. Even without Jeremy Renner.
No.
Okay.
I
that's
need
the-
Renner.
You need him as your muse. It's Christmas, James. It's Christmas.
Boy, is it.
Yes.
Great
absolutely.
song.
Yeah. Isn't it though?
I have beef with the Little Drummer Boy.
With the idea of the song.
Yes.
Once
The whole-
again, famously, you have a lot of beefs on this show, mostly against your high school bullies, but this time it's a musical.
Yes.
Thing.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
For something that probably didn't happen.
Sure.
Okay, so this drummer boy,
Yes.
whose job is to be a drummer, I guess.
Sure, yep.
He's like the Flea from whatever era that from 2,000 years ago. Is Flea the drummer?
Flea played bass.
He did
How dare
too.
you.
Sorry. Is it bass and drums though? They're similar, aren't they?
No.
Okay, so he doesn't have a gift.
Yes.
So his gift is, I'm just gonna bang this drum near this newborn baby.
Babies love that. Babies love to be disturbed. Parents certainly love that. Absolutely.
Fantastic. I hated Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, all right, fine.
He's a dickhead.
No, I also hated Inspector Gadget. I wasn't going to go there, but you're
Why?
right. He's got all the amazing technology and he wastes it.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
And he always goes
dangerous.
after the dog. He's dangerous.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's got a laser in one of those
Doesn't know
fingers.
what's up with that.
There's one scene in that. I think we've talked about this before.
Don't care.
There's one scene, there's one bit I liked in every episode of every Inspector Gadget I've seen. There's one bit I like where like he goes like water skiing or something, and the bad guys like trap him underwater in like this iron cage kind of thing, and he just kind of like he pulls the laser out and he cuts through the bars and he kind of just walks out like it's ain't no thing, like he actually uses his powers correctly. And I'm like, good, apply that to the rest of your career. He
doesn't even know that he's done anything at the end.
Yeah.
Like the chief comes in and is like, you've done it, and it was clearly his niece and the dog that did it.
Yeah.
And he just takes credit. He just goes, yep.
Yeah.
He's clearly insane.
Exactly. Like, what world does he live in? He's got cyborg madness, is what he has.
Good live action adaptation, though.
No, incorrect.
I haven't seen it.
Do you mean the one with French Stewart?
I do.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I went to a music festival for the first time in many, many years.
Oh, yes.
It was okay.
You're still a young man. You can enjoy a music festival.
Yeah, I know, but like, it was for 1 hour and a half to line up for a drink. It was the Beat the Drum Festival, for anybody who doesn't know. 40 years of Triple J. If you're outside of Australia, or even if you're in Australia, you probably don't know what I'm talking about.
Great.
But there's a good lineup of bands and whatever. But hour and a half for a drink, right? For like
Crazy.
Canned beer or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It was...
Did you say canned beer?
Canned beer.
Nobody says canned beer.
What do you say?
A can of beer.
It's canned beer. It's in a can.
This is... What are
you talking about?
Nobody says canned beer.
Everybody says canned
Email
beer.
in, listeners. This is what this podcast is all about. Finding grammatical errors, weird syntax things, calling people out on. Nobody says canned beer.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Nobody says canned bean. Maybe they do.
People say canned beans. Give me some bloody canned beans, mate.
All right.
Anyway, it was fine. Like, it was hot, and the bands were okay. I was really far back because I don't want to be up the front and people, like, sweating on me and whatever.
Uh-huh.
But there was,
It sounds like the ideal environment for you. Lots of people you don't like.
And don't know.
Very little access to alcohol, so you can't numb the pain away.
But it wasn't like, a lot of music festivals are, like, weirdly aggressive. Like, this one wasn't kind of like that, which was good. But there was one bit I was drinking my canned beer.
Oh, yes?
And this guy walked... And I was standing by myself. Like, there was no one around. Well, I wasn't by myself. I was with friends, but there was nobody around me, right?
Uh-huh.
And he walked past...
You alienated all your friends by that point in the day, sure.
And he, like, put his hip into me. Like, threw his hip into me, right? For nothing.
Uh-huh.
So, he didn't turn around, I kept walking, so I took my can and I threw it and I hit him in the back of the head. So... I don't condone that, but at the same time, he deserved it.
You're missing an essential element of that story, which is which direction did you run in after you?
I didn't run. He didn't turn around. The day continued. It was very weird.
Wow.
So yeah, look, I'm not.
Did you know that he beat you to a pulp and you're in a coma right now? We're not even doing a podcast right now.
I'm not a violent person, but don't shove me. I think the biggest thing was I think they stopped marketing a lot of sugar cereals.
Yeah, totally.
Because they don't really push those here as much as they do in the States.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I hate that shit anyway. I'm not a fan.
Wow.
Do you like it?
Look, steady on with your trademark rant there, mate. We've had enough of it, all right?
What cereal do you enjoy?
No, I like Frosties. I won't lie to you.
I like Everybody Mason.
Oh.
Well. Yeah. Nah. I like most people.
Great.
But I don't like being forced to interact with people.
Nah, that's bad, isn't it?
You know what I hate?
What's that?
Board games. You know what I hate when you're sitting around at a party?
Oh, yes.
This is
We've all been there.
Yeah. Or like, it's just you're just having a few drinks or whatever, and someone's like, you know what we should do? We should play a card game or a board. Can't we just sit and talk?
Yeah,
Can't
that's
we just,
good, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that's what I like doing, just bullshitting.
I find also that the play a board game has been slowly replaced by, hey, have you seen this funny video on YouTube? Then it's time to go home.
You're right. Yeah. That is the point.
Uh-huh.
Normally there's one, but then it spirals out into just... Mm-hmm. And then normally there's one where someone's like, oh, this isn't actually that funny in hindsight. I like board games if I know it's coming, but don't spring one on me.
All right, steady on, mate.
And what I hate about James Bond, Q's always like, here's a laser watch. Like, this will save your life. And it does. And he's always like, fuck off, Q. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But Q
You'd
has...
be dead dozens of times over. If
a
Q had
movie. Like, yeah. And he just treats all the stuff like garbage.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Like, god damn it.
Go on, mate.
This is why I don't really like James Bond as a person. He's so ungrateful.
Yeah.
Because he's grew up rich. He's an asshole.
That's true.
You know who I don't
Windows.
like?
Yes, who's that?
Michael Hutchinson, right?
He's dead.
I know he's dead, but you know what? I'm going to say this. Fuck
Okay.
it. Michael Hutchinson, for people who don't know, he was the lead singer
mean
of
Michael
InXS.
Hutchins?
Hutchins, sorry.
Yep.
Lead singer of InXS. He can be in my superhero team of people whose names I mispronounce.
Sure.
Yeah. Which we talked about last week. But lead singer of InXS, right? Now, but prior to this story that I heard about him, he had a fall when he was drinking, or somebody hit him and he knocked his head and he was never quite the same. Right?
Uh-huh.
So I acknowledge that was a thing that happened. Anyway, just before, maybe a year or so prior to his death, he was doing a ABC Studios. He was doing a show there, right? He was singing a song. And the way he entered the studio late was he burned into the foyer on a motorcycle, did like a big kind of burnout.
Yep.
And then got off his bike and he did the same thing on the way out, leaving this big black kind of light across the foyer floor.
Right.
And his bandmates were like, yeah, that's so Michael. He's so cool. No, that is an asshole thing to do. Like, cause somebody's job is to now clean that up because you had to make a big song of dance about it coming in and just being a total dickhead. That's not cool. Am I wrong? People are divided on this. The Batmobile, right?
Yes.
I fucking hate it. Like,
yes.
I just hate it. Look, I like the mechanics of it.
Right.
You know how it plays? Did you ever play those Transformer War of Cybertron games?
A little bit.
Where, like, you could race as a normal car,
Yep.
and then you hold down, like, a shoulder button, and you can, like, strafe like a tank.
Okay, sure.
It plays like that.
Right.
And it's great.
Okay.
But they force you so many scenarios where just let me out of this fucking tank and let me punch somebody.
Right.
But instead I'm engaged in these multiple tank battles every 10 minutes with other tanks, and then there's like stealth tank
The Arkham
missions.
Knights tanks.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just, and I like it, but I'd like it more like, oh, there's a group of guys. I'm going to call the bat, and because you can call it whenever you want.
Right.
So that part of it's really good.
Uh-huh.
And a little bit of puzzle solving with it.
Sure.
But you are tethered to this thing.
Right.
Like, and it really slows you down at
Okay.
some points.
So there's a lot of unskippable scenarios where you have to use the
Yeah.
Batmobile to blow up tanks.
Exactly.
I've heard that.
Yeah. And a lot of people like that, but I don't play a Batman game for a tank simulator.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's almost none of that in the Batman mythos generally.
Correct.
Tank simulation.
Very little tank simulation. And again, it works. The mechanics are solid.
Yeah.
It's great how if there's a group of villains or thugs in the street, you call it and it just comes skidding around the corner and you leap into it and you just gun them all down.
Sure.
Like, that's great.
You kill them all like Batman would.
Exactly. Oh, it's non-lethal, they say.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And like you can boost and then like fly out of it and just go super high and super far. Like,
Yeah.
that's great. But too much tank stuff.
Right.
And there's a bit towards the end of the game, I guess it's you can't use it anymore for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, thank God. Because what a relief.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy.
You're like, how do I make Batman just throw a fist in the air like in victory because it's been destroyed or whatever?
I fucking hate Prague, by the way. that's a story for another day. But And then it gets to a point where they're like, well, let's put some of the flaws of that puppet into this CGI version. So
Right.
you know how the ears wiggle?
Uh-huh.
Like when he moves, like that's not supposed to happen, but we'll put that in. And see how the mouth, it doesn't have as much dexterity as a real mouth, so we'll kind of take back the dexterity on the CGI part. And then George Lucas says, look, the trick to this CGI Yoda is to make him look exactly like a puppet. And then I'm sitting there going, why don't you just put in a fucking puppet?
Yep.
Like, why are you recreating a digital puppet? What are you doing? You're wasting everybody's time.
That feels to me a lot like George Lucas has offhandedly said, why don't we make Yoda CGI?
Yeah.
And then the wheels have been put in motion and 100 people have had to go, okay, now we have to make, battle stations, everybody, we have to make a CGI Yoda. And then it's all been thrown into the mix, and everybody's had to work really hard at this and work for weeks in building this Yoda.
Yeah.
And then Lucas has come in, and he's changed his mind.
Sure.
And he's like, you know what, the puppets, I like puppets. Well, but we've got all this infrastructure here.
Yeah.
We've spent millions of dollars. Let's make him look more like a puppet.
Need it. You know what I don't like? A close-up shot of like a sniper rifle and you see it kind of go into the chamber and then it like fires out in a slow motion explosion and you follow the bullet and like, because video games can do that now, so who cares? Like, why do I don't need to see that. I get it. It's a gun. Jesus. Next news.
Okay.
You know what really annoys me?
Maybe it's not though.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
You know how like when you see it like on the news or whatever, or like on websites that aren't like movie news websites, and they're like, can you believe it? Bloody Star Wars has taken over the internet. Like, can you believe that Star Wars is back and people like Star Wars so much? Yes, I fucking can!
$27 billion.
Are you out of your mind? Like, what are you talking about it like it's something that nobody likes or has seen? Everybody likes Star Wars or knows Star Wars.
It's the most popular film franchise of all time.
It baffles me that people are like... People in every country gather to watch a different variation of people kick a fucking ball around and nobody bats an eye, right?
Yep.
And people also play like fantasy football, which is essentially Dungeons and Dragons with football.
Right.
It's just statistics and all that kind of shit.
Everybody's a nerd about something, but if you're a nerd about swinging fake laser swords about, you're an authentic nerd.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Like what you like.
Yeah.
But why act surprised? Like, it just annoys me.
It's not surprising,
No.
yeah.
Anyway.
Remember that thing we literally all of us saw like 10 years ago? Remember every single one of us went to the movie? They're doing another one, and people are buying tickets to it. What is...
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
That's all I'm saying.
But I guess what else are they going to do on the news?
I know, but like...
Actual politics? Important things?
I'm just saying, even if you hate it...
And I do.
Yeah, don't be an idiot. Like, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Great.
I'm not against Halloween. I quite like the idea of it, but what I hate is on Facebook, people are like, I had some kids come to my door and I was like, no thank you, that's an American tradition. We don't do that here in Australia. Fuck off. Who are you hurting? Yeah. Americans?
Yeah.
You're hurting kids, you dickhead.
Right.
Like, don't be mean to kids.
Just go to the supermarket and buy like a little box of like a bag of those little fun-sized chocolate bars for like $3.
Yep.
And just give them out until you run out.
Or put them in a bowl and leave it at the door.
Take one each on a system, leave me alone.
And don't touch the bowl.
Yeah. Or just, you know what, you can just buy a whole bunch of bags.
Yeah.
Wait until it's empty, sneak out when there's nobody around, fill it up again. You don't have to talk to anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about Halloween.
Yeah.
If people want to do it, great. Also, how many of our traditions are Australian? Fucking none of them.
Yep.
Like, why is it this one people get so upset about?
I don't know.
Like, we have like 3 traditions, and all of them involve like
taking the day off.
Taking the day off, or singing a song about a swagman who jumps into a river and kills himself after stealing a sheep. That's a famous Australian folk song. Some people want it to be our national anthem for some reason. I don't know why.
Because it's about stealing.
Yeah, I guess
and
so.
Suicide.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, yeah. Knobs and kids.
Yeah.
Obnoxious kids.
Sure.
One in particular.
Oh, right in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid.
Him and his liter of Coke Zero. Don't give a kid a liter of Coke Zero. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, boy.
Get your shit together.
Yeah.
That family. He came up at the end, he's like, look, I stole all these 3D glasses. I wanted to be like, put them back. Do you know what I mean?
Put them back so they can be collected by the cinema staff and thrown in the bin. As they should be.
The minions are merely they're toys. Which is
sure.
fine. It's all toys. It's all toys. It's all marketing. We're all getting. We're all getting.
James is going to have one of his classic meltdowns. One of his classic anti-capitalist rants. Look at me. I went to Tanzania and I helped children.
Look, that was a long time ago. I haven't helped a kid in a long time.
That's very true.
Look, I'm sick of people telling me on YouTube or websites like, can you believe the Krampus exists? Can you believe this whack? Yeah, I fucking can. I've known about this for like 20 years. Stop everybody knows about the Krampus now.
Yep.
It's not a big deal. Rule number 1. Shut up. Now, I'm okay with talking during the ads or even the trailers. They're all online now anyway. I understand it. It's fine. But the second any kind of movie studio logo pops up, shut your mouth. No words need to come out of your face at any point. Because you know what? No one gives a shit what you think. And if you don't understand the movie and need clarification, too bad. Figure it out via context, wait to see how it plays out, or read the Wikipedia synopsis on your phone in the foyer. So rule 1, in summary, shut up. Shut your mouth. No one cares. You have no insight or anything of interest or amusement to add to the theatre-going experience. Because remember, this isn't your living room. Everyone here isn't your friend. Shut up! Rule number 2, turn off your phone. Or put it on silent. Whatever, it doesn't matter, but keep it in your pocket. You need to remember, you're in a mostly darkened room. And every time you check your messages, even if you've got the brightness right down, it's like holding up one of those old-timey lanterns. And if you do have an important call or text or tweet, I guess, that you need to make, take it outside. And I shouldn't have to say this next thing, considering it's common fucking sense, but don't answer your phone! I'm not encouraging physical violence, and I'm not suggesting anyone should do this, but if someone behind you slaps you on the back of your stupid lit up head because you've answered your phone, you had it coming. Knock it off! Next up. Now this one I'm not really bothered with, it just baffles me. Why would you clap when the movie finished? Who are you clapping to? Odds are no one involved in the filmmaking process is in the cinema. And even if they are, you probably wouldn't know that. And if you do know, go up to them and say, hey, good job. Great grip work. Whatever that is. But let's say you're watching Captain America Civil War. And then J.J. Abrams comes out at the end. Don't clap! He didn't make that movie. Unless you say beforehand, I'm clapping to acknowledge some of the previous entries in your filmography. I really liked the one about the train monster. Otherwise, leave the cinema. You don't have to shut up. But shut up a little. Keep it down. Even though the movie's over, no one cares what you think. Okay, sit in your own goddamn seat. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of allocated seating, but I've come to appreciate that it's sometimes a necessity, especially when you're pre-booking. I'm sure, though, we've all had a scenario where you come in and someone's in your seat. Then you say, hey, you're in my seat. And maybe they move. Great. But sometimes you get one of two responses. A, oh no, the cinema isn't full, so what's the big deal? No, the cinema isn't full yet. But odds are I'll sit somewhere else, and then suddenly I've got someone asking me to move, and now I'm you. So get out of my seat. Or B, well, there's someone who's sitting in my seat. That's not my problem. Bloody step up and ask them to move, because again, if I take someone else's seat, the situation perpetuates, and it's just a whole lot of cowards sitting in other people's seats. So move. And also shut up. You have a coward's heart. Okay, last thing. Kids. You know what? Kids are fine. I have no problem with kids. Most of the time, if you go to see a Toy Story or an Alvin and the Chipmunks for some reason, what's wrong with you? You got to expect the kids are going to talk, ask questions, laugh, stand up, walk around, all that kind of stuff. That's what kids do. And that's fine. But if you're a kid who's edging closer and closer to being a teenager, rule number 1 kicks in. Shut up! No one cares what you think, especially because you're a teenager and teenagers have nothing of value to say. No, I'm kidding, teenagers. You're fine. But seriously, shut up! I don't like the bloody Twilight Zoo cinema. So basically they do this thing in Melbourne where you go and see a movie in the open at the zoo.
Yes.
On a projector or whatever outside.
And it's right in the middle of the line enclosure.
That's right.
It's really tense.
Just, yeah, look, once the lines get one person, you're pretty safe.
Yeah, it's for a while, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to bring a blanket.
Yep.
Or some idiot will bring a chair and ruin it for everybody. Because everybody's on the grass and it's pretty flat. It's not like sloped. So you're sitting on a blanket with an idiot in front of you in a chair.
Who's brought a deck chair. Or like a reclining chair.
And it's not comfortable to sit on a blanket on the ground for 2 hours.
Yeah, okay.
And you got to get there like an hour early to get us a decent spot. It's the dumbest idea ever.
They do it at the Botanical Gardens as well.
Oh, maybe
but at least there's a hill.
There's a hill there?
Yeah, there's a hill
You can roll down afterwards.
You can roll down the hill into the screen. Just tear through that baby. You're running through a banner at the football.
That's
just
right.
Rolling down.
In March Madness. Mm-hmm. All right.
We know what that is.
We certainly do. What a crap article. There's just like, oh, you know, if you look in the mirror, you're a hero. You don't have to be a guy flying to be a hero.
That was a bit vague.
Because it's bloody Hell's Kitchen and we're all heroes. Look, you're just people who live somewhere. We all bloody live somewhere. It's not a big deal, all right? The Battlefront 2 campaign, single-player campaign, which they decided not to do with the latest Battlefront, because you're a bunch of fucking idiots put in a single-player campaign. Anyway... That's why I didn't buy that game.
No, single player, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It looks so good, but...
It does. It looks great and it plays great.
Play it once and you're done.
Yeah, I played the beta and that was it. Like, I'm like, I get this.
Good enough,
That's what this is. Thanks for the free game, idiots.
Yeah.
Put a single... Fucking hate. You know what I hate?
What's that?
Coriander.
Okay,
look, this is unrelated. Do you like
edit
coriander?
all this out.
No, we're not.
Okay, good.
Do you like coriander?
It's not entirely sure what it is.
It's poison.
Then I don't like it.
It tastes like bad soap.
Oh, coriander.
And soap's not good.
Coriander
you shouldn't
is
eat soap, and it's worse than soap.
Coriander is that one where some people are genetically predisposed to it tasting like soap.
Which is me.
Yeah.
Right? I have that. And a lot of people have that. That being said, a lot of people like it. That being said, a lot of time when you order a salad or something, or, you know, like a...
Americans call it cilantro.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Great. So... But, like, you'll get, you know, like a...
This is for a long time listeners, James used to have vendettas against people in his life, and I think he's got a vendetta against Coriander.
I absolutely do, but it's more so that when you order it and then it surprisingly comes out and it's just mixed through whatever it is, but it's not in the menu. Like, if I, like, say, I don't like avocado, right? But I'm okay with it, and if there's avocado in something, then I know it's there because... They put it on the menu. But with coriander, enough people don't like it where you should write it down. So I know it's coming and then know not to order that.
There should be little symbols, nut-free, gluten-free, this might taste like soap.
That's right. It's not on.
I understand.
You know, all those Hanna-Barbera cartoons, I hate them. They're weird and depressing.
Yeah.
It's like a cat that lives in a bin and a depressed dog.
Yeah.
And a stupid rat or something. Speaking of spirits.
You're drinking wine.
Yeah, I am drinking wine.
You're drinking wine out of like
a regular glass.
A regular glass.
Because as I told you before the show, I'm against wine glasses. They're dumb. Why are they Why do you have to drink a certain glass, like a certain drink from a certain glass?
Because you've got
like
to swirl it.
No, you don't. That's all bullshit.
You don't. Yeah.
Champagne flutes, dumb.
You have to
you hold it
swirl
at a wedding.
smugly.
It's too small for your mouth. It's no good. Do you put your nose in it when you drink?
Just drink everything out of a sack. That's what I say.
Just a Hessian sack.
Yeah.
Hold it over your mouth and just ring it into your mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just drink your wine out of a bloody like an animal bladder or something like that you fashion into a drinking, or a fine loot crate drinking horn, which is how I do most of my drinking.
You know you do. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's fanaticism. And I'm not even talking about religiously. I'm talking anything.
Yeah.
Like somebody who's so blind and pious.
Yeah.
It annoys me. Like, I hate anybody who's like extreme religious forcing down your throat as much as I hate an atheist doing the same thing.
And I love Marvel comics and movies.
That's right. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing worse than somebody just screaming their opinion at you or forcing on you. Believe what you want, man.
Yeah.
I don't care, but shut up.
Yeah.
We know a guy, this is off topic, his name's Ross. And he was extremely religious, which is fine, but he'd always bang on about it, and then he switched and became extremely atheist, and then he'd always bang on about that. It's like, why do I have to listen to whatever stupid fucking...
Ultimately, his religion is banging on about stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
that's what I'm saying. Anyway, not the point.
Yeah.
People get offended, right? It's fine. But there's nothing wrong with being offended or taking... Like, everyone's so wrapped up in feelings, but also... getting upset.
I'm always wrapped up in feelings.
It's wrapped up in feelings and then getting upset that other people have feelings.
Sure.
It's like everybody feels a different thing and can be offended or not offended. You can do whatever you want.
That offends
Everyone
me.
shut up.
That offends me deeply.
Yeah, fine.
Good.
And that's fine. You're okay. You can be offended or be annoyed by someone being offended. It's all fine. We're all people. That being said, thank you for listening, everybody.
Yeah, we love you. We love your attendance.
Also, you know, obviously this...
And your feedback.
Yeah. I feel like whenever I have a rant telling people to shut up, I'm sure people are thinking, but you do a podcast.
That's true, with your opinions on it.
But it's optional.
And also, there's almost certainly somebody building a supercut of all your rants.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they're just splicing. They're either making a big supercut or they're splicing it all together. So it's you getting really mad at cheese or something like that.
I do hate cheese.
Oh, what?
I've helped whoever's doing that.
Oh, that's very good. Okay, great. You know what I mean?
You know what I don't like about chewing gum?
Oh no!
Here
Comes one of James's famous rants.
It's the flavor leaves after like a minute, then you got nothing. You just chewing a piece of plastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why? What's the point? Just eat a good thing, like an egg, like a good boiled egg.
Good, yeah.
That's my rant.
Okay.
Is that a rant? Doesn't count, that one. You didn't obviously see Ben-Hur.
No.
What were they thinking? Putting $100 million into a fucking Ben-Hur movie in 2016. Now, are you out of your mind? There's nobody...
It wasn't me.
No, sorry. I don't give a shit about Shia LaBeouf. I'm sick of his shit, quite frankly.
Right.
I mean, we haven't talked about it for a long time. He just seems like such a wanker. Like, so self-important, but also it's that doing weird stuff just to get attention kind of thing. Like, you're not crazy or out there. You're just an idiot. What are you, like 28? Fucking get it together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Just...
Remember when Foster's bought out everything and they were just everywhere at one point? Or was that Tui's? I don't know. Both of them. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You're both shit.
Yeah, treat your workers better.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same songs every year, isn't it? Or whatever.
You're saying we should write some new Christmas songs.
That's what I'm saying. But you know what I do hate? I hate when
that?
people are like, you can't even say Merry Christmas anymore. You have to say...
Happy holidays.
No, you don't. Say whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
want. Who cares?
Is it maybe-
Who's ever said Merry Christmas to someone and the other person has gone, how dare you? That's offensive. That's never happened.
Correct.
It's not a thing.
You know why? Because capitalism would never let... People are like, oh my god, people are coming to my country and they're taking Christmas away. No, they're not. You think a toy company's going to be like, oh, it seems like people are taking Christmas away. We'll allow it.
Yeah.
We'll allow our $4 billion profit to disappear. No, they won't. It's not going to happen. There's a meme goes around every once in a while. It's like, you can't say Merry Christmas. You have to say Happy Holidays. You can't say Christmas tree. You have to say holiday tree. No one's ever. This is literally the first time anyone has ever said holiday tree out loud. It's never happened. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy
holidays.
Happy
Season's greetings.
Look, have a little bit of time off, everybody.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah. God damn it, I hate midnight screenings. I forgot how much I hate them. Just, look, I said this the other week. If you're enjoying yourself, great.
Yep.
But can you do it on a level that's not fucking raucous?
Yeah,
do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Uh-huh.
Can you? And like, it was got to the point where he'd say something and there'd be laughter, and then they'd be like, "Oh no, that wasn't. He was just saying something. That wasn't a joke."
Sounds like somebody's got themselves a new vendetta, and I couldn't be happier.
Also, can I just say, if you see a weird alien thing,
Yep.
don't put your fucking face over it.
Yeah, right?
Why do people keep doing that?
I
Imagine,
know.
okay, if you're standing in front of something
Yes.
real slippery and slimy, and it opens up, and then you see something slither in it, would you put your face over it, or would you
No.
go, you know what? I'm gonna leave now.
I guess, but at the same time, that doesn't happen in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, nothing bursts out of a flower or a plant in the real world. That's never
Sure.
happened.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, so...
But you're not in the real world. You're on an alien planet. Then again, it's a paradise. He's like, this must be just another hidden treasure from this wonderful
That's right,
world.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably a Mai Tai in there. just a glistening, oily hand holding a tropical drink. Num, 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 num. I'll just wait for it with my face. Ah!
No,
Yeah.
that's
He was in Twister, of course.
Yeah.
People love him from Twister.
I don't like Twister.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's a
fair.
bad movie.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. People
I
came
love
out of
him in
that.
True Lies, though.
Yeah, he's amazing in that. People came out of Twister being like, "Did you see the cow?" Yeah, I fucking saw it. It went right across the screen. I didn't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't miss it. That movie is only the cow. That's it. That is that movie.
Now, don't say that about Helen Hunt.
Got her.
Yep.
Did you ever eat Fruit Loops as a kid?
Yeah, I was thinking about getting back into them yesterday.
See, I never did, and then I ate some as an adult. It's fucking inedible. Like, it's real bad.
You're a liar.
You like all the sugary cereals, though.
Yeah.
They're no good. Let me tell you, Mason.
Look, maybe I'm rotting away, sure.
Yeah, you almost certainly are. Oh, you know for a fact that I make my own muesli? If you're interested, please tweet in and I will talk about it next week.
You should put the recipe in the first issue of the newsletter.
All right, I will.
Yeah.
The Weekly Butt.
The Weekly Planet.
Or the Orbit, which is officially called.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that I'm nice to people on the internet in general is because when I was a kid...
Because you fear them en masse.
I fear them en masse, obviously, and they could go away at any second. But when I was a kid, when they were planning episode 1, I wrote an email to a Star Wars fan site with a theory that ObiWan was actually the first of many Obi-Wan clones. So there was an Obi-2, an Obi-3.
Oh dear.
It's not a good theory, is it? I was very young. But anyway, the response I got from this grown man was just such a prick of it. Kind of like, yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, that theory's already been... Like, he took the time to be like, you're an idiot, and somebody's already thought of this.
All right, now, first of all, you've assumed that tone.
No.
Okay, right.
I couldn't find it, but I'm telling you, man, it was very aggressive. Yeah. So anyway, fuck him wherever he is. If there's one thing that I hate, it's other dads. And I don't mean like you. I mean like you get the dad at the park and he's like, best job in the world. And I'm like, fuck off. Get the fuck out of my face. I want to talk to regular people, and my friends. Anyway. What is this bullshit? Sony, what are you doing? You're not good at building franchises. What you're good at is taking an idea and beating it to death. Men in Black, The Smurfs, The Karate Kid, RoboCop, Annie, The Girl Has Too Many Dragon Tattoos, Ghost Rider. And you're also really good at making some of the most poorly received comedies in recent memory. Grown-Ups, Grown-Ups 2, Bucky Larson, Born to 0% Rotten Tomatoes, Pixels, Sex Tape, That's My Boy, The Emoji Movie, presumably. And you haven't made a well-received superhero film since Spider-Man 2 in 2004. And now you want to build a franchise based around a character that's not even going to appear in that franchise? Before entering your office each morning, is every executive required to bash their head on a low-hanging door frame? You couldn't even get a Spider-Man shared universe off the ground when you had full control of Spider-Man. There were spin-offs in the work for the Sinister Six and Venom and a young Aunt May adventure, apparently. All at various stages of development, and how many of them got off the ground? None! You made 0 spin-off films in your planned shared universe. Also, the character of Venom is tied directly to that of Spider-Man. Venom's origin is literally, he's forcibly removed from Peter Parker and attached to Eddie Brock, whose powers and abilities and appearance all directly relate to that character. Now, there is a situation where a Venom movie works, but maybe it would be better to align yourself with Marvel to get this happening. I mean, there's a very real possibility that the MCU is building towards a Secret Wars kind of situation with the black suit Spider-Man, because after Phase 3, apparently things are going all cosmic there in a big way. You could make a movie relating to that in conjunction with Marvel, no problem. Then from that you could do a better black suit Spider-Man film than the one you already did. Just a friendly piece of advice on that. I wouldn't have Peter Parker punch his girlfriend in the face, but hey, that's just me. Then you can do a Venom movie, because with the symbiote established in the universe, you can make your Eddie Brock film or an Agent Venom movie with Flash Thompson. You can even throw him into that Sinister Six project that you've been threatening us with that could include Michael Keaton if he's not sucked into a jet engine. Also, I feel like you're doing this because you saw Logan and Deadpool and went, oh no, we'll also make an R-rated comic book movie. But you need to remember that those movies are built off the back of previous movies. Deadpool exists within the X-Men universe, and it had a stellar marketing campaign that you cannot pull off. And the character of Logan can only exist in this capacity because Hugh Jackman has played Wolverine 67,000 times. My point is, you're not good at this. Any good faith audiences had for you in relation to Spider-Man was pissed away over the course of 3 films. Seemingly though, lessons were learnt from this, and you thought that the best course of action was to lend the characters back to Marvel, who then restored him to his former glory in a matter of 15 minutes. And with Marvel's actual involvement, despite your trailers seemingly ruining Spider-Man Homecoming by spelling out the story beat for beat, it's still been well received by fans, and expected to open, when adjusted for inflation, bigger than any previous Spider-Man film. And even if the Venom movie is good, which I feel is very possible with the involvement of Tom Hardy and the director that you got on board, you'll still ruin this at some point, and then you'll be forced to sell off your characters, or you'll do another reboot, which will be equally terrible to the last time you rebooted. Sony, to be fair, you do make good movies. You've made a bunch of them, and I love your PlayStation. It's a good PlayStation. Maybe you should just stop this and make more PlayStation instead, because a Spider-Man universe film without Spider-Man, you're gonna... It's just... Look, I wouldn't. It's all I'm saying.
You know what? Fuck IKEA also.
Really?
Just give me something that's together.
Oh, that's been
you know this
assembled.
desk? I had to go back twice because they didn't have the legs.
Yeah.
So I got what I wanted. I went there because, you collected all at the end.
Uh-huh.
Got to walk through their maze of a store.
Yep.
And then I had to go back for the legs.
Here's the thing, though.
Just give me a desk
Here's
that's
the thing.
assembled.
Here's the thing.
I know why they do it as well.
So you have to go back?
It was ownership. So if you build it, you feel like you've got ownership over it. I don't want to build a cabinet. Just give me a cabinet.
I like IKEA. Anyway.
Yeah. Mason, it's time for an ad. No, we did that already. I think it's... this is worse than an ad. We're going to talk about Geostorm. Oh,
Yay!
man. No, I put the call out on Twitter.
Alright, I want to be clear. We didn't... At no point did we have to talk about Geostorm.
Yeah.
But you kind of insisted.
I floated it on Twitter and then I dragged you along. Because I wanted to say, do people want us to talk about Geostorm?
Uh-huh.
And people did.
Yep.
I didn't want to say it. But I did say it,
Yep.
and I hated it. It was real bad. It's my least favorite genre of film.
But you hate this genre. You hate... The last disaster movie we saw was San Andreas, I think.
Which I hated.
And you hated it, but you hate it... Do you hate it because there's no one to punch?
There's no one to punch.
There's no villain.
Or if there's
But
a
this
villain...
is a movie that does have a villain.
Yeah, but even then, it's not a good villain. It's not well fleshed out. Like, the villain of San Andreas was Johan Griffith, but he'd been hit in the head, so it's like, cut him some slack.
Yeah,
like, the
true.
world's falling down.
Well, let me tell you about Geostorm.
Let me tell you about Geostorm.
Let me tell you about Geostorm.
Okay, all right.
It's a bad movie.
Yes.
But I loved it. And see, here's the thing. So a lot of the time a big blockbuster movie will come out and people will be like, okay, if you're going to see this movie, don't wait for DVD. You got to see it on a big screen. You got to see it on IMAX. You got to see it on double IMAX. You got to see it in 3D. You got to see it with a surround sound. You got to see it with a rumble chair. You got to get a big popcorn and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Then you'll get the full experience. I say not with this movie, but with this movie, if you're going to see it while sitting next to a friend of yours who is hating every second of it. Because I don't know if that was definitely part of it. We
got the best seats we've ever had in a movie also ever.
And you spent a lot of it with your head in your hands. And I'm like, this is... On paper, this movie isn't very good.
No, and in reality, it's not very good also.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I hate all of these.
Yes.
And this is the worst one.
Yeah, right.
And that is really saying something. It didn't make any sense. Like, I don't know why you would bother trying to fix this.
Uh-huh.
Just put it out. Imagine what it was before this.
Yeah, right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So these movies were big in the 90s, and I hated it because it were like Twister, Volcano,
I feel you would have loved Twister.
No,
back
I
in the day.
hated Twister.
Interesting.
I hated it. I remember at the time people were like, did you see the cow? Yeah, the cow that went across the screen. Yeah, I saw it.
Uh-huh.
And like that movie's it's no good. Who talks about Twister now fondly, aside from the fact that Bill Paxton or Pullman's in it?
Yeah, right.
Even Independence Day, it's not good. People like the sequel's not good. They're both not good, but they're both better than this.
Good question.
This has so many tropes.
Yeah.
Of the Roland Emmerich, Dean Devlin-averse.
Can I ask you a question about this
Sure.
movie? What did you think the story was? I'm turning it on you. This one's all about you, baby.
Okay, so it's like the future. It's like
a couple of years in the
4
future.
minutes into the future. Because the world's gone to shit.
Yep. Weather-wise,
yeah. So Gerard Butler, he's the best scientist in the world.
he's a genius.
But he's also a bit of a bloody renegade.
Yeah, that's right.
So he builds a net around the Earth.
Not a literal net.
No, it's a net.
Oh,
he builds a full-on...
Fisherman's net.
It's got holes in it, obviously, but it covers the entire Earth, and from a space station they can control the weather.
What's it called?
Is it Icarus or something like
It's
that?
called Dutch Boy.
Dutch Boy, that's right.
Because of the Dutch boy stuck his finger in the dike.
Yeah, right. But the other thing is it's called Dutch Boy, but he refers to it as a she, like a couple of times. So it's confusing there in terms of what. He's supposed to know it back to front, and sometimes he does, but sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, right.
So like you'll be like, oh, to hear that noise, that means something's broken loose, and you should have got this thing checked out because he gets fired.
Anyway, I'm just going to go to this bathroom, and he opens the door, and it's a supply closet.
Exactly.
It's like, anyway, so he
doesn't know the basic layout, but he knows the noises that it makes.
Yeah. So anyway,
let me finish.
All right.
So he's on the council. So he runs it. He lives in space a lot of the time.
Yeah.
His brother's some kind of government liaison.
Oh, also, Gerard Butler's character's name's Jack, which is one of the
it's
few...
Jake.
That's Jake. One of the few manly names you're allowed to have as an action movie character in a Dean Devlin movie. You're
Also,
only allowed to be called Jack or Jake.
He's got his weird American Scottish accent.
Yeah.
That he's never quite. I like Jerry Butler as well.
Yeah, me too.
He's definitely
he
not the
insists
worst.
You call him Jerry.
Yeah,
probably.
he's not the. He's good.
He's certainly not a Jerry. He's a real Rick, if anything.
Yeah, he's good in this as well. Like, for what it is, I like him. But
it's certainly not his most unpleasant role.
Which
probably
is Gamer?
that, or law-abiding citizen, where he just murders everyone.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot. Yeah, that's got the phone with the gun in it.
The phone with the gun, yeah.
But so basically, he gets fired from running Dutch Boy because he's all about handing it over to the International Space Station. So it's not just America controlling it.
Yeah,
and they're like, why don't you just do the right thing? And because he stopped the weather. That's right, because the bloody bureaucrats were stopping him.
That's right, yeah.
Because,
from saving lives.
So he
Those
turned
pencil-necked, button-down bureaucrats.
he turned on Dutch Boy.
Early.
That sweet old girl.
He saved them
before he should have, because he saved like some countries, and they were like, "You crossed the line." He's like, "I saved millions of people," and they're like, "You're fucking fired." And he's like, "Fuck you."
They're in a. So he comes back to Earth for like a
meeting,
like a court, not a court martial, but like a hearing.
Yeah, a drumming out.
Yeah,
a drumming down.
Yeah, drubbing down.
Drumming down.
A drubbing down.
Sorry, I'm very fired up.
Yeah,
can't get my words in order.
Yeah.
Ed Harris is a great actor, but he could not sell this shit. Like on no level. But I like that idea of the world coming together to solve this common problem. Like, there's themes.
So you're
and
saying you
issues-
like this? You
Shut
like
up!
this movie?
Shut up!
Yeah.
But he gets there and he's like, and he sits down the ragtag Tim. And he's like, listen, I'm here to make we're going to clean this up because something's going on here, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And God damn it, you guys are sons of bitches, and this is a bloody shambles. And they're like, who are you? You don't recognize the guy who built the station. He's probably the most famous man in the world, and you work on the thing that he built.
Yeah, right.
And you don't know who he is.
Haven't you seen the poster in your room of him?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
And also they've got this camaraderie that you don't feel at all. There's a bit at the end where he's saved by the Mexican guy.
Yeah.
The Mexican Billy
This
Bob
is my
Thornton.
favourite bit.
And it's got a very unironic, so he jettisons out because Dutch boy, that old girl gets exploded.
The Iron Lady, Dutch boy.
The Iron Lady of the sky of space explodes, and he escapes in a little capsule, and the Mexican guy grabs him with a spaceship. And he unironically turns to him and goes, whatever your name is, you son of a bitch.
So
and he
Dean
gives him a
Devlin.
thumbs up and he's like, remember, I'm Mexican or whatever. Which is kind of a nod to be like, hey, even people from Mexico are people too. Remember
That's
that?
right. Remember how Mexico and America used to be
Yeah.
mortal enemies?
Which, exactly. But the thing is though, but they never had any interactions where that would work. He had more interactions with the French guy. So
Yeah.
when he's like, you my old friend. No, you never had any interaction. Right. You maybe had a couple of sentences. The French guy you interacted with more. There's a bit where he goes into the locker room to find like a memory stick because there was a guy who was...
A hollow stick,
stick, sorry. Because
it's 5 years in the future.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. So it's got some data on it because... a guy who was working there who got jettisoned from the spaceship because he knew too much, hid it in the locker room, and he gets in there and he opens the locker and finds, and the French guy's there, and he's like, I've been waiting for somebody to come and find this. I knew something was up. So he's been waiting there for 2 weeks.
In a sweaty,
but
humid
also,
locker room.
There are a lot of other scenes where he's not in the locker room.
Right.
So I don't even know how that works.
Well, there's prime locker room going into times,
Sure.
you know?
I mean, he must be near the
All
door.
humans are on a natural going into a locker room cycle.
I guess they are. I guess they are. Heads up also, there is no Geostorm in this movie.
There never gets to be a Geostorm.
There's the start of a Geostorm,
Yep.
but then there's no Geostorm.
That's true.
So if you're going
there's
in for
a very
Geostorm,
specific countdown to a Geostorm.
There's an hour and a half until a Geostorm. But okay, also at the end, so it cuts to Dubai, and this giant wave rolls in and kills everybody.
Yeah, right.
That city has, I don't know how many millions of people, but there's a lot. There's also skyscrapers, and it cuts to like oil barons or oil sheiks up in the towers, and they're looking very worried as this wave rolls in and hits the building. And at the end, they're safe and they're all high-fiving because we got out of it. So thank God these oil barons survived.
I mean, all their slaves died.
Yeah, all their slaves wiped out. Because I don't know if you've ever been to Dubai, and I've only been to the airport. You look out, it's this glittering... amazing glass and steel city, and then it's just shit.
Yeah.
Like, because it's in the middle of the desert, so everybody who's below 40 stories is dead.
Yeah, right.
Also, they save a dog in this because, of course, they do. Because
that's right.
that's the universe that it's in. Mm-hmm. So so in all the ensuing chaos, because it's cutting around the world, they don't go to Australia, which we're waiting for because they always go to Australia.
Waiting to see the Sydney Opera House melting or being covered in snow or something, or being shot with a laser.
$120 million, and you couldn't cut the Sydney Opera House in half with a laser. Get it together. God, it's terrible.
No, it's really good.
And there's a bit where it looks like he might float off into space, and they're like, "Oh no, Jerry Butler's going to go into space. He's got to grab onto something." They've got 50 spaceships.
Yeah, right.
They've got 50 spaceships. You see them all the time. It is no effort to get one down to Earth or back up again.
Yeah,
they're
right.
flying all about. It's like the Death Star. People are coming and going, but they're like, "Oh, I hope Jerry Butler hangs on." The president's like, "You should marry this girl." So is it not a rule that you can marry? Like, is he circumventing the rule?
Presidential edict. You're both married now.
I think Dean Devlin's an idiot. And I've thought this for like 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I've said this on the show before. He seems like a very nice man.
Oh,
but I couldn't find the interview. There's an interview around the Star Wars re-release.
Yes.
And I looked and looked for it, but I couldn't find it, where he's talking about the first time that he saw Star Wars. Because he's like 55, so he's like prime age for original recipe Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And the scene that he recounts is like, George Lucas is a genius and blah, 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 which I agree with. It's a great film, obviously. We've talked about it. But... He goes, and then there was a bit where Darth Vader came into the room for the first time and the whole cinema booed. And I was like, how does everybody know to do that? I don't know, because he just came through the door with the space Nazis who just gunned down 40 men. He's dressed in all black. There's ominous music. He's terrifying. Everybody's standing out of his way. What do you think everybody booed? What do you think the reasoning is? How did everyone figure it out at once?
What do you think the booing was for? It's a great new segment.
Also, this is a tweet of his.
Yes.
And I hate to rag on a man specifically, but I just feel like he's been doing the same thing for 20 years and nobody said anything.
Right.
Okay, so this is the tweet. Geostorm movie shows dangers of hacking the climate. We need to talk about real-world geoengineering now. Geostorm doesn't show the dangers of hacking the climate. It shows the benefits of hacking the climate and the dangers
of a supervillain.
Of a supervillain wanting to destroy half the planet.
Yeah.
If anything, this movie is an advocate for hacking the climate. Like, at the end of this, I'm like, if they could do that, they should.
What is interesting about this movie is there's no moral in the movie that is, hey, maybe you should recycle, or like maybe we should introduce a carbon pricing scheme, or maybe, stop using aerosol cans or whatever. There's none of that. It's just like, just wait for the world to burn and then build some satellites.
Yeah. Look, I'll say this.
Yes.
These movies are dead. This is it.
You think this is the last one?
It's finally happened.
Really? Here's the thing.
It's taken a long time since, like, 1995 Twister, and I know there's been disaster movies before that, but this is kind of like that. This is the last gasp. I don't have to see any of these anymore.
Really? Like he seemed to become more unhinged as the podcast progressed.
He's talking about how, like,
and he has no ego and no being anymore.
Bullshit.
And he was like, hey, so what are you, what's
why are you doing any of this?
Yeah, he's like, what are you up to these days? And like, well, I'm not up to anything because I don't really exist, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, you've lost your mind,
yeah. And he's like, because I know he's like, we're just all a collection of thoughts and memories. Yeah, that's a fucking person.
Yeah,
you idiot.
Yeah,
that's what we all are. We're just a collection of things we kind of bundled into our brain over the years. Along with the chemicals which are already kind of in there. Mm-hmm. That's what a person is. You're not unique.
Anyway, who should we cast as Ace Ventura?
God, I just hate that shit, man. Like,
all right.
What are you even promoting a movie for then? Why do anything? Why don't you sit in a field and shut up?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Give us all your money.
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? Give all your money away because you don't even own it or exist or we don't exist or whatever's happening. Yeah. Anyway.
It's just a concept, man.
Yeah, but I know. Like, that's not a startling revelation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, because we all agreed that money is a thing. It's not fucking bizarre. It's just how it is.
That's right.
I mean, it is weird. You know what I mean?
You seem a little uptight, man.
I hate that
You should have some kombucha.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Okay.
I've said on Twitter that I hate Hanna-Barbera, and I do.
Yeah, me too.
I hate all the traditional, I hate Flintstones, Jetsons, that sad fucking blue dog, that shit cat
Droopy.
who lives in shit cat who lives in the alley just hustling.
Top cat.
Yeah, I hate all those people.
Yeah.
But I love Harvey Birdman.
Yeah.
And the way that they reintroduce these characters.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, I don't like Scooby-Doo. I don't like any of it. Because I remember as a kid, I'm like, these are the shit shows.
And they had a laugh track.
They had a laugh track inexplicably.
Yeah.
Just walk cycles and the backgrounds can Flintstones was terrible. So,
wow.
I mean, I know it was great for the day and whatever. And what if a pelican did your dishes or whatever? But I'm not.
What if you took a dump in a pelican's mouth?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can't do it these days without going to jail.
No.
So,
I didn't think Yoda was like throw out everything before. I mean, it was in terms of the dogma of the Jedi.
Yeah, right.
But the way I took it was the way that I look at a lot of religions. And let's take Catholicism.
Oh,
because
no, here we go.
I was raised Catholic. I
right.
can take as many shots as I want.
Right.
But basically, the core concept of Catholicism, when you come down to it, and the ceremony that's presented in church every week, and also, I don't have a problem with church. If you want to go to church, great, absolutely. Whatever you want to do, man. But the core idea was, Jesus said, according to the books,
yes,
to the story, that
books.
He sat down with friends and it was about breaking bread, sharing a meal, giving thanks, and sharing in God's presence and love and all those kind of things. It's not about a man in a dress with a golden staff standing in front of everybody and just telling them that they're bad people and everything's wrong and gay people should go to hell and all that. I'm fairly certain Jesus was all about tearing down the temples and stripping away the dogma. He spent his time doing that before they killed him. That was the idea, to strip all that shit away, and suddenly it's gone back to what that was. And I think That's what Yoda was saying, that, no, the core ideas of this are good,
yes,
but everything that we built around it is completely pointless.
Right.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but he could have said that 30 years ago.
Yes, absolutely. Well, he learnt, I guess
right.
my point is. And again, you can be, I don't, like faith and religion, you can do whatever you want, but I think when it gets to the point where you're getting away from the core, like, what's the core of something really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think when you get away from that and you look at the money that the church has that they're just holding on to, it's fucking disgusting, quite frankly. And I shouldn't have got into that, but we're doing hate mail, Mason.
Yeah, right?
Star Wars is dead. I'm sick of it. Everything was great until The Last Jedi farted its way into theaters, ruining the character of Luke Skywalker and the legacy of the Star Wars universe. So what? Hyperspace is now weaponized? Why would you build a Death Star when you can just slap a hyperdrive engine on a big old box and then fire it into a planet? Why they threw out George Lucas's original outlines for 7, 8, and 9 is beyond me. He should have been directing all of them. And I wish it was only that one time that Star Wars was ruined. Rogue One had Darth Vader tell a joke.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations.
Darth Vader doesn't tell jokes. Darth Vader is scary and mean, and the fact that he dared deviate from the very specific idea of the character in my mind, well, that's just unacceptable. And how did Blindy Sticko not get shot here? Is everyone in this scene blind? And don't get me started on The Farce Awakens, a beat-by-beat retread of A New Hope by Jar Jar Abrams, and they killed Han Solo. And for what? I wanted 10 more Star Wars films with Harrison Ford in the lead until he shuffles onto the Millennium Falcon and his bones turn to dust. Why did Disney remove the old canon to make way for this? What if I wanted Chewbacca to remain smashed into non-existence by a moon? What if I wanted Luke Skywalker to fall in love with the ghost of a Jedi who transferred her spirit into the gunnery computer of the ship, the Eye of Palpatine? What if I could get through the book Truce at Bakura and I thought it was great, but now it's gone and it's ruined, which sucks, because maybe one day, I'll finish that book and I'll love it. I mean, I haven't yet, but what if I did? And the prequels? What, are you kidding me with these films? Total garbage. What the hell was George Lucas thinking? He hadn't directed a film in over 20 years, and he thinks that introducing Jar Jar Abrams and giving all the Jedis a mullet is a good idea. Also, R2-D2 can fly? Since when? Why didn't he just fly himself into the exhaust port of the Death Star, plugging it up? Like sticking a banana in the tailpipe of a car. Not to mention he managed to ruin the original films by inserting a whole lot of unnecessary additions. Why am I looking directly into this idiot's mouth? This Millennium Falcon takeoff scene is completely unnecessary. Actually, wait a minute, that looks pretty good. And what the hell did he do to this lightsaber fight? When I was a kid, I remember it being action-packed and filled with so many flips and spins. Like the prequels. It makes no sense that it looks like this. Bring back the original way that I remember it. I mean that it was. And did you know, with the introduction of the new canon of Star Wars books in the early 90s, they erased all the previous Marvel comics? There's so many classic stories. Remember when Darth Vader grew really big, I think? Or maybe, everyone else got really small and he played chess with them or something? It was incredible. Also, Luke Skywalker had He-Man's yellow bob haircut. Why would you throw this away? Early 90s Lucasfilm. And Return of the Jedi was shit. Luke and Leia being brother and sister? Where did that come from? This bit where Luke doesn't have his lightsaber, and then he did have his lightsaber? Continuity error much, you dickheads? And The Empire Strikes Back took everything that was great about the original film and ruined it. I wanted Luke and Leia to get together, not Han and Leia. Also, does this asteroid have an atmosphere? How does this space worm survive in space? Where's this space worm's space helmet? You know what? I agree with this 1980 review from the Washington Post. The monkish character played by Alec Guinness is back, with sparkling lights on his shoulder and a transparent body to indicate that he was killed off in Star Wars. My point exactly. What? So now people can die and come back as blue ghosts? That wasn't something that was established in the first Star Wars, which was just called Star Wars, by the way. I don't go in for any of these title changes. Star Wars A New Hope was originally called Star Wars, which sucks, because even before that it was called The Star Wars, which is what I call it because I'm a purist and a true fan. Also, the Star Wars sucks. Did you know that George Lucas probably originally wanted to get the rights to Flash Gordon, but he couldn't get them, so he just made Star Wars? I don't want some B-grade Flash Gordon knockoff. I want a shot-for-shot remake of Flash Gordon, which is entirely indistinguishable from the original series. If I catch a whiff If anyone tampering with the original material, I'm gonna burn down my local theatre, piss on the ashes, then waltz on down to the local police station, admit my wrongdoing, run back to my car, engage in a high-speed chase, and then drive off a bridge and into a ditch to my death. Because driving into a ditch is the real Flash Gordon. Hollywood is just an SJW money-making merchandising factory with all their toys and their product placement and their women. The whole thing is a farce, and I'm sick of it, quite frankly. Number 6. Stop asking actors how they got into shape. It's the same goddamn question in every interview.
What's the diet like?
Regime. What was the health regime? I read...
Because when you go on the diet as Superman, what does Superman eat?
Also, the answer should just be, don't even worry about it. You can't do it. You don't have the personal trainer who specializes in this. Also, nobody's paying you millions of dollars to work out. And even for me, a professional and handsome actor in the long term, it's next to impossible to maintain. Plus, how are you, a regular person, gonna prepare the 57 meals a day required to do something like this on top of, say, a full-time job? And maybe also you have a 2-year-old at home, which means most of your meals consists of eating the half-eaten Vegemite toast and pieces of old fruit that he doesn't end up eating. Just give it to me straight, Hemsworth. I can take it.
I hate that fucking donkey. Just a sad sack, just like everything's
Was
bad.
the donkey in the trailer? I didn't see it.
No, but he's just, his tail's pinned on by a tack, and I'm like, that's bad. Like, that's no good, is it? Like, he's got that stuck in him, and he's just like, how you going? He's like, everything sucks. I'm like, why? You don't do anything. You've got friends and you live in the woods. That sounds pretty good.
That's not bad, yeah.
Buck up.
Yeah.
I also delved into Netflix, Mason, to watch something this week. And I
what'd
watched
you watch?
Ricky Gervais's new stand-up special.
Oh, you want to talk about this one?
It's fucking atrocious.
Oh, yes.
And I don't, look, I'm a big fan of a lot of the stuff that he's done.
Yeah.
I love his podcast, that animated series, first season of The Office, the original series, I really like. But this is just, a lot of it is him being like, I don't care about anything. This guy tweeted me this, and this is what I said back. And it's a lot of that.
And that is inherently not funny.
Correct. You had more to say.
Pointing out, like an Instagram post that points out a funny thing you said is not inherently funny. It's just smug.
Yes.
And unless it is the funniest thing in the world, don't even bother.
And it's not. Yeah. And a lot of the bits that he does about, stories and things that he tells, I've seen him tell on talk shows.
Yeah, right.
Which is very bizarre. And like he does this bit on trans and Caitlyn Jenner, who, by the way, I'm not a fan of as a human being.
Right.
But he's like, would it be like if I transitioned into a chimp? Like, that's a joke. That's a bad Reddit joke from like 5 years ago.
Yeah, right.
It's just the most punch down, lame, like edgy, but crap.
It's hack.
It's so hack.
Yeah.
And he is the most thin-skinned individual on the planet. Right. And look, we have a segment which is basically us reading out hate mail that we make fun of. But it's like 50 minutes of that. Wow. But then at the end, he does a story about his family and his mum's funeral, and it's really good.
Oh.
I just think it should have been personal stories. This is what I grew up with, but this is like, hey man, I'm edgy. I say whatever I want. I hosted the Golden Globes and people said, you can't say that, but I did say it. And then I went on Twitter and someone said this and then I said this.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, who gives a fuck
right.
about any of this? It's so tone deaf. It's incredible. Yeah. Anyway, you going to watch it?
Here's a question for probably not, but I guess my question for you is: guess you were offended then, weren't you?
See, that's the thing.
He offended you, didn't
it's
he?
Not offend. It's not offensive at all.
That's true.
It's so tame.
Yeah.
And if it was offensive, I'd kind of be like, okay, I get what you're doing, but it's so. It's nowhere. It's just not offensive, and I could see why. Like if. It could be offensive for trans, but I don't even think it is because it's so hack.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's just not anything. Like it's just.
Is he playing to people who are years behind? Maybe that's it.
I think that might be what it is. I think also the fact that he recycled so much of it, and even like he's gone on Twitter and there's a lot of it's him like, I've got all my material for next year from all the responses from people because everyone's so offended and. Great, man. That's awesome. Good for you. Like, and he's like, I'm so rich and that's fine, but you're deeply unhappy. And like, and that's the thing. You can be thin-skinned. You can be unhappy. You can, and rich and I'm sure he's not unhappy.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But the fact that he's like, I don't even care. I say what I want. But you clearly do care.
If you keep
and of
commenting
course
on
you
this
care.
stuff. Yeah.
If 1,000 people told me every day that I'm a dickhead, I would probably care.
What about one guy saying it 1,000 times?
Yeah,
I say rubbing my hands together.
Yeah.
No, I totally get
You know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's okay. It's so yeah. I don't.
But I would also take that in exchange for millions of dollars.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly it. So I think if he did a stand-up special based around like him growing up and his family and stories like that, I think it really could be great.
He's produced good work.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it, but he is, and people have said this. He has a lot of David Brent in him.
Yeah,
and I don't think he realizes it.
Yeah, right.
It's bizarre. I don't know what the fuck has happened.
Yeah.
You mentioned before we started the show that it's probably that he started stand-up after he got famous. That's probably an element of it.
Yeah.
And look, there is no way I could do a show anywhere even near as good as this. But it's just, it is not as top tier as I think he thinks he is.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And every now and then there's like, that's an okay joke. Like there's bits and pieces, but generally no.
And what I was saying about my iPhone that I hate earlier, it's got a bedtime on it. So every time I open up the clock, it's like, do you want to set a bedtime? How about fuck you, phone? Like, I'm an adult human
Mine
being.
doesn't do that. What have you? Your wife has put that in your phone. Your wife has installed that on your phone without your knowledge.
And I'd just been to the pharmacy because my kid's been sick, and I'd just been not arguing with pharmacists, but I'm like, can I have the cough medicine? Like, how long has he had the cough for?
Yeah.
Is he only so if you consider taking, give me the fucking cough medicine. I'm going to swipe everything off this counter.
Good stuff.
You must have hated the bit where Han Solo got literally given his name, right? Where he goes to sign up for the Imperial Academy and the guy says, what's your name? And he goes, I'm just by myself, my name's Han. Even though he has a dad, because he says it later in the film. He's throwing the name away, whatever. And
Maybe
the guy,
his dad doesn't have a name.
He must. But then the guy goes, oh, Han Solo. You're trying to escape the planet, first of all. Just say anything.
Yeah, right.
Just say Han Flugelborgen. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Say anything at all.
Exactly. Take a name from real life.
Yeah, that's...
Flugenblagen. The guy who plays Chewbacca.
That's right.
Guess what? I didn't hate it.
I saw a guy riding a penny farthing in the city the other day, and it took a lot of willpower for me not to just push him over.
Wow.
Because what are you doing? Why are you riding that? You just want people to see that you're on a penny farthing. Just ride a bike, you fucking idiot.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
You were salty this episode, let me
Thank
tell
you, Mason.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I met a bunch of other dads, and I'm like, I fucking hate this. And everybody here, and but they're all very nice. So I'm just a terribly awful person.
Terribly cool guy.
No.
Do you think they were hating it, or do you think they were loving it?
I don't know. I don't want to, because I can't pull someone aside and go, hey, just between you and me.
Do you hate this?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you do. I mean, otherwise it's... See, that's the thing. Like, otherwise it's going to be torture for you for the next decade at least.
Yeah.
So maybe you should be like... Maybe you should take that leap and be like, hey, listen, do you hate this?
And what's the worst? Well, the worst case scenario is I burn a bridge with a guy I don't know.
Exactly. But the best case scenario is he's like, yeah, I do hate it. I reckon pick the likeliest target of someone who could potentially be hating it.
But you know what I really should do? Yeah. I should just appreciate the people who are doing nice things for their family and each other and just smile and go along with it.
No,
that's what a normal, decent person would do.
Right.
So basically, I go to my seat. It's everything's what is it? Prearranged seating, whatever.
Assigned seating, yeah.
Seating, which I like now. I was against it, but now I'm for it.
Wow.
I go there.
Mellowed.
There's like a 60-year-old dude in my seat. It's a pretty empty theater, but I don't want to sit somewhere else and then be like, someone else comes up to me and is like,
excuse me, you're in my seat.
So I'm like, hey, I'm in E9 or whatever. And he's like, oh, no, I'm in E9. And I'm like, look, this is my ticket. And he's like, oh, I'm E5 or whatever. And he goes, do you want me to move? And I'm like, yeah, I guess not, man. So I'll just take your seat, all right? So I go and sit in his seat. Whatever. It's not a big deal. It's really not.
It's quite close.
Yeah. But,
same row. You love E. You love row E.
And then
if you ever go to the movies, see James, you'll be in row
jam.
E. Yeah.
Then a couple came and sat in between us with a giant bag of food. Like insane. Like in a huge paper bag.
I thought you were going to say a couple came in and sat to either side of you. And he's like, oh yeah, that's my polyamorous couple But that's my two wives.
And this was as the movie started, right?
Yes.
So the movie's starting. There's a giant bag of food sitting next to me, and then the woman sitting to the other side of that. She starts rummaging through the bag like a fucking squirrel.
Is it like a bin bag?
Yeah, I think it was like a big crinkly paper bag.
Oh, right, okay.
Just like a squirrel on bin night. Just going through
for
it.
sure.
Just pulling out all this different stuff. Starts, it's all crinkly and loud. And I'm like, I'm going to have to move, I think.
She's individually foiled, wrapped her bags of potato chips. She's like unfoiled them and then opened them, cracked them open. Yep.
And then the movie has started, by the way. And then she pulls out her phone and she's just looking at, like eye level, looking at it. So it's right.
How many
in my
people are in the
periphery.
cinema?
It's probably 20, maybe 30.
Okay.
Right?
Is there anybody directly behind her?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And I'm going to say something. I'm going to be
Does
like,
she look like a woman who will start a fight with you?
yes.
Okay.
But I look at those two and I'm like, I could probably win this if I had to.
Could you tell me specifically which cinema this is?
No, I don't want to tell you that.
Tell me later.
Tell you later. So I'm going to say something and I'm like, you know what, I'll just move.
I know what cinema it is.
Yeah. So I'll just move. And I look over to see what she's doing. She's just flicking through apps. Not even doing anything. Just scrolling through apps.
Right.
Like, at least be on something.
So she's like, still have Facebook? Great. Still have Twitter? Terrific. Okay, great. Might use those later. Not today. Still have email? Good.
So I just go up the front. And also, as I'm leaving, I see the guy who was in my seat. He also had to move. So I'm like, good, at least that fucking idiot also had to move. So it wasn't just me. So that's the cinema these days. I think the problem is as well, because I went at like 2 or 3 o'clock. I normally go early because there's no one there.
Yeah, right.
All the dead shits are asleep. So there you go. Anyway, I'm glad cinema chains are folding. Everything should just be at home. I've got a big TV. I don't give a shit. Yeah.
I disagree. I want that.
I love a good cinema experience, and most of them are. I just want to. It's not a big deal,
Yeah.
but it's just get your shit together.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Just shut your mouth, sit in your seat. That's it.
Yeah, right.
That's all you have to do. Ask me what I thought of it.
What did you think of it, James?
I thought it was pretty good.
Did you?
No, it was fucking terrible. It was
I
a
knew
really
it.
bad movie.
I knew it.
It was really bad.
Yeah, it was
like
bad.
It started off okay,
Yep.
and then it was horrible.
Yeah.
It blew my mind how bad it was. It really threw me.
Yeah, right?
What the fuck?
And they definitively answer the question, is having Tourette syndrome still funny?
Sorry.
Why do you think Thomas Jane took that role?
What? Okay, they need to stop doing the Tourette's thing. They
Yeah.
really need to stop. And I know there are some forms of Tourette's that are that.
Yeah.
But it's just not anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's just someone going like, cocksucker! And everyone goes, he's just got Tourette's. And then some people are like, what did you say to me? He's just got Tourette's. Stop!
Yeah.
Stop doing that. The
Yeah.
other thing is, autism is not a fucking superpower. Which is
Right.
what they do in every movie with a kid with autism.
Yeah.
So the Boyd Holbrook's son can do all sorts of predator decoding the language that the government can't do or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in like Sherlock. I saw an ad on TV for Freddie Highmore's playing a doctor who's got autism and maybe he's the best doctor in the world now or whatever. It just annoys me because as someone who's taught kids with autism, also it's a spectrum. It's not like you're completely useless as a human being except you can do math.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole range.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people have it, you don't even know.
Exactly.
I just think it's...
We've probably both got a touch of it, if
That's
I'm
right.
quite honest. I've wondered myself.
I just didn't think it was a good representation of mental health in general. I'm not an expert on that, but just people slapping their heads and screaming.
Yeah.
I liked the opening action sequence. It was tense enough. It's not my favorite action sequence. I said they were bad in general, but I thought you see pretty much the Predator straight up, and it's pretty good and interesting, and then it progressively gets worse and worse until the final scene, which just is mind-blowingly terrible. Boyd Holbrook shoots him. He's like, what is that character's name? Doesn't matter.
No.
He goes, what the hell are you? Which is what's the line from the first one. He's an alien. You've done this entire... You know exactly what he is. You know the species. You know what they're capable of. You know where they're from. You know there's more than one. You have all his weapons. What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, right.
Why would you say that?
Because it's in the first one.
So basically, first of all, the kid also has amazing autism superpowers, so he can decode all the Predator stuff immediately.
Yes.
Right? And so he's in the room when they're going to open this Predator device that's going to fight the Predators, and the kid's just in the room. It's way too late till somebody goes, get the kid out of the room while this thing is opening.
You're right.
You don't know what it is. The audience doesn't know what it is. It could have been a bioweapon.
Yep.
It could have been a more insane Predator.
It could have been, because shape-wise, it looked like the gauntlet that has the bomb in it. It could have been a really big one of those that could have vaporized the whole continent. Because if you recall, the Predator Gauntlet thing can vaporize 300 city blocks.
That's right.
So one that's 100 times the size.
I also felt the leap that they thought the Predator was coming to Earth to save them. Where did you get that from?
Right.
There is no clear evidence that that is what's happening here. He killed about 20 scientists like that.
Yeah, right.
For no reason. Not for no reason, but if he's coming to Earth to protect people.
Yep.
I mean, I guess he's got a greater, higher calling. He just burns through them like they're nothing.
Yeah, right.
Why would you think that that's nothing but death?
He could have brought a little sign that says, I come in peace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When he came to Earth, who was he going to give it to? Like
The president.
Don't give it to him.
No.
Felt it like
Feel
that.
old yet?
Feel old yet? Remember this? A toaster that you had when you were a kid or whatever. Don't you hate that shit on Facebook? Where it's like,
Yeah.
only a 90s kid will remember fucking this piece of shit. Shut up.
Or like when I was a kid, we drank from the hose and we sat in a wagon and we rolled down the street. And if you cut your foot on a rusty nail, you just live with it. These kids today, they're so soft.
And what am I doing? I just think if you're going for a hike, just walk it. Why do you want to segue on a cliff? What the fuck is wrong with you? Of course you fell off a cliff. What did you think was going to happen?
I mean,
Also, why are people talking about Jingle All the Way now? They're like, it's a classic. That movie is fucking terrible. What are you talking about? It's a fucking horrible film. It was horrible then. It's worse now.
Oh.
What do you think of it?
I can't remember.
I keep seeing articles pop up about it. It's
Yeah.
like, remember this? Yes!
'Tis the season.
I saw it at the cinema. It was fucking terrible. It's
How
horrible.
Did you think it was horrible at the time?
Yes!
Wow.
It was bad.
Is that because it was no Terminator 2?
Probably. I think that's a big part of it. Like,
Yeah.
you go into an Arnold movie, you think it's going to be something, but it was...
It's just him falling on his face in
painful fucking movie.
a toy aisle. Wow,
Anyway,
good luck.
Timefall 2 is great. Everyone should get it. Also, it's 6 hours. Doesn't go forever. It's not a sprawling open world where you have to talk to every fucking second person. I used to run or whatever, and let me tell you, there's someone up there here. I need you to collect a thing. Need a bucket for my well or whatever. God, why can't games just be a game and you do the game and then you stop playing the game, Mason?
What about people who want to go retrieve a bucket for a well? Don't it be exclusionary to people who want to get a bucket for a well?
If you want to get a bucket from a well, you can do that in your own time.
People love infrastructure. They love helping men in taverns put together infrastructure. Do not exclude them.
You're
in
right.
a better universe, we'd all be getting buckets for wells.
There's too many open world games.
Star Wars, the last bucket for a well, it would be
Do
called.
you know EA a few years back was saying that that single player people don't want single player campaigns. They want sprawling multiplayer things that go forever.
Ugh.
Some people don't want that.
Yeah, right,
I know
exactly.
I don't want that, and I know I'm not alone. Inside baseball kind of intro.
yeah, right,
And then it was like, well, what time period is it set? And they're like, well, it's set after, but we can't really tell you. Is your character the daughter of Lando? Because there's a new character.
Yeah.
He's like,
We
I can't really
tell
say.
you.
And it's like, I understand that you can't say anything, but enough with this fucking mystery box shit.
Yeah.
You can pre-plan the questions.
Yeah, right.
So every answer isn't just, we don't know, we can't tell
Stephen
you.
Colbert asked the question.
Yes.
It wasn't fan-asked questions.
No, it was Stephen Colbert. But again, what can you tell us?
Yeah, right.
Just tell, like, I'm sick of this kind of like, well, is it or isn't it? Just don't bring it up then. Yeah, right. It's just fucking, it's just annoying. Nah, won't do it. This isn't school, and even if it was, I didn't really do homework even then. For those who are still at school, I just want to emphasize that I used to be a teacher, and that you should probably do your homework. It's important. That being said, school is often a trap designed to funnel students into 9-to-5 desk jobs they hate with 2 weeks vacation a year, as opposed to letting them pursue something worthwhile they might actually enjoy. And this happens because people are scared into thinking they won't have any money or job security or health insurance.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about an applauding audience, James? How do you feel about it?
Shut up.
You don't like it?
No.
I like it.
If
I like
if
it.
it's brief,
Yeah.
but none of this extended
All right.
It's too
I
long.
like it. No, I like it.
You
I
just
reckon
keep
it's
it going?
good. Yeah, just keep it
During
going.
the movie?
Yeah, I just keep it going.
During the
I see how
movie,
long
you
I can
want
keep
this?
it going. Just keep
You
it
want this
going
during
forever.
the film?
Yep, the whole time.
You're an
Start to
absolute
finish.
buffoon.
When the movie starts and I'm like, good, yep, Mr. Fantasy, great opening tune. Here we go. Really sets the tone. Just keep clapping. I clap the whole movie. Whole time.
Mr. Sunday. With me as always is my co-host Nick Mason.
Good to be here.
Got to keep it upbeat, Mason, because we've fucked this country into the dirt.
Oh, no.
So we just got to,
Us
keep it
personally, did
going.
we do
No,
it?
definitely not.
Okay then, great. Terrific. Stay positive.
There was an election, everybody, but, everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
The words you say indicate positivity, but the tone, less than positive.
Sure.
But let's not dwell on it.
Let's not dwell on it.
Let's talk about fun stuff.
Agreed. And speaking of Australia becoming a nightmarish hellscape that we can never escape from, Mortal Kombat's filming here next year.
It is in Adelaide.
In Adelaide, of all places.
Yeah. I wonder what the plot of this one will be.
Do you think we'll be able to get some time travel to escape what's been happening?
In Australia.
Or Mortal Kombat? Whatever. What do we...
I don't think we have the technology yet.
I just think if the world's on fire, maybe address it. Just look into it a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe move towards sustainable energy sources because, the shit that you dig out of the earth doesn't last forever. There's a finite amount. You can also create...
netherrealm ectoplasm.
Even, you can create new jobs in new areas, is what I'm saying, and fix the fucking internet. Anyway, Mortal Kombat's filming, Mason.
I'll thank you also for my birthday present, which is Claire taking away all the microphone stands to
Why-
record
why'd
something
you do
else.
it, Claire?
So now I have to hold this microphone
I had
in my hand like a chump.
On your birthday.
On my birthday.
I had a big old rant about it because Claire often takes the microphones to record The Millennial Divide, which is a great podcast people should listen to as well.
It's a great podcast, but is it so great that I have to hold this microphone in my hand?
Quite frankly not. Because every time she takes it, she's like, I'm like, please don't take it. Because I'll have to set it up. And she's like, I'll set it up. And I'm like, you literally never set it up. We came into the room and you said to me, is this a deconstructed podcast?
This is in bits. It was like an autopsy of our podcast. It's like it's a crime scene. They're like, there's been a crime against podcasting in this room. Let's take everything apart and see what happened.
And it's on your birthday.
And it's on my birthday.
So happy birthday.
Thank you.
And what better way to celebrate your birthday?
Go ahead.
I was going to say that
I'm
celebrate
going to interrupt again.
It's your birthday. You're allowed to, yeah.
This is like when I had to buy you and Claire separate memory cards for
Yeah.
Christmas because for some reason, despite doing all right, you guys have one memory card that
Guess
you
where
share.
they're gone?
I bet they're gone
They're
forever.
gone.
They're gone.
And they were expensive. You got like 64 gig ones, didn't you?
did,
You got like
it's true.
two. They're both gone. We're working off this 16 gigabyte one like a fool.
Oh, the classic.
I'm deleting it on the fly. Actually, we've got 20 minutes left on this. I'm going to have to unplug this at some
We're
point.
going to get a real head of steam going.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to switch cards.
God fucking damn everything, Mason.
Well, it's my birthday.
It is.
Yeah.
And
This
happy
is
birthday.
Guess what? This is exactly what I want. I said, hey, Claire, can you take out... I want to see James really flip his lid. What can you do for me? And she's like, I can
I've got
take
just the
microphone
thing.
stands.
Yeah. Look, I know that's just me because I hate disaster movies.
Mm-hmm.
I hate every single disaster movie. Every time I say this, I get a lot of grief. Twister is a terrible movie.
All right.
It's not a good movie. And again, it's the same thing of, did you see the cow? I saw the cow!
We know
Everybody saw the cow!
Everyone saw the cow, but also everyone at this point knows you saw the cow.
I know that, but
so-
people still ask me.
And that's the thing about...
I saw it, Mason!
No, I know you saw it.
I saw it in the cinema. It was just all dudes about my age.
Oh, yes?
Everyone was sitting alone. It was great. No, there was a guy next to me, a few seats down. He had a light-up watch, like a digital watch. You know what I mean?
Like an iPhone?
Yeah,
watch?
one of those, but
An
it was a
Apple
round
watch.
one. It was a round one.
Oh.
And every time he lifted his arm
Probably
up,
Samsung Gear.
Yeah, probably. Every time he lifted his arm up, it went on,
Great.
in my direct line of sight. So I moved behind him, and then he just started looking at his phone, eye level.
Incredible.
And it's really and I would never, but I just want to slap him in the back of his fucking head. Just, what are you doing? What are you even doing? At least have it down low.
Yeah, right.
What a moron. What I find interesting about that moment where they go to cure Ben Foster, where Ben Foster's dad's like, Ben Foster, you're a real ugly bloke and we're going to get you in this chair. Look at yourself, mate. He's beautiful.
Yeah, right?
That man is literally an angel.
Yeah.
You're just some middle-aged, slump-shouldered, dumpy-looking idiot.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, my son's a freak.
Yeah.
You're a fucking freak. Look at this guy. He's amazing. He can fucking fly. The original minis, by the way, absolute death traps.
Sure.
People were rolled and crushed and mashed and killed and torn apart. They're a horrible car. And people are impressed by unicycles.
Nobody's impressed by podcasting.
No one cares.
Everybody can podcast.
Anyone can do this.
Yes. Sometimes even we can't do this.
Well, actually, to be fair, I've had a few people say like, well, I could do that. I could just talk about movies if I wanted to. Why fucking don't you then? Come at me with your fucking bad attitude. I don't want it, Mason.
That's right.
Yeah. Flying is the worst. And you can't see anything because people are like, why don't you look out the window? At what?
Well, anyway.
The sky? I can see the sky from here. I don't need to be up in it to be looking at it. It looks the same.
All right. As interesting as this topic of conversation is, get on with your bloody suggestible,
All
mate.
I'm saying is the
Gentlemen
sky is
first.
overrated. You can look at it from... You don't need to spend big
You
money.
and I have such different views on this
to
because
look at
I'm
the
always
sky.
banging on about asking you to go and look at the sky. I love a pink sky. It's ever changeable, ever changing. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
I get
pink,
it. The
it's
sky's
blue.
a variety of
The
colours.
sky,
the
the
sky has to
clouds,
be
so
an
different
absolutely
shapes.
wicked, crazy colour for me to go, what?
See, I look at it every day of the week. I even like a grey sky. It's moody.
Anyway, if you want a pair of ill-fitting jeans, they're either too wide or too long, or you know what I mean? Because I think I'm at a weird height where jeans just like I'll get a skinny leg jean, but it's like I'm not 6'7" because they just go on forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why isn't there a jean for a man with skinny legs, but he's not that tall?
Are you being sponsored by the Average Jean Company for the average man?
Is that company?
I don't know.
Then yes. Shaft.
You hated Shaft, if I recall.
Hated it.
You hated Shaft.
I hated the oh, you can't say anything these days. Kids and their phones and fucking, blah, blah. It's a bloody PC and I'm from a different generation. Fuck off with that. It's
I liked
fucking
it.
awful.
I liked it. So you're giving it to that?
No,
over all the
I'm
others?
still going to give it to Rambo.
If you have a bad internet connection.
Well, that's the thing,
Yeah.
though, because some people, me, are often limited by my internet connection.
Yeah, right.
About every 2 to 3 months, I get someone knocking on the door and go like, we're from the NBN. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Unless you're
Right.
drilling a cable into my house,
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking see any of you pricks. Get out of here.
This is a very regional
Yes,
a vendetta you've developed.
It's a problem that I have with this, and it's not to do with the game, it's to do with PlayStation in general, and just the state of video games.
Yes.
You put in the disc, I turn on my PlayStation, if I haven't turned it on in 4 minutes, it wants
An update,
It wants
yeah.
an update. My internet sucks, so it takes forever.
Yeah, right.
Then you got to install the game, and it's 40 gig, and that takes however long.
It took you 4 hours to get
It took
started.
me 4 hours
right?
and then afterwards it wanted to update again because for the game, right? And I didn't technically. I probably could have ran it without it,
Yeah.
but I tried it and it didn't work. The game,
Okay, great.
It just buffered.
Yeah.
And then when the game actually started, it said this game is set to HDR, which is like a TV output format.
Yeah, right.
And I've got 2 TVs, and the Samsung one doesn't do this. That has it, so it doesn't matter. But my other TV doesn't, which is what I was playing it on. So when I started it, it would automatically switch to this picture mode, and then the game wouldn't display. So I'm
good.
like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, right.
And so I eventually had to work out the settings of how to turn that off within PlayStation.
Yep.
So I just missed the days, and even though games were shit then, of just putting in a disc, and it just fucking works.
I feel like
it's
that-
just installing and patches
Well,
and
I mean,
updates and
that's-
DLC. It's a
that
nightmare.
That legitimately is probably one of the reasons that I don't play as many games as I used to, because I'm like, well, it isn't just slot in and play.
Yeah.
It's so much updating.
So don't
I have
give
zero fucking tolerance for the royal family.
Yeah,
You know how Mason
I
feels
know.
about the Lion King?
Yes.
And the hierarchy?
Oh my God.
That's how I feel about the royal
All right,
family.
both have equal
I'm not saying they're all
political weight,
evil
I guess.
human beings, but I'm saying that idea of a monarchy and you're in charge just because your fucking dad was in charge. It's absolutely asinine. The system is broken. And I
Yes.
know they don't have any real power, but quite frankly, if they all got tipped into a volcano, my day would not change. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, and at the end, one of the women who were involved with it is like, well, we think about how maybe we contributed to this and maybe we made this worse along the way. But she's also like, but you know, if you're watching this, maybe you should think about maybe you're contributing to it also. And I'm like, well, if anything, if one of us is contributing to this, it's you in this documentary. Because me watching this documentary, the guy who it's about doesn't know.
Just for your listening, because you can't see James's face, he's doing that thing where he squints his face up and then.
Oh, I just hated they're like, well, who's really to blame here? You, not me. You did this more than I mean, you didn't do it, but you helped. I didn't help. I'm nothing to. How fucking dare you? Anyway, it was supposed to be like poignant and like, well, who's really watching who kind of like, get the fuck out of here. I don't hear that shit. Anyway, it's a good documentary. You should watch it.
Joe Kovis, who's done some fan art for the podcast, has just released a Mad Ghost t-shirt.
Mad Ghost?
You want to grab the Mad Ghost t-shirt?
I do.
Mad Ghost.
I haven't seen that. I'm going to check that out.
It's pretty good.
Terrifico.
Guess which one of us is the ghost?
Me. What am I then?
You're not on it.
This is bullshit. I'm pretty sure I helped invent Mad Ghost. I'm not even on the t-shirt.
Maybe you're on the back. Maybe you're on the butt area.
I'll take it. I'll take anything. It's like those guys who didn't get any money for Superman or whatever.
Maybe you're in the bagpipes area. The butt.
This is like that other guy who invented Batman.
Yeah, right?
You know his name?
Bill Finger.
Whatever his name is. Nice, yeah. Ridiculous. I was instrumental in inventing Mad Ghost.
Yeah, you were the bagpipes.
You can't even put two ghosts there. I mean, it's not Mad Ghosts, is it?
That's right.
I just think, come on.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be yelling Mad Ghost.
Perfect.
It's too late.
It's too late now, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're great recipes that Dad can follow too. They're very simple.
Yeah, even a
really.
dumbass like me. Claire, thanks.
Well,
Thanks,
just people
Claire.
like you who are
I only eat chicken
culinarily
burgers,
challenged.
dude. I'm a fucking whiz on a recipe. You've never followed a recipe in your life. You put a recipe in front of me, I can cook
James
literally
cooks
everything.
Like he's living in slow motion.
You cook like you're a tornado. You just use every pan. If we're throwing stones, let's do this. Let's do it.
I cook like the chef from the Muppets.
I clean as I go. You don't even know that I've cooked.
Okay, yeah, but I do more of the cooking.
That's
And
probably true.
it's
At
faster
the moment it is, yeah.
because I know if you're going to cook, it's going to take like an hour and a half, and by that point,
it
our son
doesn't.
is like super starving. I can get a meal together in like 20 to 30 minutes.
So can I. Get out of here. We should have a MasterChef style competition.
No, he can't. He really can't. He's like obviously better at following a recipe, definitely, than me, but you take bloody forever and you're always like, what's this? What should I put in here? Oh, I'm just chopping the carrots. No, mate. Sometimes dinner just needs to get on the table.
I'm good at that.
Chip,
Get out of here. Anyways, I just want to acknowledge that I did see those comments, and it does offer an explanation in this, and I know it has in other mediums, that he uses tactics of intimidation and speed to kind of throw the Jedi off so they can't ever get a really good line of sight on him, and they can't kind of get their composure to crush him.
I see.
And the reason Mace Windu is now I'm doing it! And the reason Mace Windu is able to do it is because he's calm and he's not intimidated,
right.
so he can just do it. But at the same time...
His wallet says... very focused Force user on it.
But at the same time, though, I just think that's total bullshit. And you could just crush him. And the way that people kind of justify it is also...
You can hit him with a train,
You can hit him with a train. Like, it's a dark side move if you crush somebody.
Yeah, it's poor form.
Yeah, and the reason Mace Windu can do it is because he kind of dabbles with the dark side. Like, his style of fighting is kind of very aggressive, which is unusual for a Jedi, but he's managed to walk that line without going over, right?
He learned Teräs Kasai at Cobra Kai.
That's right, exactly. But at the same time, I think if you had a room full of Jedi, you could easily just do enough force pushes and force crushes
Yeah, right.
to even just bring the corridor around him and smush him in it. But again, people saying that it's a dark side power. Yoda decapitates 2 clone troopers in Revenge of the Sith, and he's the best one. Like, he's the best one, and he does it. And look, I know that
He feels bad about it afterwards.
Yeah, I know
maybe.
he does, but it's also like, that's for defense. Well, so's this.
Yeah, right.
Because he's trying to kill you, you should be able to kill him. Do you know how General Grievous dies? Obi-Wan shoots him with a gun. Is that not a dark side ability?
Not even a Star Wars blaster, just a regular gun.
regular old
He bought
gun.
it at Walmart.
All I'm saying is I acknowledge the explanation for why it's believed that you cannot kill him that way, but it doesn't make any sense.
The real reason...
I stand by it.
The real reason is... he still needed to be alive in 3,
Yes.
and they hadn't filled any of the backstory. And they're just like, just have him be in a few episodes of this.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That being said, I think he's really well used in this.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I think he's fun.
You see a little bit of his training
Yeah.
from Counter Dooku.
Counter Dooku, that's right, yeah. I also just want to mention that shoots him with a gun. What's the difference? Is what I'm saying, Mason.
Yes.
There's no difference.
There's no difference.
Is
It's
that
true.
fine, is it? You can shoot someone with a gun? That's okay. Obi-Wan cuts a man's arm off in a bar. That's fine, is it? That's fine. He leaves a man in a volcano. That's fine, is it?
They're all
But you
fine.
can't crush a droid that's trying to kill you? What's going on? Am I wrong?
Oh, well, here's the thing.
Am I yelling too much for this?
You're yelling a bit. And also, Obi-Wan owes Grievous some money. So that's why he doesn't do it.
I did a trailer breakdown for the Bumblebee movie, at least 3 years ago.
Right.
Let's say. And the colorings of the character Blitzwing is identical to that of Starscream.
Yes.
Right?
In the cartoons and such.
Into the cartoons and such. So, and I think they wanted to make that connection so people are like, oh my God. But then because it's sort of a prequel, but I guess it's not now. They're just doing their own thing. So they didn't want to link it to the other Starscream, which shows up later. So I mentioned that it's Starscream. And I get comments to this day that are like, actually, that's Blitzwing. I fucking know. It's been 3 years. I also saw the movie. But now I'm just going to get people listening to this, go to that video and be like, actually, that's Starscream.
Like full of grudginess.
Remember
And
that time that
am
dude...
light of heart and
remember
free
that-
of spirit
remember
and
time that
long-armed
dude-
and frolicking about with no grudges at all.
That dude who blanked me, and then I blanked him 20 years later. I remember that I got him.
When you say that dude, you mean one of our friends' dads.
You know it is. That's okay. So here's what happened. We're going to wrap it up. But basically, I went to a party when I was 16.
His nostril flaring.
I didn't know the dad of the party, right? So I introduced myself. I came in the door and I said, hi, I'm James. And I put my hand out and he fucking blanked me. Like, where we're sitting, like closer than this, he completely ignored me. And I went, okay. Right, that's how it's going to be.
He probably didn't even hear you.
How could he not? I was standing right in front of him.
angry.
There is no way he did not see and or hear me. I understand he doesn't like me. I'm 16. I'm in his house. Of course he doesn't like me. Of course he doesn't. Anyway, but that doesn't matter. 20 years later, turns out that his wife, I ended up knowing, like, independently. Like, I met her. She's like 60 plus or whatever. She's in teaching, right?
Lovely
She's
person.
really nice. And they were married. Anyway, I went and spoke to her, and I stood in front of him, like cut him off, shook hands, said, great to see you, had a chat, while he stood awkwardly behind me, and then I just walked off. And it was the best thing that's ever happened. He was just standing there like a dumb fucking pigeon person, just looking around, not knowing what to do with himself. That being said, I bet he didn't notice that time either. I bet he had no idea or give a shit at all.
And that's so elaborate. And you've held on to that for like 20 years.
I did.
You're just holding on to that anger.
Yeah.
Have you released it? Clearly not.
Oh, no, I'm
you're
great
so
with it.
angry.
No, that's it. It's done. It's finished.
All right. So does that mean that for all the grudges you have in your life, you're going to have to, at some point, blank them? In a
Whatever they
social
did.
setting?
No, it's got to be an equivalent. It's got to be an equivalent.
How many of these do you think that you have that you're going to find scenarios?
Say if he
for?
like hit me with a bag of oranges, that's what I would do to him. It could be a different fruit. I don't know. But it would be of equivalence. That's how it works. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do you have any grudges against me?
No, I don't think so. No.
I'm scared.
I don't with like friends and family and that. No, I don't. I really don't.
Oh, you don't hold on
No.
to things.
Well, it's because you're friends.
Except for
or
your
whatever.
brothers. You play tricks on them.
No, but that's not. We're not.
Didn't
they're
your
not-
brother fill your drawers with shaving foam?
Yeah, he filled my car and then I got into his house and I filled all his drawers with shaving foam. That's
Oh,
not
that was it.
That was more prank stuff. That was more prank stuff, Claire.
That is James's whole family.
That's right. Anyway, we gotta go.
Yeah.
But then they're like, and it's an unlimited pasta bowl because that's the selling point.
Yeah, right.
I don't want a fucking unlimited bowl of pasta. That sounds terrible.
I do.
I want one bowl of
Yeah,
pasta.
but you're carb phobic,
It's
aren't
not.
you?
No, even if I wasn't, Mason. How much?
You fear it and you hate it. Carbs.
I love pasta, but I don't. I think I'd rather like a good solid bowl of pasta and then walk away.
I agree, but some days you just want to be like, I'm going to eat pasta till I die.
And there's this moral and spiritual damage that comes with being in the situation that does nobody any good, including yourself, and you have no sense of purpose because you're just basically a cog in a pointless machine, right? And it's talked about how automation has led to less manufacturing jobs, but as a result of this, you need people to do things in the workforce. So there's creations of things like financial services and telemarketing, and expansion of sectors like corporate law and academia and health administration, human resources, public relations, and then off the back of that, you've got things connected to that, like security and technical aspects of jobs, like keeping computer servers running and IT
Ticking
departments
boxes,
and
filling in
and then
spreadsheets.
you've got safety inspectors, et cetera, and so forth, and it goes on forever and ever, right? So I know I sound I sound like I'm insane, but then off the back of that, because people are working these
Guys,
jobs,
he's ranting.
then you have to hire people like dog groomers, and food delivery, which impacts the service industry as well. So it's this whole thing, right, that's spun up. And I'm not saying all of these jobs are pointless. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there are industries, and within those industries, there are positions that don't actually mean anything. And entire corporations that, if you remove them, nothing would happen. The world would, like, continue to thrive. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, guys. His nostrils are flaring.
Yeah, he calls, and look, I am also believe, like, we are in that role. Like, you could remove us and the world would still run, right?
Aw.
It's fine. But look, that's the way it is. The way that I've justified it to myself is we are making enough money for our family, and we're doing a thing that some people sort of like, and I'm free. My days are mostly freed up to do this thing. I know it's not the most important job in the world. It's probably one of the least important jobs in the world. But that's how I justify it. But that's also, I think, why people in their particular roles could also justify it. Anyway, so basically, the article also posits that, and again, I don't agree with all of this, but I just think it's interesting that a lot of people work 40 to 50 hours, like on paper. That is their role. They're 9 to 5 and they go into the whatever and they do whatever the fuck people do, right?
Yeah.
But effectively, within that, a lot of people are also only working 15-hour jobs, which was predicted in the 1930s. But the thing, it's all kind of expanded through kind of milling about and things like you spend your times organizing in spreadsheets and attending motivational seminars and all these other things, and people and experts come in to talk about whatever.
Meetings.
Exactly. And that's what I didn't end up liking about teaching at the end, because I spent a lot of time sitting in meetings just being like, what the fuck am I doing here? What is the point of this?
Yeah.
Why is there a person who's turned up with a set of dolls and teaching me how to do a pretend scenario to my class who would not respond to this ad?
Yeah.
Like, there's
Getting
so much
out Texas
waste.
and Butcher's paper and mind mapping.
And things like that. I know that's not just teaching. That is a lot of jobs, if not most jobs. So the conclusion of this article is essentially that the ruling class, and this is their words, has figured out a way to have a happy and productive population. You need to eliminate free time by giving people these responsibilities, because then they don't have the time to think about kind of how society as a whole and the kind of greater good of mankind. And you're not focusing on politicians and this is more me now talking, but at billion-dollar organizations which are absolutely ruining the world.
And the planet.
Yes,
yeah.
and the top 1% of the wealth and et cetera. And I know I sound insane. I know that, but I get annoyed when they talk about, like, on a current affair where they mention things like, well, the dollar bludgers are taking all the money and whatever, and it ends up being, I don't know, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but say $200 million, which is not nothing, obviously. But then you get organizations fleecing literally billions from people all day, every day.
The Banking Commission in Australia.
And they own the media. This sounds insane, but they own the media organizations and control all the outlets and like the entire flow of the economy, paying minimal, if any, tax. And I know they're also providing services, et cetera, and so forth. But I think all of this is connected for a reason. And I think a lot, and the other thing this article talks about is a lot of the people in jobs like this, they know that it's bullshit. People are absolutely aware of it. And I know I have friends like that. I'm in multiple WhatsApp groups where people aren't doing things all day, every day, just on their phone all day, just texting, right? Which is fine. I don't care. What good, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have friends that don't get to work at 9 but start at 11 because they kind of mill about and they have a small conference meeting, they get a coffee and whatever. You know, and I think it also gets fed, and this is not in the article, it gets fed into schools because school is a trap. And I know that sounds ridiculous coming from a teacher. Work. And I think a lot of students, and I think in particular high school, and not all high schools, and it depends on your teacher and your school system, whatever, but schools, and mine in particular, and a lot of schools that we know, they basically breed people to live in middle management and do these nothing roles forever. And so you have kind of certain dreams and things that you want to do, and school funnels you into these certain situations. And again, this is not me saying I'm better than anybody else, because I'm certainly not, because again, I do a job that doesn't matter. But I just think the whole system is fucked. And the school and work should not be 5 hours. It should be 3 days work, 4 days off. I'll take a 4-3. We've talked about this before. But I just think the whole thing is fundamentally broken at its core. It doesn't make any sense, and everybody just goes along with it, and it drives me fucking insane. You know last week how I span out for many minutes? You probably heard.
No, what are you talking about? Of course I did.
Yeah, that was
Today
cool.
you ranted at your poor mother about her choice of hot beverages at cafes.
Because
You're just ranting.
boomers are always sending back their flat whites. I'm like, this isn't hot enough. It's like
Anyway,
why am I doing
you're
this
just
now?
ranting. Okay, go back to what you were saying previously.
It's
that
supposed
you
to
were
be the
ranting.
temperature that it is, the drink that you get.
All right, okay, let's not go down that
Okay.
rabbit hole.
So we finally got an email address after however long we've been doing this for. Who's to say?
Yeah.
And I remember there's this program this is very specific and niche, but there's this program in Australia called Icon, which they were rolling out to primary schools, which is basically it's an online service, right? And they announced this in 2009, and they still haven't rolled it out. It's been that long because technology keeps changing and they keep like firing stuff and hiring stuff. And it's this thing because I used to go to the IT meeting because that was part of my job where they would explain like the updates to Icon, and it was like a running gag because me and my brother, because we were both teachers, would sit there together and go, "Oh, here we fucking go with these guys."
I remember
These
that
absolute muppets.
They'd always do a presentation to be like Icon,
Yeah.
and then they'd just flash up images with
Yeah.
like synergy, togetherness,
And I just want to put my hand up and be
technology.
like, tell me specifically what this is. Because I feel like they didn't know. Like that, because you ask them and they're like, well, it's about kind of collating data and making things easier, you know. But specifically what? Name one thing that this thing is supposed to do.
I think the problem was they started it before Google Drive.
Yes,
and
they
then
did.
Google happened.
And then they didn't know what to do because they got superseded by technology. Anyway, so the last year I was teaching in 2015. 6 years into this plan, they've gone, by the way, if you have any questions about Icon, we now have an email address. And they put up the email address and everybody clapped. And I'm like, you must be out of your fucking mind. It has been 6 years and you get an email address now for this IT program that you've been supposedly implementing, and everybody claps. And I wanted to stand up and be like, no, you don't clap for that. That's day one. You get an email address. That's like the first thing you do. It's an absolute debacle. And it's still not in. They haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I know, because all they did was show images of like
Absolute
people in a room
farce.
or in a round table.
And there was one year when they were like, and we've actually, all those desks that we've got now, we've filled them up with staff. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? For what?
I know. It's it's like that show Utopia.
It's exactly like that show Utopia.
Yeah, totally is. That's what government is. It's a lot of pedal pushing and pedal peeling or whatever you call it. Side note, you should have seen James Clement yelling at the television about the head of our Telstra internet network and how terrible the upload and download speeds are in Australia. And then what's going to happen now that everyone's working from home.
Yeah, because they were like, the thing is about it, most people, they use the internet for downloads, but now people who work from home, it turns out that uploading is important. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I've been working at home for 5 years. I yell about this like every fucking day. And then they're like, we should work on uploading. Should you? It's a vital component of any business or anything ever. It's the sharing of information. What?
Okay, that was my present to you.
Anyway, you set me up. When that guy came in, because he was trying to like talk to me, like to distract me, he was like, so guess what's happening? What's your kid's name? And I just wanted to be like, hey, can you shut the fuck up? Because I'm trying to like concentrate. Like, I don't need you like fucking blathering away at me. I'm trying to talk to my wife who's been cut in half. Can you shut your fucking mouth for a minute?
To be fair, that is your go-to phrase that you want to say to everybody that you never do.
That's true. I feel like every few years they're like, scientists are 5 years off cloning a dinosaur. Yeah, are they? Because you keep saying that, and yet there is no dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And don't give me this, well, the dinosaur, if you really want to see a dinosaur, look at alligators. Fuck off with that.
Right?
I don't want to see an alligator.
I can see an alligator anytime I want. I've got one in my bathtub. Are these the same scientists who promised a car that turns into a boat? Every year we've been promised a car that turns into a boat.
I wouldn't use it, but I want to know they're out there.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The line, is she with you? I thought she was with you.
I kind of like that line.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, Batman, you sent her an email. She's with you. You know that, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, it feels like it's just for the trailers or for the audience. Like, who's that for? Like, you're doing fun little interplay. What is this? Like, I don't understand it.
Maybe it's just Batman's taken too many hits to the head.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, he's been doing it for 30 years or whatever. Also, why does Superman go, I have to do this, I have to be the guy with the spear? I understand you wouldn't give it to Batman because he's a man and he'd definitely die.
Sure.
Like, even if he got the spear in him, he'd definitely die. So give it to Wonder Woman. She's doing very well against Doomsday.
She seems to, honestly, upon a rewatch, she seems to be having a great time.
Yeah, I know,
She's
right?
Smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, Wonder Woman, I'll take your lasso of truth.
Yeah.
And you take the spear. You can kind of fly, I think.
Wonder Woman could eat a piece of kryptonite and she would be fine.
Right.
Obviously, you would give it to her. So the idea that Superman sacrifices himself is stupid because in the Death of Superman story, he does it because Doomsday has torn through the Justice League, including Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And he's the only one left with powers that are even remotely in the ballpark of Doomsday.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, with the Kryptonite Spear, or even without, there's another person who could do this. Also, she's proficient in short-range weapons. You're not. You're
And
just doing
Martian-
big punches.
And Martian Manhunter's still out there.
He's still out there.
Send the Flash in. Get him to stick the spear in, then come back every couple of seconds and tap it in a little bit further.
He'd fall over.
He'd fall over, it's probably true.
Here's a joke. It's not a good joke. This is a guy I met once. It's not a good story, but here we go. I met him and he was awful. Like just a normal, you met a guy and you're like the worst.
And then we became the best of friends.
No,
Stories
Mason.
about me.
No, Mason.
Oh.
And he kind of got worse over the night, and I'm like, I hope I never see this guy again. He made us pay.
And then it was your dad.
Yeah,
It
he was
your dad.
driving and he made us pay for the petrol and then didn't drop us home, dropped us at a bus stop. That kind of guy.
Okay, well, what era was this? Like, I reckon...
Oh, I was like 22, 21, I guess, 22.
Okay, right. I reckon like 18, 19, if somebody's like, do you have some
No,
money?
petrol money, sure, of course, but don't leave me.
No,
at a fucking bus
that's
stop.
bold. Yeah.
He also, another story about this guy. He had a spare set of notes that he printed off for university. And my other friend, he said, oh, do you want these? And he goes, oh, yeah, if you're not using them. And he goes, that'll be 30 cents.
Oh, for the
It's
photocopy.
like, yeah.
For the
it's like,
printing. Wow.
Okay, right. Yeah, so he's that guy.
Wow.
Anyway.
What's he up to these days?
I have no idea. His last name's Jackman. I can't remember his first name. But as soon as
Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, as soon as I met him, he goes, oh, my cousin's Hugh Jackman. And I go, oh, really? And he goes, no. And I'm like, all right.
Like you're an idiot.
Yeah, like I'm an idiot for, it's like great joke, man.
And he's a good joke.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope he's dead for real. All right, in other news, and there's a lot of things in this game like you get to like an abandoned museum or abandoned aquarium and you have to follow someone. They're like, come on, I'll show you. And you go into a room and it's like a big statue of a dinosaur or a whale. And you're like, wow, can you believe they had this in the old world? And I'm like, yeah, because I fucking live in this world. This isn't impressive to me. Seeing a statue of a whale means jack shit.
James, maybe it should be impressive to you, though.
No, a real whale is
You
impressive.
ever stop to smell the flowers, James?
It's a plastic whale. It's not interesting.
Okay,
anyway,
explain me.
there's too many points in this game that are like, oh my God, look at this museum. Look at these old space houses. Shut up. Shut the fuck up with this. It's like
You hate themes.
I
James.
hate like the walking, like the slow walking tour of a like an abandoned it's like. And they're like, because they did it in the first one because there's a moment where you see a giraffe. It's not a massive spoiler, but it's like and they're like, oh my God, we saw a giraffe. And it's like a big
And a live
moment.
one, a real one.
A live one. And it's like a big deal, but it's like, God, can you stop doing this? Like it's too long, right? And it's like, I get it. Joel and Ellie are friends and whatever, like, and they have problems which is fine. You know what I hate about a lot of that kind of the graphics cardy stuff and the fancy modems and the chairs and the special custom mouses? They all look like shit. Like they're all like fluoro and jagged. Like look at that router that I've got.
Yeah.
It's the best one I could get, right? But it looks horrible.
It looks like
It's a fucking horrible
looks like
looking thing.
a robot crab.
Yeah, it
like if
does.
the government were going to send a robot crab, like a drone, to come and kill you,
Yeah.
it would have a bomb in it and maybe a knife.
Yeah.
It would blow you up, and if you were still alive, it would stab you. But that's what it would look like.
Could we get like a gamer chair that doesn't look like a baby's car seat mixed with a Monster Energy like design? You know what I mean? What about a nice leather-bound chair?
A baby's car seat, but it's also got like big gulp.
Yeah, exactly.
Just-
Some of the baby's car seats have those.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, do you know what I mean?
No, I know
Like
what
a
you mean.
proper fucking chair.
Like a gentleman's chair.
I don't know, just a chair. You know how hard it is to just find a chair, like a computer
just like a
chair?
plastic folding chair.
Whatever. No, I want something comfortable, but
Yes.
but they're ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
And they got the super high back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And just like glowing neon
Yeah, they're
stripes
horrible.
around everything.
Just a fucking chair, man.
Yeah.
And because I really struggle with chairs. Look at these chairs I got. I'm not happy about it. They're all
fine,
right.
they're
Yeah,
fine, yeah.
you know, but they're okay.
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
like super comfortable. Anyway, whatever. And also, I don't want wheels. None of this wheel shit. What are you wheeling? Nowhere. You're kidding yourself.
No, what if you want to wheel from one computer in one side of the room to your computer on the other side of the room? Because you've got your gaming computer and your hacking
No,
computer.
they're next to each other. You got two monitors. Everybody knows that.
Just two monitors? Wow. Get a load of this noob.
Obviously, I've got a guy who does it. If you need a seasoning guy,
Oh,
I've got a
yeah,
guy.
yeah, season. Okay, yeah.
Do you have a guy, legitimately, who's like the barbecue guy and he talks like non-ironically about like he has to run every barbecue and organise the barbecue.
No.
And be like, and he's got like a butcher. So whenever like having a barbecue, he's like, oh, I've got a guy who does meat. Yeah, we all do. Because we all eat food, okay?
Yes.
It's not, but he's like, nah, my guy, like you don't understand. No, I understand.
He gives me the choice cuts. Anyone else, he would throw them in the trash, but he gives me the good ones.
I'm not here for it, is what I'm saying.
And then he brings the meat and it's exactly the same. It's
It's
all the
fine.
other meat.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same.
Who's the guy? Do I know him?
Yeah, you know him.
Who is it? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
You know him, yeah.
Just to be clear, folks, this is post-edit. I know exactly who you're talking about, James.
And
I
you're
know.
surprised?
Not at all.
And the guy was like, you have the body of an Italian greyhound.
That's what he said, which also is not a compliment. Because he's like, yeah, you got like a thin waist, but like a wide chest, but like a great... Like, so you think I'm like a tiny greyhound. Thanks, man. That's really cool. Also, that fucking suit was tiny. I couldn't move in it. He put me in this tiny little suit, and I must have gained like half a kilo. Because on the day of the wedding, I couldn't lift my arms.
Which is awkward
He, like,
because
sewed me into this
you
suit.
had many best man duties.
I
and it
did.
was so good.
Oh, fuck that guy, man. All right, anyway.
Oh, God, that
My
was
friends
so
still
funny.
call me the Italian greyhound.
Yeah, they do. Hey, I like you. I think
Thanks.
you'd make a great greyhound. Anyway.
Also, I work hard, man. I sweat every day busting my ass. And people are like, yeah, just one of those people who just you just naturally think. No, I'm not. I barely eat anything. I exercise every fucking day. It's exhausting. I hate it. I feel worse for it. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
on Twitter the other day. And what happened was I saw this like viral marketing campaign from the Planters Mr. Peanut company. I don't know if you remember, but Mr. Peanut was killed at the start of the year, right? In a forced viral marketing campaign. And then they brought him back as Baby Nut. It's like Baby Yoda.
He's
but
a cartoon peanut.
The cartoon peanut. And then it also, I think that the weekend he died was the same weekend that Kobe Bryant died. So it kind of stepped on their whole marketing campaign as well. So now they're like, Mr. Peanut's back and he's 21 and he can drink. And I'm like, no. I'm just
slammed
like,
his fist on
something
the
in
desk.
me. And look, I do find it incredibly funny, but something in me was just like, fuck this. No, I'm not stand for it. So I just went on this little bit of a tirade with the hashtag block Mr. Peanut. So everybody would get behind like blocking this brand to stop with their like branding bullshit, right? But what ended up happening is it went like a little bit viral. Like it started to take off beyond, like there's a few articles that got written up in like Business Insider and some other websites, some other minor websites talking about how this campaign that they're running is like slightly backfired on them. So look, if anything, I'll probably help them.
Yeah.
But it was just this moment of like, not the time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I'm not having this. I'm not having this in my feed. And I just don't want to see any of this shit. So, like, it's a joke, but at the same time, I'm also like, obviously hurting in other ways. And I'm taking it out on this.
Yeah, I saw a couple of tweets that were
Peanut
like,
company.
James, are you okay?
Yeah. No, I'm not, obviously. Obviously, I'm not.
Yeah, we're really not okay today. Today's been one of those weird days. I think it started with me waking you up and you saying, Claire, I've made Mr. Peanut go viral. And it's just gone downhill from there.
Yeah, it's good fun, man. Get on the board with blocking Mr. Peanut if you can, but you don't have to. I think it's hit its peak. So, you know, this thing is
on
now.
the way down.
I don't want to force it. This thing is now out in the universe. Like, but there was like a time last night when I started it. It was like every few seconds there was like a tweet about it. So it got a fair bit of traction. And then there was the people who completely unrelated to me were just like, yeah, fuck this guy. And I'm like, exactly. This is what I want to see. So it has to take a life of its own. But I feel like it's done.
You and me have very different ways and
You
beliefs
should see
about
this
the
Peanut,
universe.
though.
Okay.
And you
I looked it up.
Yeah, but he
Googled it.
also, if you watch the viral lad, he holds up his license. He's like, I'm 21 now. And it says he's like 5'4" or whatever. And I'm like, what do you mean he's 5'4"? He's a peanut. What are we talking about here? I'm not having it. At least keep consistency in your world building. Anyway. Also, peanuts are all the same.
It's big dollars.
Big dollars for a big man.
We're giving big hollers to big dollars. It's our new segment. We just say how much money people made and then we applaud it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then maybe one of them hears it and they give us $1 million.
That's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how we...
That's why I'm always defending Elon Musk online.
exactly
Because
right.
I know eventually he's going to give me a car.
He's not a big dumb goon. He's
I
a
think
great
he's
guy.
great.
Great guy.
I think he's great.
Great guy.
He's got great ideas.
Self-made billionaire.
I don't think he's a fuckwit. I don't think that.
Didn't inherit money from apartheid mining.
Doesn't call people a pedophile unnecessarily.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Good on him. Hollers for dollars, baby.
But where would the space program be without him? Yeah, we know. Yeah, he's great. That's what we're saying.
We're all going to cram into that spaceship to Mars and then work in his space mines on Mars. Sounds cool.
He doesn't like government handouts, despite getting them himself.
$5 billion. It's fine. Lower that minimum wage, I say. Elon Musk. Anyway.
We're big fans. People
of
think
him.
we're being ironic.
No, but we're not. We love him.
You know what I'm really mad about?
Oh, here we go.
As a kid,
Yes.
there was a lot of stuff and campaigns and like adults telling us that clean up your litter and it's your fault the world is ruined and there's so much litter. It's your fucking fault. I'm not dumping toxic wasted petrol in the ocean. That's you.
You know who,
I don't even drive a car.
You know who created all those campaigns?
Who?
Like plastic companies.
Of course they did.
You know, there's a Keep America Beautiful. You probably don't, but there's an organization called Keep America Beautiful, which was founded by Coke and like the Dixie Cup Company
Right.
and like General Plastic Manufacturers Incorporated or whatever. And they're like, because the government was like, hey, you should stop making this stuff. And they're like, what if we told everybody it was their fault we were making it?
Yeah. I felt terrible. Like I did as a kid. They're like, there's a hole in the ozone layer because of you. And I'm like, but I don't even litter. I flick my cigarette butts in the bin.
Yeah, that's right.
We all smoked in Australia in the 90s, didn't we? All of us, all the kids.
We loved it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just mad about that.
I bet you are, yeah.
Because even, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, this is off track. People didn't come in for this.
Yeah.
But you should, like, obviously you should not litter and all of those things, but just the audacity to be like, this is on you.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff they don't even recycle. They just fucking dump it in a
put it in the bin.
landfill.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of this
I'm
is
well
a
aware.
con.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you think happens when we die?
Do we really want to do this now?
Sure, why not?
It's 26 minutes.
Oh, we are,
This episode has really rambled.
Okay.
I can't answer the meaning of life in 26 minutes.
You don't need 26 minutes.
You know what I think happens?
What?
I think we become one with the universe.
Fuck that. I don't need any of that shit. I don't want to get.
That's what I believe.
I don't want to get absorbed into some dumb consciousness, and then I'm part of like some bigger understanding of the universe. I want that to exist, and I can sit next to it and just be like, boo, boo. It's just like me in high school again. You should really join the consciousness. Fuck off. I don't want to join the consciousness.
What are you going to do for eternity then? Just sit and make fun of people?
The consciousness.
The consciousness.
The consciousness of humanity.
Oh, God.
Einstein's in here. I don't give a fuck. Tell him to fuck off. I was going to say fuck off and die, but he's already dead. He's already in the consciousness.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you think the haircut is that I gave our son today?
God. Oh, I wish the scale went higher. I mean, a 10 being the worst.
Oh my God. So what happened, guys, is we were about to drop him off at his nan and pa's.
Yeah.
And he's hadn't had a haircut in like 10 months because hairdressers have been shut for like most of the year. And I missed that little window when they were open for a tiny bit. And so I just got sick of looking at you as well because James's hair was also terrible. And I just decided I'd get the clippers, like James's beard trimmer out. And I asked him, and he's like, yeah, grab it upstairs.
I said, put the guard on it.
Bed.
And I thought you were just going to trim the back.
I didn't. I thought the guard was like a cap.
No.
So I didn't put the guard on, and I just sat him in front of Paw Patrol, and I just went, okay, it's time. We've got to go out the door. I'll just quickly do this. I've never cut anyone's hair.
It's not something you can quickly do. And she took it, lowest settings, like the lowest settings you can put something on, like to the bone, and just ran it up the back of his head. And because his hair's so thick, he has beautiful hair.
I know, James looked so sad.
It was like you dug a trench into his head. And you're like, James, and I came out, and I'm just like, what the fuck have you done?
I've never seen you look so mad at me.
It was so bad.
You were so mad. You kept walking back and forth going, what the fuck? What the fuck?
He has to go to Kinder.
Son is just sitting there on the chair.
He has to go to Kinder.
Next week. Oh my God. And you were just like, you had those crazy eyes where you were really looking at me like, who am I married?
I'm like, do we have to shave his head? He looks horrible. Like, we can't. Why did you do this? But anyway, I fixed it.
You really did.
I fixed it. I went to his grandparents. They have a home set of hair clippers, and I gave him a bit of a fade, and I evened it out, and it's not perfect,
No,
but I
mean, he's
fixed
still got
it.
a few holes.
He's got
in
a
the
few holes
back
in his head.
where it's bald.
Only lasts a week. That'll grow out in a week.
All
but
right.
yeah, so
It
and then
looks
and then
okay.
off the back of that, I'm like, I gotta cut my fucking hair. So I
Yeah, and
just
you did
trimmed
a
it
great
short,
cut
yeah.
on your head.
Because I remember when I worked at McDonald's years ago, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be one of those days. And the boss was like, it's only one of those days if you let it be one of those days. And I just wanted to be like, shut the fuck up. How about that? How about just let me have this? And like, I'll do the work regardless, but just fucking shut up. When I was a kid about his age, I went out on this, like, it was like this little scout kind of thing. It wasn't scouts, but it was something like that. And they're like, we're going to go and cook damper, which is like this form of like, it's an Australian bush bread. It's
I
just,
see.
it's bread
I
and
love
water.
it. It's so great. You cook it and then you have with butter and jam. It's always my favourite thing. But
It's
to be
bad.
fair, I love bloody everything.
Yeah, it's bad bread, right? And there was a
It's
moment.
like a
it's
nice
terrible.
scone.
No, it's
It's
not good.
delicious.
Anyway, and it's always got like grit and soot in it. It's no good.
You're
Just
such
have
a
regular
miser.
bread. Just have regular
You're
bread.
such a
Regular bread
miser.
exists. You don't need to cook
my
bread in the fucking dirt.
God.
Anyway, so I remember there was a moment when they took us out to like this relatively remote place. It wasn't that, but you know, they're like, so the bush in many ways is like it's like an orchestra, and all the sounds of the bush that they make music. If you listen for the birds and the swooshing of the trees and the animals and the cracking of twigs and bark and, you know, and all that kind of thing. So if you close your eyes, you'll hear like the music of the bush, right? And so everybody closes their eyes for like a minute, and I'm just listening, and I'm like, just sounds like fucking birds, mate. Like I'm like, there's no rhythm to this. It's just like, just like, and leaves like rustling. I'm like, this is like nature. Like there's no tune.
And in that story is the fundamental difference between me and you, because we did that exact same activity when I was a kid and I lost myself sick just dreaming up music. Like, I still do it now. I literally recorded a video on my Instagram this morning of me just like out under a tree.
Don't tell me it's music. Don't tell me it's fucking music, because it's not.
That was not set up, but I literally did that. But it's James. It's a
I'm not one of those
spirit
guys
thing.
who's like certain music, like
spirit
rap
thing.
music isn't music or opera isn't music because I don't like it or whatever. All music is valid. This is not music. It's just nature sounds. It's just nature sounds. There's a reason why you can't be like, oh, the number one track this week is 3 minutes of fucking tree swaying in the
What
wind.
about like Enya?
That's
You know?
different. I went up and they had...
I've met a few bloody jobs,
It was like,
though, tell you what.
no, you're not wrong. And there was
Yeah.
a list of like gelato flavors, and I'm like, I'll have a lemon. Oh, can I have a lemon gelato? And he goes, it's rainbow. I'm like, what? And he canned me like it was like $8, and it was like a horrible like dry ice cream cone with rainbow gelato. Gelati should not be rainbow. Do you know what I mean? They've got distinct, sharp flavors that you don't mix together.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't finish it, and it was terrible.
Wait, so did he give you a little scoop of every flavour?
No, it was in the one tub.
Oh, that's why
it was rainbow.
I've never heard of that. I think you got yourself a rogue gelato man.
Yeah. They're all rogue, aren't they?
I guess.
Yeah. And on top of that, and this is the horrifying part for me, the movie opens where she gets funneled into a tiny elf delivery room because she's very pregnant. She's like 2 weeks over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they are not equipped to handle a human baby. I've been in that situation before twice. You want the best of the best in there. You don't want fucking elves running around with their magic little shoes doing little dancing and their little hammers and whatever they're up to.
You don't want the baby hammered out of your wife?
Absolutely not. There is nothing in...
Because you bloody hammered it into your wife, let me tell you.
But there is no 2006 medical equipment in that room. They maybe got some like tiny bowls and some like towels that you can
Sure.
set up with, but that's not going to cut it, because what if the baby is breech, right? What if the baby has its umbilical cord wrapped around its neck? What if you need to perform an episiotomy? Google that. I'm not going to get into it, but these are all very complicated and dangerous medical procedures that should not be done by elves. They're not even the right size.
Right.
You need physical strength associated with being in this situation. If you're a child and you've got child strength, this is not right. She shouldn't be there. They should have taken her back to real world 2006. The parents are right. There's a fucking hole in the roof. And it's also not I'm sorry, I'm just going up here. But it's not a situation where the room cannot be fixed. She's already 2 weeks over. So where they're like, oh, we better fix this room up. It's done. Like, it's over.
Fixed it weeks
This
ago.
is where it's happening. And the other thing is, it's so small. Like, it's smaller than the podcast room that we record in. And he's
It's
got
the size of a shoebox.
It's the size of a shoebox, but He has a room dedicated to snow globes. Right. Like, you don't want to use any of the other... This is it?
Right.
This is really what you're doing.
The workshop is really big. What you could do is stop making weird tin soldiers and little robots and little race cars that nobody ever buys or plays with ever. Just move that aside and make that into a delivery room.
Exactly.
James, would you have felt better if perhaps there was a larger mythical creature in there to help out the delivery, like an ogre, perhaps?
Like that horrifying Easter bunny?
Yes.
I mean, he's human size, but he's terrified. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I don't think he has thumbs either.
It's probably the tooth fairy. That's how he's yanking tooths out of people.
He can yank a baby, yeah.
But like, if she needs an emergency cesarean, who's doing that?
The ogre.
I guess the ogre's doing it.
The ogre has claws. Claws like tiny daggers.
And you know what I think is actually really secretly horrifying about this movie?
Go on.
Is that there's a moment where like Tim Allen breaks and he's had enough because Martin Short's running amok with his frosted tips.
Yes.
He's causing all sorts of trouble. And she's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have come here. Correct. That's right. You shouldn't have come here. And I think that's the real her just poking through the sheen of magic that's going on.
This should
She's a completely different person.
Yeah.
Where's her agency?
In a superhero movie, this is where somebody would scream, "Remember who you are!" And then she'd be like, "Oh, I'm escaping!" And then she would tear off all her Mrs. Claus skin and she'd have regular skin underneath.
She'd have regular skin, yeah. Again, it's that situation where it's altered her personality to her core. It's not the same person. And the other thing is, I don't like in this universe that Santa is having a baby, like you mentioned. Is it a regular baby? Is it a magic baby?
Is it the Antichrist?
Is it the Antichrist? I don't think a human baby should grow up in the North Pole.
Yeah.
They already did that movie. It was called Elf. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
the kids are even called Buddy. Apparently that's not a coincidence. But that's not... If you want a regular kid...
Yeah.
This is not where they should grow up.
But if you want the culmination of some sort of horrific Cthulhu prophecy, maybe this is what you do.
I guess it is. I just think this is horrifying. It's genuinely horrifying. Awful. It's called The Ripper on Netflix. And it's about a murderer through the 70s. He killed like 10, maybe 20 women and assaulted like various others with like hammers to the back of the head for like even longer than that.
Oh, Lord.
And so he was like the new Jack the Ripper, and they were like, how are we going to catch this guy or whatever? But the reason they caught him by accident at the end, as they always do with these fucking guys from that era. And it's just incompetent cops just fucking banging into rakes. Do you know what I mean? Just fucking walking around. But like, there's moments where they're like, well, the guy that we're looking for, he wasn't smiling, but this man we're interviewing, he's smiling and he's wearing a different green hat. So this must be a different guy. Like, it's literally like they find a guy who's so close to him, because it is him.
Yeah.
Like, they interview him, and they're like, no, his accent's different. It's not him. Don't bother me with this. But it's like literally every other piece of evidence lines up, right?
Yeah.
And then in the end, they figured out, after they accidentally caught him, by the way, through some good police work, to be fair, because there are good cops working on it. They'd already interviewed him 9 times, and he'd been spotted in the local area of these murders 50 times.
Jesus.
50 fucking times. And they couldn't find him, because it's just people being like, well, we think he's from here, and we think he only murders prostitutes, but he's just murdering like anybody. And they're like, well, this doesn't fit with our narrative, so this must be a different murder, or that woman was murdered, so she must be a prostitute. And the family's like, yes, she wasn't a prostitute. And they're like, we don't care. Well, she's a prostitute. I'm watching it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
Like, it's just the sheer incompetence.
So
was
it wasn't
staggering.
that he was clever.
No, he was a fucking idiot.
The only reason you work in this studio is because I designed it so that it would open to the garden.
You designed it. You're a real piece of work. You come in here with
and I love it, but you just happen to notice
I
it.
love
and go,
how
oh,
you're
yeah.
commandeering nature and being like,
Okay,
no, I love
another
nature more than you. You don't get to decide how much another person
I know how
likes
much I love
nature.
nature more than you. I know this for another reason. It's the same with food. You said to me once with food, you could just have a tablet and never have to eat during the day. You would do it.
Maybe my mum's a terrible cook. Got her.
No, she's not. She's a wonderful cook.
No,
Don't say
I
that about
love
your
food,
mum.
but a lot of food, like a lot of things, is just like, it's fuel. And if food's really good, that's great.
No.
But if it's not, it's just fuel.
That's what I mean. Whereas to me, every meal is a big decision.
That's ridiculous. To be like every
meal is a big decision.
I know it's a big decision, but
because
but
I
not,
love it so much.
But not every meal.
It's the same with nature.
But not every meal is that, and not everything in nature
when
is breathtaking.
do you ever go for you would never just just go for a wander in the? Your favorite time to walk is in the dark when you can't even see the nature.
It's not about seeing, it's about the quietness of it,
Exactly, and the dark.
I can't believe
you would much prefer to walk in the dark by yourself or with your friend Mason talking without looking at the nature. You can never once just go for a stroll during the day.
You're a ridiculous human being. I can't believe
I am so right about this. I cannot believe you're even arguing about this.
commandeering nature. You're trying to take nature away
No,
from you
I'm just
and
saying
claiming
you do
nature
not-
for your own.
it
You don't
is-
own nature.
it is-
You're not Mother Nature. Well, look, okay.
You just don't like nature the way I like it, and that's fine. Not everyone has to like everything the
No.
same. You like watching Avengers shoot each other on the TV and playing old versions of James Bond for
I have
work.
to do that. It's for my
And that is
caravan of garbage.
fine. I am just a much more evolved person.
This
than
is
you.
ridiculous. You are being outrageous.
I am not being
You
out-
spend
oh my
so
God.
much time indoors, probably even more than me.
Are you
and you
serious?
come and yes.
No, that is total bogle, totally not true. The only reason I spend more time indoors at the moment is because I'm bloody pregnant as all hell and I can barely walk to the...
I think it's an Australian product, and I don't like to rubbish things, but Protein Flakes 100% natural by Lupins for Life is literally the worst thing I've ever eaten, ever. How dare they say this is food? Because it is like, and I'm not that picky, am I? You'll eat literally anything. It's like a fuel.
You're literally eating cardboard circles from a box.
This shit is fucking poison. I dare you to try and eat a bowl. Listen.
Anyway,
it's
and
fine.
that's fine.
The thing
I'm
is,
fine
like,
with not being
who
cool.
wants to peak at school? Anybody I know who peaks at school is a piece of shit and they're not doing anything. They are doing literally nothing. Because they went, this is it, I'm on the track. But because everything comes easy, so you don't have to try. You're either good looking or you're cool and whatever. And then that shit doesn't mean anything in the real world. I mean, it helps to be like good looking, I think it does. But if you're just an obnoxious cool person, guess what? No one gives a fuck. People just think you're an asshole. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. If you're cool and snarky and mean, people fucking hate you. They don't care. That's
You know
why you
what
see
happened?
those friendship groups. We know people
They
like...
all marry
They all marry each other, all the cool groups, and they stay... Because you had girls at your school who had a school reunion
Oh my God.
adjacent to your school reunion because they didn't agree with certain things that were going on. It's like, no one gives
No,
a fuck.
it wasn't even that.
Nobody
it wasn't even that. It
cares.
was my 10-year school union, which I didn't go to because...
I fucking hate that I know who Ted Cruz is. I shouldn't need to know that. Ugh. Yes. Ugh.
Ugh.
I mean, at least defend your family. Like, he's thrown his...
James, do you have more emails?
No, just listen. He's thrown his whole fucking family under the bus.
No, he did that, didn't he?
Like at different times. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Your job is to not do that.
Yeah.
And govern.
But he doesn't hold a hose, mate.
What does that mean?
That's what Scott Morrison said.
Oh, I was talking about Ted Cruz.
No, I know.
But yeah,
Yeah.
fucking...
They both did it.
Yeah, great. Anyway... Like the penny farthing. It's just like, fucking get rid of this. Whenever I see someone on a penny farthing, I just want to kick the fucking front wheel out of it. Just like, I just hate him. Like,
Don't
and
you
anyone on
think
a penny
it's
farthing wants
jaunty
to be
and
like,
fun?
look, it's me, I'm on a penny farthing. I'm like, not if I kick the fucking wheel out, you won't be. Anyway, I hate it. I hate the penny farthing.
What is it done to you?
It's dead for a
Nothing.
reason. But so it's filmed for IMAX, so it's tall.
Okay.
And the excuse or the reasoning is like, well, it's so you get more in the frame and it's more like a comic book.
Okay.
But as I was saying to you the other day, but that's why widescreen started. Because it's like, because you can see more. So what are we just going to do? We're just going to go up. And then and if this kicks off, then we're going to go out again and then up and then out. We're just going to do this for the rest of our lives?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
It's like
Why is the box better now? I don't understand what's happening. Do you know what I mean? But Humpty Dumpty is never referenced as an egg. If you listen to the actual words of Humpty Dumpty, it's never said he's an egg.
You've taken Mr. Potato Head from me, and now you're taking Mr. Humpty Dumpty Egg.
What kind of absolute fucking goof would be like, I can't believe they've gone too far, I'm going to buy all the Mr. Potatoes. You've fallen for a marketing trick, moron. Also, nobody was calling for it. They did this. It's like with the Dr. Zeus thing. They're like, the people are censoring. No, the Dr. Zeus people did this, and now you're rushing out to buy books.
The ones you've never heard of.
You fucking
The bad
dumbass. You're just giving money to the people who made this decision. Like, it will look at like Adam Carolla recently came out and he's like, talking about how teachers should get back to work and all teachers are cowards or whatever, and who cares because kids don't get sick anyway and whatever. And
I used to swing a hammer. I'm
yeah,
Adam
exactly.
Carolla.
It's like Adam Carolla. How do you fucking see yourself? Because you've just been doing whatever this is for like 40 fucking years. And he's like, I'm a common man. You're not. You're just like on a different fucking ethereal plane. Like when he looks at himself, what does he think he is?
Working class hero.
It's fucking lunacy. Like I don't think about him, and then I think about him, and I'm like, shut up, Adam Carolla. Revelations, because I don't know if you know this about me, but
You
I
hate the Royals.
always thought the Royals were fucking awful and pointless.
Well, that's a bit
And they always
mean.
have been, because they just acquired a bunch of land like 1,200 years ago, and they're just like, we just have this money and we are somewhat in charge. I know less so now than they used to be. They wield all this power and influence for no other reason. The person in charge is just the next person who's born. Yeah, that's fucking normal. That's totally fine. It's just one of the things that we all accept is just a thing
All
that
right.
exists.
I accept what you were saying. However, James, the outfits, the dresses,
Fuck them.
the gossip.
Fuck them all.
I
They
know.
shouldn't have any of that stuff.
The Commonwealth and trying to do good in the
No,
world.
they ruin shit. They have spent 1,000 years just ruining other
Yeah, no,
countries.
you're absolutely right.
And their own country. And just stepping on people and stealing shit. They're fucking awful.
Okay,
I'm
however,
sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
kind of do love the Queen, though.
Look, here's the thing.
I
I
love
don't
Queen
think
Elizabeth.
I don't think the Queen's the problem. I think, as
No,
mentioned in
I
this
think
interview,
she's a very admirable, dedicated
I agree in a lot of
person
ways.
in a role that she probably never wanted and wasn't necessarily
It's an
suitable
impossible
for at the time.
position, and because it seems like a lot of the people that were at fault here are the people around the royals and who are running things or whatever. It does seem like a system that a lot of them are just trapped
Yes,
in, or don't
correct.
even know that they're in.
Exactly. Okay, so here is...
Also, I just want to quickly say
Oh,
also,
yeah, it's-
I know there's
yeah,
an element
okay.
of like, oh, boo-hoo, Meghan Markle, she's rich and he's a prince and whatever. Like, I know that, putting that aside, it's still like a very awful situation that they were in.
All right. Okay, thank you for your rant.
I'm not
Can
finished.
I'm not. I'll never be finished.
So go on. This fucking person that you see them everywhere. They're fucking everywhere and they run everything and they're the worst. And it's not to say if you go to
And
a private
this is
school.
a massive generalization.
Yeah, of course, because
And,
I'm friends with people who went to like very nice private schools who are
usually
not
always
this.
about
but yeah.
empathy, but I'm
There
just
is
in a
this,
very
like,
big rage spiral
There is this
today.
sense of like privilege and like I deserve this kind of, and you see it like Scott Morrison is an absolute fuck up, and he's always been a massive fuck up, and he's just fucked his way up the chain of command. Like, and remember that "Where the Bloody Hell Are You" campaign that completely tanked our fucking tourism industry?
yeah.
He did that. He made that.
Yeah.
That's the.
But that's the whole Boris Johnson
Yeah,
effect.
failing
it's
upwards.
failing up.
My fucking crypto group is going off yet again. I complain about this group a lot to you, don't I?
That's very true.
I'm in a crypto group chat, which is like crypto's up, oh, now it's down. Yeah, it does it like multiple times a day.
James has had it with crypto.
Becca would have had it with crypto.
He had it with crypto, yeah.
I told you about the resilience counselor that came to my son's school. Did I tell you about that?
No, is this an off-air conversation? I think it might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll briefly talk about it.
Here we go.
But there was a moment, and it was pretty good at resilience, but she was of the boomer age. And then at the end, she literally read like a Facebook post where it was like, back in my day, we used to drink from the hose. And, and we didn't used to wear seatbelts, and we all survived. And I want to be like, people do drink from the hose. That's not a big deal. And also, that's insane to not wear a seatbelt. Like, some survived, but a lot of people were mangled. Like, a lot of kids were mangled because their parents were drunk driving and they weren't wearing seatbelts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not resilience. That's stupid. You did a stupid thing. And she ended it with like, well, I live in the inner city. I live in like Brunswick or whatever. For those people who don't know, it's a pretty fancy part of town or whatever. And she's like, and where are all the kids gone? There used to be kids in the street all the time. And I'm like, because you fucking bought all the houses. Nobody I know can buy a family home in the inner city.
Right?
You out of your fucking mind?
All the houses are
What's
$1
this got to do with
million.
resilience also? I
don't know.
I'm the snowflake though, because look at me bloody go off.
Right.
Anyway, that's enough. That should have been an off-air conversation.
Maybe you could be like, hey, I also listen to that, but shut up.
Exactly.
Shh. Put your headphones in. What, are
Yeah.
you allergic to headphones?
Claire and I had a discussion about that and how old people play their music out loud. Because, like, some people like consider it a cultural thing and whatever. And I'm like, I understand that. I'm like, fine.
get some fucking headphones.
Sure.
Like that, I don't care. And she made mention like if you're in the park or whatever and you're walking, yeah, whatever. But like if you're around people, don't do that. What's wrong with you? It's like, boomers on their speakerphones.
Oh, yeah.
In cafes.
Wow.
Stop it.
I know. Why does it not surprise you?
Who made this up? Fuck. Kind of weird. Just now, and that's the thing with all these like fables and shit people make up, and then you just have to run with these lies to your children until they go, "What's the deal with this?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's bullshit." And they're like, "What? Why?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking know. It's just the thing we all agreed that we all do. Apparently, we just lie to children until you figure it out, or you figure it out, then you don't tell us, and then we're all lying to each other." It's fucking insanity. It doesn't make any sense. Why can't it be your parent, you lost a tooth, you're getting older, here's a fucking coin. Flick him a coin. Same with presents. You're getting older, here's a fucking present. Good on you. Have some turkey, I don't know. It's fucking bullshit, man. But here's the thing about this movie.
Here's every movie where a gun was held sideways.
But only up to 94.
Yeah, that's right.
And not beyond. But here's the thing. At the time when this came out, this looks like everything that I would love. It's a cartoon come to life. Mm-hmm. It's a comic book character. It's wacky antics. But to this day, this movie is fucking insufferable. There is something about it which it's noise and hats and teeth. And it's just like a whirlwind of just irritation.
Swing music.
Mason.
Swing music.
But the reason that all this happening is because the Prime Minister fucked up the COVID vaccines.
Sure did.
He should have ordered them, and he didn't.
And he didn't.
And now we don't have any.
Don't have any.
And with like 5% of the population has been vaccinated. Yeah. And it's just a real shit show over here at the moment. Anyway, that's why I like being in multiple WhatsApp groups of people complaining about how is this communism. It's really good. That's what comes to my phone literally all fucking day.
You can leave those groups. You can leave the WhatsApp groups.
I can't, Mason.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. You can't.
I have to stick it out there for my man, Dan.
Yeah,
the guy who runs the state. Do you know what I mean?
You mean Dictator Dan?
That's who I meant.
Whoa. Oh, my God.
I think it's not
Here's
either.
a fun fact for you, James. I learned this week. The upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home is coming out in Australia 9 days after everywhere else.
That's not fun.
I know.
What do you mean?
I'm going to throw my phone in the ocean.
What are you
buy
saying?
another one 9 days
What are you
later.
saying to me? Is that true?
Apparently.
Are you saying this? They're doing a Boxing Day release, aren't they?
Maybe.
Is that what's happening here?
I think it might be,
I'm going to fucking lose my mind, Mason. Are you fucking serious?
That's what I read on the internet.
I fucking hate when they do that. I thought they stopped doing this.
They used to do it when we were kids, and then they went to Australia became day before.
Fuck.
We had the power in our hands, James.
Sometimes a week. Sony sometimes releases them a week before here.
It's going to be after.
Fuck. That's awful news.
It's awful news.
I can't keep away from that.
All right.
It's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Shit. Maybe they'll have an early screening and we can get in then.
Yeah, okay. We can only hope.
Who can I murder? Sorry, that's unrelated. Just thinking about another thing.
He's just writing it on the chalkboard.
That's
Gotta get Kale. Gotta find someone to murder.
It's terrible news. So I'd just like to make some clarifications about what's true about these... about this, quite frankly, abysmal behaviour. Because just be a normal man. Do you know what Heath Ledger did? He didn't run around fucking stabbing people and, and sending people use condoms and dead rats. He did a scene and then he went, good scene, everybody. Let's all have lunch.
Now it's time to do some skateboard tricks.
Exactly.
R.I.P. Heath Ledger.
Agreed. I think he was doing that, but all of the time. And just don't. Just be normal, idiot.
Also, bearing in mind, all this clearing up could be lies.
Yeah, that's right. Well...
Oh.
Okay, so this is what he said. There were some things that were mentioned about gifts and the fact that I was giving used condoms to people, which is not true. It was not true. Some of the stuff that you do can go viral or get written about, especially with the Joker. Some of that stuff just took on a life of its own, and most of it was total bullshit. And I thought to myself, who would start a rumor such as this?
Oh, yes.
He did.
Nice.
He was interviewed. Here's the clip. I found it where he talks about used condoms and anal beads and whatever else. Even if he didn't do these things, you fucking said it. So don't turn around and be like, oh, these rumors get started and I don't know what's going on. Isn't Hollywood a funny business? Fuck you. You did this. This is your fault.
Yeah.
You should be embarrassed. This is an embarrassing performance and just turn of events in general. He's a bad Joker. Mm-hmm. Anyway. No?
Oh, yeah, right.
It's like the Bends. The album.
Love that album. It's a good album.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I just
You're
don't
not
know.
going to have an opinion on the Radiohead album, The Bends.
I don't.
Wow.
What do you want me to make something up?
Yeah.
I fucking hate it, all right?
Wow, controversial. So you like their later period works?
I don't
The
know,
more
Mason.
electronic stuff.
I have no opinions on Radiohead.
Oh, how do you feel about Tom York's solo album, The Eraser?
Look, just because I'm a guy in my late 30s doesn't mean I have to give a shit about Radiohead, all right?
No, you do.
I've never
It's
cared
the
about
law.
Radiohead.
It's the law.
But I have utter disdain for anything royal. I just think they're a pack of pointless, out of touch, inbred dimwits. So says I. But it's fun. It's fun, right?
Sure. Tons of fun.
Yeah. I mean, why do they exist? Oh, my ancestors killed some people and we own this land and now I'm just in charge of some things. Can you give up some of your land? No. And also I own all the swans. Okay, I guess. That's weird.
And the corgis.
And the corgis. I don't know. Pointless.
Some of them don't sweat. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh, that's right. Some of them don't sweat. The pedophile one doesn't sweat. Allegedly, he doesn't sweat. He is a pedophile. Allegedly.
Some of this is coming out. Some to all of this is being removed.
Well, speaking of, he's a bad cop because people are ringing him being like, there's a big lizard. He's like, yeah, right, big lizard. And Peter Parker comes in and he's like, I met a man who has turned himself into a lizard and he's been doing lizard experiments. If you just look into this a little bit, this guy that you know who you know is doing lizard experiments and your daughter knows he's doing lizard experiments, I think he's a lizard. He's like, well, that man wrote my daughter a letter for college. What? You're a cop. Are you fucking serious with that?
Yeah.
What kind of corruption, blind eye shit are we talking about here?
And also, if that guy turns out to be a really big lizard, that letter to the college not going to be worth much, is it? Or worth heaps. Just Steven Seagal, just real slow, just
God, he's
struggling.
something else, that bloke, isn't he?
He really is.
Something bad. Just distress. Mm-hmm. He's friends with Putin. Like, what the fuck is that?
Very odd.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
But like, he's one of those guys who it's weird. He's like, no, he's nice. He's nice to you. He's a war criminal.
Because you, yeah.
What are you talking about? I mean, all world leaders are war criminals. What am I even talking about, Mason?
I don't know, James.
He's a particularly bad one. Anyway, help me for Caravan of Garbage.
That's right.
Thank God we're through Ghostbusters because I'm fucking sick of 40-year-old men screaming at me about Ghostbusters. Get over it.
Well, what did you expect,
I
James?
know, but you need to get past the 2016 version. Like, we all know it wasn't great, and it's done. They're not making it anymore. It's finished. It was 5 years ago, and there are no sequels.
Guys, if you're a 40-year-old
It
man...
didn't do well.
If you're a 40-year-old man and you didn't like it, crowdfund a remake. You know, get $200 billion for it, like that Last Jedi remake.
I'm not saying it's just 40-year-old men, but it's I am saying that, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
Look, I just didn't. I'm kind of, it's good because we gave it a bit of space because it's been like literally half a decade since that
That's
movie
correct, yes.
came out. But God, what? It's just Ghostbusters. Good Lord. Anyway, I guess it's my own fault in a way for talking about Ghostbusters.
A lot of expanded media, really. Yeah, in this one...
Well, look, to be fair, it was either this or play the Hawkeye expansion on that Avengers video game, which I finally bought, and I played the expansion, and I just went, I just don't like this enough. Or not even. This isn't interesting enough. I think mechanically...
So this cartoon is better than the Hawkeye expansion?
I don't even know that, but look, I think mechanically very solid, but it's just... There's so much bullshit packed into that game that you just to get through to just playing a level and playing an interesting mission where you're not just fighting robots, which is every mission, is impossible.
Okay, but does he have some great little outfits?
Yeah, probably. But you probably have to pay for them and whatever. Because again, there's a fucking metric ton of bullshit all over that game.
True.
And it's not, look, and I know the people who made that game, look, fine, we're here, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
But the people behind that game are like, we're not sure why this failed. Why didn't people like it? Because you choked it in garbage. And you gave it to a company who made the Tomb Raider games, who were very good at making like linear-ish single-player narratives. And you just went, let's just blow this out into a big pile of crap. Why don't people like this big pile of crap that we made? What's wrong with it? We put an Avengers logo on this big pile of crap.
We thought that was printing money. It didn't work somehow.
Why is he like that?
I don't know.
I think we've brought it up a bit, but like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Like, genuinely. That's it. That's the question.
I think he just wants that Johnny Mnemonic Snow Crash kind of virtual world.
But like, he's everything about him. Like, he blinks weird, and I know there's like the lizard person memes and all of that stuff, but like, what's with his haircuts? Like, the whole thing. And when he picks his metaverse character, it's him.
Just him,
It's exactly.
Yeah, right.
Didn't have a robot arm or anything.
Sure.
I don't know. What a loser.
I don't give a fuck about Ghostbusters.
Sure.
Like, I don't care at all about it's a thing that I've always like sort of liked, I guess. But I know you've always been a massive fan of the first one. But like, they could bury it all, and I don't give a shit. And I just still get comments today that are about Ghostbusters, and I regret we ever talked about them ever for a single fucking second.
Big mistake.
Fuck Ghostbusters. All of it. Put it in the bin.
Wow.
And it just reminded me, because I know you're on a bit of a crusade against work, right? In terms of the traditional way that people have to work. That's all you talk about.
Fuck work. All my friends in the group chat are like, I love capitalism and I love whatever. And then they're like, why do I work? I work 3 times as hard as I used to, but I'm not getting enough money. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Okay, well, there
Fuck
you go.
work.
Okay, here we go. So this song is not called Fuck Work. It's called Louder Than Words.
I'm not even talking about work. I'm talking about like the grind.
Yes.
And the grind mindset. And the
Yes.
fact that people do not get paid enough for their work.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly what this is. So I want you to listen to this song because... Anyway,
With the whole song?
just some of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you get the chips, which are your favourites.
Nando's are fucked. It's too expensive and it takes too long. So it's like, it's supposed to be fast food, but it's not fast. But it's priced like a restaurant, but it's not like a restaurant quality food. It's just like average fast food. Get fucked, Nando's.
Anyway, that's our Nando's ad. We're sponsored by Nando's this week.
It's fine. Like, it's honestly all right. Anyway.
Be sure to say that it sucks and then say, nah, it's fine, it's all right. They're in the talking points.
COVID. You know, the big pandemic that's happening all of the time. So if you haven't already, get vaccinated if you can. And maybe things won't keep getting delayed. That's all I'm saying. Now you might be thinking, but James, you're wrong. I looked into it, and the science in some cases actually points... No! You're wrong! The information you are working with is incorrect! Now, I do understand, however, if you are one of the few people who can't get vaccinated for legitimate medical reasons. And I'm so sorry. That must be incredibly frustrating. You know, that feeling like the world is moving on without you. But, you know, for everybody else out there, get vaccinated! And if you are unsure of any potential side effects specific to you, please chat with a qualified medical professional. It's okay to ask questions. In fact, I encourage it. But then get fucking vaccinated! Yeah, but vaccines don't even work. You can still get COVID if you wear a mask and you are vaccinated. I know! This is a known fact! People know this. It does, however, greatly decrease your chance of dying or suffering any long-term side effects or perhaps passing it on to others. But total elimination of the virus only happens when a certain number of the population gets vaccinated. Yeah, but James, I'm a person who actually agrees with you. I just think using this aggressive tactic to belittle people who disagree with you is doing more harm. I don't give a shit. I'm sick of this fucking pandemic. I want to travel and cartwheel and go to bars and shit. I'm sick of movies being delayed. They're already delayed Clifford the Big Red Dog. I mean, I wasn't going to see it, but that's a bad sign. And in the latest trailer for Venom 2, Let There Be Another Redder Venom, the release date was stripped. What does that mean? That's not a good sign. That's not good. Sony doesn't have a distribution platform for the likes of Spider-Man Far From Home or No Way Home, whatever it's called. And I want to see that movie. Do you want it to be pushed to mid next year or even beyond that? Is that what you want? Fuck! Anyways, we have this podcast. It's called The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows, which comes out every Monday. Yeah, but James, I'm giving this a thumbs down, and I'm leaving forever because you got political. Good! Fucking kick rocks, dipshit! How's that polio working out for you that you never had? Anyways, I'm sorry for yelling. I'm gonna calm down, and I'm just gonna move past. You know what? I'm not sorry! Get vaccinated!
Are you saying you don't believe in the actual foundation technology behind NFTs and cryptocurrency that is the future of transactions?
I'm saying, James.
It's tax-free, you fuck.
I'm saying, James. I'm saying.
Look, if it should be better. Like, if this is the future, can we see something good, please?
No. No.
It's just fucking, like, why apes? Why? What are we doing? How did this get here?
Because that's the weird, gross thing that they make kombucha out of.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Called a blob of scabion. I've talked about it before on the show. Don't Google it while you're eating.
A lot of people also are like, they're like, you can make your own kombucha. Yeah, I could also build a house if I wanted to make something terrible.
You couldn't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I could make a terrible house, just like I can make a terrible kombucha.
All right,
or I could
some
just
people
buy
find
it.
joy.
I could make my own toothpaste.
here
I could
it
just
goes.
put soap
People do.
and pour in a bunch of sugar, and then it would sweeten it up with maybe some mint, and then
I
there
don't
we
think
go.
You know what toothpaste is? Did you know that toothpaste is actually black?
Yeah, and they have to because they die because it's like
no one wants to buy black
Didn't
toothpaste.
they used to use charcoal to?
Correct. Yes, and
Yeah.
now technically we all should be because it's much more sustainable and not wasteful with the plastic tubes. Anyway,
Okay, I'll get a stick of charcoal.
here he goes. Yes.
Maybe
okay.
corporations.
Okay, can
should-
I just read the letter
Yeah,
before
sorry,
you
yeah,
go on
yeah.
another rant
No,
about
no,
the
I'll stop.
society,
I'll
George
stop.
Costanza?
I'll stop.
He'll never stop. He can't stop, he won't stop.
I just got to say, Comixology is still fucked, and fuck you, whoever did that.
Yeah.
You absolute fucking garbage fucking person who did that. I'd like to thank Warner Brothers for making me do this god-awful piece of shit movie. But also, like, fuck the Razzies.
Yeah.
I mean, we criticize things here on a weekly basis.
Sure.
But the Razzies is just so, like,
Yeah.
just fuck you, shut up. Fuck everybody at the Razzies.
She should have just held up the Oscar and been like, just have a look at yourselves. All of you.
Yeah, exactly. Just stupid. You know, it's been going, like, since at least the 80s. I didn't realize it had been around that long.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, fuck the Razzies.
Fucking true.
Yeah,
and
it
I
is.
would love to get a gum nut and grow a tree and put a tire swing on it. Maybe that's what I'm doing, and that's why I haven't replied. Literally everyone I know is constantly, oh, Claire, you're not replying. You don't answer your phone, Claire. Why doesn't she answer her phone? Because it follows me around. It's creeping me out, and I wanted to stop, and I don't know how to not have my phone. I know.
You know what
I
you
don't
should
know how
do?
to
You should-
exist in a planet.
You
and
should.
a
I mean,
world without my
you
phone.
say these things, and yet you are on the internet, and yet you have social media. Claire.
Exactly. And I'm literally recording a podcast so people can be on their phone to listen to it. It's really messed up, and I don't
That's
know.
my
I don't know what
least
to do.
favorite. Like, it's a meme, but it's basically like, if you criticize society, then people are like, well, yeah, so you say from an iPhone. It's like, yeah, because that's the structure that we're all being penned into. You know what I mean? You really can't exist outside of these things. Do you
No.
understand what I'm saying? So,
Yes,
like,
I do.
it's like you can still criticize a thing and still be in it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like a lot of elements of capitalism. It's like, well, yeah, why did you go live in the woods? Why the fuck would I do that? Because I need money and I want to be around my friends and family. You know what I mean?
Yes. You think people should stop working in the city? And I was like, but then the
No,
cities
I
would be
didn't
dead.
say they should stop working in the city. I said they should stop funneling people into the cities for pointless reasons to fill real estate for fucking bankers or whatever
Yeah.
who've rented out giant office spaces and need to justify the costs. That's what I said. People should go into the city, but they should go into them if they want to and under their own terms.
Yeah. And I think my point was that people just won't go in.
But they are, though.
Yeah, they're going back in because they're being asked to go in. for
No,
work.
but like you go on the weekends and that, it's busy.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, you're right. Anyway, I think that, I absolutely agree with that because you think back to before we had cars, people did all the things that were good for them, like walked
Wow.
places and congregated together.
People used to catch tadpoles and swing on
My
swings.
God, you're so annoying.
I've had this conversation multiple times, both online and in real life, with people like, he's great actually. And I'm like,
But you said to me the statistic that made me cry was that like
Yeah.
$6 billion would solve world hunger.
well, I said that specifically because he said like, look, if someone could give me a plan for what that would look like, because I don't trust somebody just with my money, do you know what I mean, to solve world hunger, then, I'm open to it and I would gladly donate the money. And I think it was I can't remember who it was, but it was some organization who's like deals specifically in these kinds of things was like, okay, here's the exact thing. This is what we would do with the money. And then he didn't do it. So, because that's the kind of person he is.
See, this is
Terrible.
what I mean. I don't want to say he's a terrible
Probably the World
person.
Health.
It
He
just
is. Of
making
course
me
he is.
sad.
You can't have that amount of money and neglect people for that long and like not only in your personal life, but also get ahead in the ways that you do and come from that amount of wealth and call people, like terrible things and then hide behind your money. Do you know what I mean? And claim you invented like PayPal and Tesla and all of it's not, you cannot be that kind of person without being terrible. It's not possible. I don't want to do any more Ghostbusters discourse, Mason.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So you wouldn't mind watching the movie. You
My
just don't wanna
least
talk about it.
favorite nerds on the internet. People who love the first two Ghostbusters movie.
Sure. What do they think about the third Ghostbusters movie?
You can just check the comments
Yeah.
on
Anything. Any
Yeah.
topic in the world.
Yeah.
Just any US economy. Just click through one of those tweets. There'll be somebody on there being like, Made a real big mistake with Ghostbusters. I answer the call.
Yeah. No, but like nobody. The fact that I have to defend that movie, I don't really like because I said Ghostbusters 2 isn't as funny. And it isn't. I'm right. Mm-hmm. I'm right, Mason.
I know.
Just because the original people are in Ghostbusters 2 doesn't automatically make it a funny movie because it's not a funny movie. Not that the reboot is that funny, but it's slightly funnier than the other one. Why am I doing this?
Why are you still talking
about it? I hate Ghostbusters.
No.
I hate it.
This is just going to bring a fresh
I
fresh
fucking
batch.
hate these fucking crusty old fucking nerds who crawl out of the woodwork. God.
Like Bill Murray.
Yeah, like Bill Murray. I fucking hate 3D. I still hate it. I thought it would be better. It was not better. As soon as I put on the glasses and looked at the screen, I was like, I hate this.
Your favourite thing?
No, I don't like that shit at all.
What do you like?
To
because
live
you
in.
always tell me 3D is like something, not 3D, like virtual reality is your
No,
ultimate
when am I?
aim.
I don't like virtual reality. I've talked about this.
No, you talked about how you always wanted to
If
virtual
it was
reality.
flawless,
Wasn't this florless?
florless, no.
Flowerless?
Because it's like a wall. So, like, you know,
But
there's
what's the well, isn't that what virtual reality is? I'm confused.
I want a limitless space, Claire, of virtual reality.
What do you mean?
That's life. I want life, Claire. Anyway,
But that you don't have to leave your house. But then you would have to leave your house if you needed a limitless space.
I just want to just have a regular life where people leave me alone. I was in a sauna today, right, Claire? I was in a sauna.
Why were you in a sauna?
Because I took our son to swimming lesson
So
and
you
then I
went
do
to
some
the
laps.
sauna?
And then I went to the sauna after. And it's every time I go in there, there's like a fucking million old guys in there.
That's the whole rule of saunas.
I know, Claire. Anyway, and they're just like, anyway, when I go to the gym, this is kind of exciting. I like free weights. I use cables. I just want to be like, hey, shut up. Just don't say anything. Just like, can we all just sit in silence? Just fucking shut up. But I can't do that because it's communal space, Claire. You know what I mean? They're
What
allowed
are
to
you
talk. That's
expecting
my
there,
problem.
though?
Yeah, just shut up.
What are you?
It's even worse when they try and talk to you. It's even worse, Claire.
I cannot think of anything worse than sitting with
Well,
half
it was technically
naked.
a steam room, if I guess.
I have a recipe for sausage.
Oh,
meatballs.
sausage. Very good.
All right, so bear with me, listeners. I was on my way to the supermarket, trudging along in
Not
the
everything
in
has
the
to be a story.
rain
Just
and
read the
winter.
recipe. Just read the recipe.
No, this whole point is to build the ambience.
This is my least favorite type of recipe book. It's like, you know, I sometimes when I have this on a cold winter night, and it actually reminds me of, shut up. What are the ingredients? And then it's sometimes the method is like within like just blocks of text. And it's like, give me the list of things and then give me like very basic instructions on how to make the thing.
And then this is the difference between me and you because you don't understand that recipe books can just be read like novels. And no one is ever actually going to make anything in them.
What a ridiculous concept.
No, because you just don't understand food. This goes back to our age-old argument about the fact that you don't really love food like I love food.
Oh my God.
Because it goes back into
What are you, the
like
food
atmosphere.
police? Atmosphere.
Food is also about like textures and colours and scents.
Oh, is
and
it?
The time of the day that you eat it in and the way your body feels and like you're sitting eating a sunny egg in a little pool of sunlight. I don't know. I fucking love it. Just back off.
Also, martinis, they're not good. It's not a good drink. Who's drinking martinis? Also, if you go up and order a martini, you look like a loser.
Oh, you think
I
so?
feel like it's like, you do it. Oh, you think you're James Bond with your martini. Fucking idiot. Anyway, especially if you're in a special suit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You think
You're a
you're-
special boy in your
You
special
know, you're
suit.
special, like those special GQ looking dudes, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
right,
Great stuff.
And the bar's busy. You
Yeah.
know?
Anyways, whatever you want to do, I don't actually care.
He should be like,
It's really at the point where like, I don't even want to fucking talk about this because I just don't want these insane incels. And like people hear that and they're like, well, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm an incel. If I say that and you go, you're talking about me, that's something that you need to deal with, right? I don't want to enter in any dialogue about any of this shit. It's fucking exhausting, honestly. Yeah.
it's just a 22-minute sitcom.
And comics, like, if you've read comics at any point in time, they wildly fluctuate in terms of quality and also in terms of
And
things
logic.
and what I like or don't like compared to another person. This is just comics, but we have to hear about it every week.
Right?
God.
Let's go back to the world of comics where you went to a comic book. MCU TV series should be like comic book stores. You go in, you silently buy your comics and you leave and you don't talk to anybody about it.
Can't remember where it was from, but it was like 70% of Australians want to stay and in the Commonwealth or whatever. And I'm like, that is not true. Like, I know I don't have the stats in front of me, but nobody thinks that. Like it may be like a
I
small
think there's a lot of
percentage.
people do
Maybe
think that.
old people, but like nobody gives a shit.
There's
Nobody
a lot of
wants
baby
this.
boomers. There's a lot of baby
Prince
boomers.
Charles, he's so strange. What a strange man. I know he also has like, he has some good views on like
He wants to
farming.
he wants to
and,
strip back the monarchy too. He wants
Does
it to
he?
be a lot more.
Yeah,
streamlined.
we'll see. Yeah.
Anyway, all I'm saying is there's a lot of room in this for people to feel a lot of different ways. Even just having a woman as the head of state for 70 years is to me, and the way that she conducted herself, I admire.
Yeah,
I
see,
really deeply
I
admire
understand that that's a difficult role to step into. I totally appreciate that,
And
where
the
it's
way
a
she-
male-centric, like the whole monarchy and the whole system, and most systems are like the government. It's all dudes, right?
And she worked right up until the day she died.
Yeah, I know, but working is
know?
like going to things and fucking meeting people.
No, I
or
still,
whatever.
and,
Like, I'm
but
not.
I am appalled by what the British have done, and obviously I've benefited from it in a lot of ways, but absolutely appalling. I mean, colonization, it's devastating. That's not even an accurate word.
Ruins nations for
Yes.
generations,
Yes,
like ongoing.
yes, and I am utterly devastated and
Mm.
horrified by that, which I know are not big enough words to explain
Yeah.
that kind of the massacres that happened in our country. However, that's why I'm saying that there's complexity in this, because I can still admire a woman who for 70 years dedicated her life to a particular role and did it in the face of, I'm assuming, an incredible amount of sexism and all those sorts of things that happened.
Yeah.
Even the images of her burying her husband on her own, I don't know. There were some things, and I know for people she represented a lot of things, and I think she was completely separate, actually, to the way people felt about the monarchy in a lot of ways.
I agree
everyone,
with. I also
you know?
think that like the reason she represents so many things to so many different people is because she never had a hard public stance on literally anything. So it was just a lot of like vagaries and like stiff upper lip and we're in trying times and whatever the fuck. And it's like, yeah, great, really helpful, thank you. And I know she also like headed up a lot of charities and all of that. And, I understand that, but also where does the money come from? It comes from people's taxes and donations and all of these different things. So like, yeah, there are complexities to it, but at the end of the day, she's basically a Disneyland attraction. For 70 odd years. That's what I think. And I'm not saying that's not a hard job, because it is. And fuck that. I would never want to do it. And anybody who would want to do that is a fucking lunatic.
But she
Insane.
but she didn't want to do it.
Then she didn't have to. Then she could have not done it then. Then don't do it. Don't do it. Because there's been a bunch of people, including, what was it, her uncle, who like married someone else and whatever, and was also a Nazi sympathizer. By the way, look into that for the British monarchy. If you're looking for Nazis, there's a fucking bunch of them in there. But she didn't have to do it, is my point.
I know.
And she could have taken steps to dismantle it. And I know people have also said that, well, she did dismantle it. No, she didn't. Things were taken away. People stepped away. Nations stepped away. Nothing was given. I think people had to take things back.
Look, I agree with you in so many ways, but all I'm saying is I do think that there is room for us to have a nuanced discussion about this and for people to have a huge emotions, anger, resentment, all of those things, but also sadness, grief over someone who was essentially like a steady figure for their whole lives. But for their parents' lives, for their grandparents' lives. And change is really hard for people. And there's so many hard things happening at the moment. I think that understanding that we're all going to pass away eventually, death, all of that stuff, like seeing someone that has been so familiar on all our money and all of the things for so long just no longer be there. I know it's insane, but also you have to have compassion and respect as well for people's feelings about that. That's all I'm saying.
I agree, yeah.
And I just think it's important that we don't just yell at each other and that we can try and hold more than one truth at the same time.
But I also don't think like this idea that this is like there's a discussion to be had and, and let's find a middle ground on all of that. I don't agree with that.
I'm not saying we find a middle ground.
No, I know that's not what you're saying. But what I'm saying is like there's not a point to me where you figure something out, which was the benefit of everybody. The answer to all of this is get rid of it. Get rid of all of it. I think that is the answer. I don't think there's any other rational, reasonable explanation and purpose for these people being here other than like a ceremonial role with a very small kind of amount of money that you can do this stupid thing that you do. Google Docs does this thing where it's like The Rock has written theaters and it's ERS, which is the American spelling, but the Australian and others is RES. So Google Docs is like, do you want me to change this to the place where you are? Like, what is this? And it's like, I don't care. What does it matter if it's the other way? But it tells me every time. There's no like, stop asking me this.
Oh, that's a T-shirt. Stop asking me this. I don't care about your autocorrect Google Docs. And there's a picture of you and you're like, ugh. Ugh. Yeah.
Also, we've got a video out, Mason, a few weeks back. It's called 6 Marvel Characters the MCU Can't Move. And you stupid son of a bitch.
Oh, what did I say?
You said in this video, well, Hugh Jackman said he's never coming back as Logan. And then I said, well, we'll see, which I think completely nullifies the previous statement. And all it says there is, this comment aged well. Oh, this aged like milk. Oh, actually, he is coming back. Oh, I don't know if you heard, but this video's out of date now because Deadpool... I live in the future, you fucking idiot. I live where you live. I don't live in this video. What are you, fucking stupid? Is your brain broken?
James, you live in that video. You're in that video right now.
I feel like I'm in this fucking video.
James, just breathe and focus. Anyway, Rob the Space Knight is a copy. It's a toy character, and they lost the rights to the characters, so you can't see you're in the video.
Here's one. Hugh Jackman is done with being Wolverine. Hugh Jackman will be back as Wolverine in Deadpool 3, which was set up in Deadpool 2. Thanks comment from 4 hours ago. Really great.
This is all engagement, James. I think it's good.
I know, but that's part of me is like, leave a pin comment that's like, hey, shut up.
Oh, nice.
Another part of me is like, this video is doing well. And do I just let this ride?
Well...
This didn't age
because
well.
when you go to like The Guardian, if you go look at a news article in The Guardian and it's an old one, it'll be like, this is an article from 4 years ago. Like it's right at the top, so you know.
Yeah.
So you don't, you know.
Exactly. This one says Hugh is back to laughing faces.
Oh, so they're weeping.
If only they could have anticipated Hugh and Ryan. This is your fault, by the way, for saying that. Yeah.
I did it on purpose to upset you.
This didn't age well, and it's only been a week. Hugh Jackman is back. Rumors Hugh Jackman is coming back as Wolverine for Deadpool 3, and the comment underneath is there's no rumor that's been confirmed.
Can you on YouTube can you censor any comments that have a specific word in them?
Yes.
Well, just get rid of Wolverine.
This video didn't age well. Hugh Jackman retired. This quote aged well. He's done with Wolverine. We'll see.
James, just mute the words Wolverine, Logan, Hugh Jackman, aged future video, quote, internet.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
So forth.
The Hugh line, the Hugh Wolverine line is especially hilarious now. Hugh Jackman done with Wolverine.
Especially hilarious?
Especially this aged well.
James, we're doing too many riffs, and by riffs I mean you going slowly insane over looking at comments on one of your own videos.
You're right. Let's move forward. Anyway. Oh, he was a slave, was he? Yeah, we'll go in, we'll ask him to kneel. You fucking idiot. Also, you can see the future, you fucking dumbass.
He can see some of the future.
Some of the future.
James, he can see what the screenwriter requires of him to see of the future.
God, whenever you see there's a situation and whatever it is and a fucking old head pops up, you're like, here we fucking go. Here's someone who's going to derail everything with irrelevant fucking information.
No, let's rewind.
No, but it's the people, it's the attitude even. It's like
but there are many people that are older than us.
I'm not talking about that. That's not what I'm talking about.
Dear God.
Listen, every time it happens to you, you should just say, hey, get the fuck off the planet. You've had enough.
Oh, Lord. Give me one of your investment properties.
We don't need
Please.
it. Give it to somebody else who needs it.
Uh-huh.
Lead poisoning. It's lead poisoning, Claire, as well.
I have a friend. What? Lead
They're all
poisoning?
fucking lead poisoned. They're lead-lined fucking rooms they slept in.
Oh, if I've been watching, speaking of what we read, and this week it's just been Twitter and Twitter melting down. Incredible.
You know what I love about this as well? Probably the most.
Also, that thing you said is true.
What thing?
The thing about you can send us a letter.
Yes.
That thing is true.
That is true.
I wouldn't lie to you and you wouldn't lie to me.
Correct.
About those things.
We're locked.
So it's accurate.
We're like Dumbledore and Grindelwald. We're locked into some kind of weird hex where we can't lie to each other.
That's right.
Which might have been the point of that movie. I just like being right about...
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I'm not always right. I'm often wrong. But
you
just
digging
to be
your
like,
heels in and
I've
just
been
being...
telling people, and I guess more people in my life, that like he's a fucking idiot.
I don't know who you're talking about, James.
And And just to see this unfold in real time and watch his fucking idiot brain just like
James,
tick over.
When you say this thing unfolding in real time, do you mean a man playing 6-dimensional chess? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's doing it on purpose. Maybe he bought a $44 billion platform
Maybe
because
he wants some of his investors to kill him. Maybe that's why he's doing this, because he's such a genius.
And the fact that, like, it's like shares are tanking in, like, horrible companies because of fake verified tweets and all of that. Like, that presumably would have repercussions for a man who's never experienced any repercussions in his entire life.
He's doing it for the lulz.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
But what were you saying earlier this week to me that was like he just wants to be like funny and a good poster?
He wants to be a funny guy on Twitter, but he'll never be a
just
funny guy
not.
on Twitter.
And I'm not a funny guy on Twitter. It's okay.
You're atrocious on Twitter.
I'm atrocious.
But you're not trying to be
just
good.
like,
Are you trying to be good?
No, never.
Okay, good. Because if you were trying, and you could tell me if you were trying, but if you were trying, that would be
I
atrocious.
would tell you because we can't lie to each other.
That's true. Yeah. But he won't be that guy.
I mean, let that sink in. Come on. And not only that, but like the build up to that. You got to tell somebody that you got to go get a sink.
Yeah.
Or somebody suggested that to you.
Go down to Home Depot and get me a sink.
And then you walk in with it and you say, let that sink in, which also doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, as like a visual gag, like, yeah, sink. You're holding a sink and let something sink in. Like, what's the joke? And then you put down the sink and one of your fucking minions has to go and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like dump it in an alley.
Okay, but imagine you're that guy though. That's your whole day.
Oh, I don't care. I'd take that job.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Just the whims of a moron. But just the idea that like he's very clearly bought into everything he's ever done. He's never invented anything, which is fine. Like, you're a marketing guy. That is clearly your skill. You've tricked people into, like, a bunch of people to thinking you're a genius. And just watching that unravel is just a lot of fun. And he'll get out of it because he's rich. Like, there won't be any actual repercussions, but it is fun to watch Twitter, like, just fall apart, which also I'm totally okay with. There'll be another platform at some point, you know?
That's right.
Anyway, did you have any thoughts on it?
BigSandwich.co.
That's right.
For $9 per month. I know that's more. I know that's an extra $1. I know that's more than a Tasty App Verified, but you get bonus podcasts, movie commentaries, early videos, ad-free feed.
And again, like the idea of getting people to pay $8 a month, which most, like, to make that profitable, there's not enough people to, like, who will sign up to make that so. The value of this company is in its users and advertisers, and you've thrown that away, and you're trying to hit people up for money, but that money is not going to cover your losses. Like, you should know that. I know that. Why the fuck don't you know that?
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy.
It's because
you didn't have a plan?
Yeah.
Like you could have walked in and done nothing and just said, we're doing more content moderation in terms of because we want more free speech, and just left everything else the way it was, and you would have been a fucking hero. To idiots, but you still would have been a hero, right?
Yeah.
Not fire half of the people. God damn. Just crazy.
It's because people have only seen his successes in public and not all the other stuff that sank without a trace over the years.
Like the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, the tunnel apparently was just a way to delay California from having like high-speed rail.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the letters segment. That's our letters.
Tyler P says Logan Paul controversy. This is
which one is
the rug pull?
Oh yeah, he had a
that
crypto,
and then he tried to blame everybody else.
I was going to text you about that while you're on holiday, but I'm like, you probably don't need more Logan Paul in your life.
No, I was keeping up with that.
So a YouTube channel called Coffeezilla did an investigation into Logan Paul's crypto-based game.
Yep.
And found it was all very shady. And
also, his second crypto rug pull.
Oh, interesting.
And the steps that he's made to make amends are good, but don't do enough to like compensate all the people.
And he had an apology of sorts that was basically like, hey, it's not my fault, it's all the criminals I hired to make this.
He's like, well, Coffeezilla neglected to mention this is a criminal. That's your mate, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? The thing about that guy, which is so weird, is you don't need to scam. You're famous. You're doing WWE wrestling and music and boxing and you're a YouTube star and your podcast is huge. What the fuck are you doing?
Right.
I just think he's just one of those like psycho YouTube.
He has to keep it going.
Guys.
He can't leave anything on the table.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Also,
and not like I think all his empathy and everything is faked.
Yeah.
Like
right,
I think he's He's just a sociopath.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. It's whenever anybody gets empathy training, it's not actually learning
Yeah.
to be empathetic. It's just learning to fake empathy.
I think there should be a road back for everybody, including this guy.
And including us.
Including us,
when
definitely.
we get cancelled for whatever we're doing.
And I think he will, and he'll be fine and whatever. But if you film a dead body in a
that was
forest...
him. That wasn't Jake
That was
Paul.
him, yeah.
Oh, that was going to be my question. Which guy was the Japanese death forest? Or
But,
whatever?
there's no point in my life where I would think that was fine. And I know he's apologized and made amends and whatever, but that's not... You're not normal if you do that.
Also, here's my question. What was the game?
With filming a dead body?
No, what was the game? The crypto game.
It's like
this
eggs
is a game
and they grow
it's
into
a
a-
game and it's a fun game. Oh my God, it's so fun. What about it is?
Yeah.
Looks like you just put two animals together and they make another animal. That's not a game.
That's a game.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a spreadsheet.
It is a spreadsheet. But anyway, look, also, if it turns around from this and he just, exclusively does good things, even though he's, a sociopath.
Like he could give us
that's
$1 million.
fine. Yeah, but that's fine, too, you know? You don't have to be a good person at heart. If you're doing good things, your actions speak louder than what you are as a person, Mason.
Wow.
Is what I'm saying.
Wow, what would you say if Hitler did some charity?
Well, he'd have to do a lot of charity, and even then...
Oh, and then you'd forgive him.
No,
That's
even then...
That's really interesting.
You jumped in. I already said even then, I don't think it would be okay, Mason.
Wow, so there isn't a road back for everybody.
No, there's not a road back for Adolf Hitler, Mason.
Wow. Over here at Weekly Planet
Broadcasting Network.
Broadcasting Network Screwdriver.
That's right. But we're actually going to go over to the Daily Wire for $50 million.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We're taking that money.
We're taking the money.
That other people were too proud to take.
That's right. We're gonna gradually say that we got pushed too far to the right by the left.
We were talking about this before the show. Do you know how much fucking money we could make if we pivoted into that? That's where all the money is. That's where all the billionaires are.
I hope this gets played at the wedding.
There's no billionaires in this.
No, it's true.
God.
Yeah, because we're organic.
It's obviously
We're
all of these
organic,
organizations
James.
like Daily Wire, The Blaze, Fox, even CNN and whatever. They're all funded by fucking billionaires. You know?
No, I don't know that.
You do know that,
I do know
Mason.
that, yeah.
They're not profitable for the most part. They can't be. You can't be giving someone $50 million and expect that they're going to equal that.
Exactly.
It's just not happening.
Like, I make all my money from t-shirt sales. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Offensive t-shirt sales. Anyway. Anyway.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Chandler, on your wedding.
Yes. It's too late in the episode, Mason.
Yeah, anyway.
It's from a channel called Daily Mind Trap.
Okay.
I say daily, but she posts every few months, so, make of that what you will.
Okay.
Australian, and it's very interesting. It's only got about 7,000 subs at the
I'm
moment.
ready to tall poppy them. But
Here we go. The video is called Chronically Underwhelmed. This might be why. And she basically talks about how, when you, as an adult, oftentimes, she talks about herself specifically, you have the ability to buy, a lot of the things that you might want, whether it be a new phone or
an even newer phone.
Yeah, not talking luxury items like a yacht or whatever. I'm talking about you get a new TV or
well,
whatever.
I could easily afford a yacht, but go on.
I know you could. But it doesn't.
I could just sell the yacht that I inherited.
Yeah.
And buy a new yacht.
But you don't feel anything because everything you buy is choked down in signing up and subscription services, who would dare, and apps that go on forever, and then it breaks down because the next thing is coming and whatever. So all the joy out of finding something is not just because as a kid, you've filled with wonder and all, but because the experience of purchasing something now has been ruined.
Yeah, right.
And I just thought it was really interesting, a really interesting perspective. And it reminded me of something recently where I went to get a picnic rug.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because they were doing a school concert, my son's school, and I needed a picnic rug or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I go into whatever the bed and table and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
One of those. I can't
Bed
remember
and
which
table
one.
and
Bed
whatever.
and table and bed and table and lamp. I don't know.
Brackets, maybe we've got picnic rugs. You'll have to come in to find out.
Anyway, they did.
Nice.
And they're I go in and they're this picnic rug is $70 or whatever. But if
you were I won't pay it.
No, I was okay. Then it was a decent one and whatever. So I think I looked into it. And they're but if you sign up to our service, you give us your email.
$1.
Yeah, it's half. And I'm no. And I understand also that that's
luxury.
what a
It's
position
luxury.
to be in,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
just
yeah.
be I'll fucking burn that $35 if I never hear from you again.
Right.
But I just remember the time thinking the fuck is this? I just want a fucking picnic rug. And that's not it. That's not the person's fault who's selling it. She was lovely. That wasn't the problem.
But you had to burn her. You know?
Yeah, I had to.
And you get her.
But just and then I have
Listen, lady, I watched this video.
but I just having to justify I don't want to give you any information. I just want to get this and get the fuck out of
I
here.
need to
Why
do
is it
some crimes.
complicated?
With this picnic run.
Yeah, anyway, it just made me think. But again, like...
I need to wrap it around my head and pretend I'm a nonna so I can rob a bank.
I'd probably cover my face with it at the very least. Put it over my head and put holes in it.
Yeah, right.
See how like a ghost.
Yeah.
The tartan ghost.
Flat ghost.
But yeah, so I just think, this experience of like, consumerism, like fast fashion, the way that phones burn out every 3 years and all of that stuff. I say through an iPhone or whatever.
Mate. Hello.
I thought it was great.
And that's the similar themes to the other videos?
I don't know. I just listened to the one. Maybe they're all terrible and this one's amazing.
Maybe. That
but
happens sometimes.
I subscribed, so I'll go back and have a look.
There you go.
Anyway, so that's called Daily Mind Trap. I told you I had an interaction in the park with somebody who kept asking me about my dog and like asking why it wasn't on a lead. But I told you this.
Yes.
This was an off-lead park. I had Zippy, who she looks like a beagle, but she's a beagle ear, not a beagle. And this guy's like, "Why that's a beagle. You shouldn't have them off the lead because they run away." And I'm like, "It's not a beagle." And he's like, "Because they catch a scent and they just go." I'm like, "It's not a beagle." Because
This is YouTube comments in real life.
Also, I should point out at the same time, I'm on the phone. I'm literally on my fucking phone also talking to somebody as this guy. And then I walk a little bit further and I ran into his wife and she's like, they're not so good off their leads. I'm like, it's not a fucking beagle. It's a beagle ear.
You need to print off some literature from the internet that you can hand out to people.
Also,
specifically that guy.
If I've got my dog off my lead and I'm walking and it's following me, do you think maybe I've got it? Do you know what I mean? Like I'm handling the situation.
For now, James.
Anyway, I should have kicked them into a river, both of them.
This is for you and this is for your wife.
I just don't understand hey, I'm telling you the thing you said is not true and just completely barreling over the top of me. What are you doing? What are you fucking doing?
James, what are you doing?
I don't know.
This is a podcast about pop culture, movie news, and reviews.
My dogs are good, Amanda. I like them.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Anyway, go on. This is ridiculous. You've spent 8 fucking years. You just make a Superman game.
Well.
People only want to play Superman. Why the fuck would you make this? So he goes, that's true, but he goes to the mines of Mandalore to dip into the water to replenish himself. And he's wearing his big, heavy Mandalorian armor.
I probably would have taken the armor off.
Well, he can't, can he?
No.
Because he's a fucking idiot. And he steps in and he sinks like a stone 100 feet and he has to be rescued.
Yeah.
What a fucking idiot. He's an idiot. He's a big idiot. And again, I like the show, but he's a fucking idiot.
He is a big idiot with a flamethrower, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, what about NFTs?
What about him? And everyone just went, boo. Well, yeah, as I said, Facebook are even shutting down NFTs. And they're last to everything.
That's true.
They did one thing right 1 million years ago, and it's just been just awfulness ever since. And by that one thing right, the thing after the thing where it was rating women. And then they made a social media platform, and that was all right for a second, and now it's absolute dog shit. Just an unfucking readable page of dreck. Yeah. Things is that I do not want to be involved in whatever this is. This whatever forced fun that it, which again, I don't think is a good thing. But I remember even a teacher, like a grumpy sport teacher once was like, "You don't get involved in anything. Why don't you get involved?" And I'm like, "Because I don't want to." And I won't.
Yeah.
So anyway, fuck him.
Yeah, where's that teacher
and
now?
I hope he's dead. Because that guy fucking sucks. Anyway, man.
That was a happy, fun email. That's the happy, fun email I was
Anyway,
looking for.
what about you in musical theatre? Chris Evans. You know what? I know people love that song. I fucking hate that song. And I don't know why. I've always hated it. I fucking hate that song. And I don't know why, because I know that if you look at it as a song, it's either really good or there's nothing wrong with it. I know that. But I fucking hate it, Claire. I've just always fucking hated it. It's just you never started something on the break into. I didn't think so. He's got better songs.
I actually quite like that song.
It's a fucking terrible song.
But I like it even
in my
more
opinion.
now that you hate it. You might have ruined it for me now.
Good. And think about it also in this way. when you're looking at like people who are on a board and various CEOs and higher ups and shareholders, and I'm not talking just like, I don't know, I've got like 500 shares in Disney. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who have like tens of thousands of these things or whatever. You know what I mean? What contribution is that person, those people, like, what are they making to this in comparison to someone who's literally making the show? And all the people, I'm not even just talking about writing, but all the people associated with making the show. These people don't even put up the fucking money to make these. It's literally just somebody putting their hand out and being like, I want something, give me more money for like literally fucking nothing. It's ridiculous, Mason. It's not fair. Is my point. Here's a great quote. It's from
Karl Marx.
It's from Sal Caleros, who's one of the writers on Snowfall. He worked on Sneaky Pete and a bunch of other stuff. He said, The Shield put FX on the map. Mad Men put AMC on the map. House of Cards put Netflix on the map. Writers did that, not some CEO. Know what you get when you put CEOs in creative lanes? You get Quibi. And that is exactly right.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyways, tip your baristas or whatever, I guess. I know.
You should also do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Definitely do that.
Just livable wage.
Would be nice.
It's not insane to want that.
That's right.
Like you mentioned, to have a salary that's in line with inflation, especially when the money is obviously there. It's fucked. Anyway, Mason, moving along.
All right.
We're 20 minutes plus in. So I know most people probably know this.
We'll trim some of that. The final broadcast of this will just be like, anyway, there's some news coming out of Hollywood. Tip your baristas.
Yeah.
That's it.
So during the exchange between Hobbs and Roman at the barbecue, you see a bottle of Conjure cognac on the table.
Okay. Whose cognac company is that?
Exactly. It's ludicrous.
Okay.
It's ludicrous. Does everybody in this movie have an alcohol brand or company?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Does everybody in Hollywood? Everybody in Hollywood has an alcohol brand.
Hey, listen, everybody. We don't want your gin. We don't want any of your fucking bourbon or your specialized craft beers.
No, James.
No, enough.
We don't want
Mason, I'm putting a stop to it.
James.
Stop doing it.
James, we don't want to pay for it. If they could send it to us, I'll take an aviation gin. I'll take a whatever cognac, the thing you said.
I'm sick of it, Mason.
Also, we'll take
Think of something specific to you.
We'll take a sports team as well. You all got your own sports teams now. We'll take I think we'll prove to you that David Zaslav, the guy who was controlling all the output from Warner Brothers Discovery from here on, is just a regular guy like you and me.
Like me and
In fact, says Nancy Pelosi, he's a reflection of his audience. He's a regular guy.
My understanding of her is that she fucking sucks. That's my understanding. Because I know, like, technically she's supposed to be on the left, which is fucking ludicrous, by the way. She's just been fleecing fucking everybody for decades.
James, you're in the weeds.
I'm in the weeds of it. But what my point is when people are like, well, Nancy Pelosi should go to jail. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, no. What am I going to do? Not Nancy Pelosi. Gives a shit.
How are you going to feed your family, James, if Nancy Pelosi's in the clink, breaking rocks in the hot sun? Anyway.
Like Ron DeSantis is like...
$1 billion is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's true, but he's temporary. There'll be... If he becomes president, it's possible.
Sure.
He's a weird little freak. He's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, why is he... Like, he presents like a person. He's just fucking strange. What a weird freak.
I agree. Strong agree. But maybe that's what the people want these days.
No, but like, you know how Trump's like charismatic at least?
Yeah.
And like, I don't like him, right?
You love him.
I love him. No, but I see the appeal. And like, he can be fun. He's just like, meh. You know, he's just he's gross. I don't know what it is. I can't even specifically put my finger on it. Anyway.
He's one tripping up in an embarrassing way from being out of the race entirely. Like if he's getting out of a car or something or going down some stairs and he trips and like falls over and you know his big bus is in the air or whatever, like he's out. He'll never live that down.
Yeah, exactly. And what I think is interesting about this, because you're supposed to, if you're a politician, you're supposed to come at these things and talk about everything's too woke and whatever, but you're not supposed to
do anything
about it, because then people, as in, like, I should say the media on all sides, turn on you because it looks like you're attacking businesses and
like
and
Disney.
people's jobs.
People love Disney.
People love Disney, exactly.
Oh, ban Disney. Well, you're out then. I mean, what are you doing?
But again, I think they're using this as an excuse, and they were gonna shelve it anyway. I think it's just cost cutting, but it's inconvenient to go, well, we hate this guy, and so we're just gonna not do it. Anyway, funny stuff.
That is funny stuff.
So I'm just doing a big search for the hashtag on Twitter, which I love. What a great God! It's just these blue tick fucking freaks at the top of every
it's always
mention.
the worst, isn't it? Right?
And they're oh my God, the dumbest fucking people as well. And I don't necessarily think there is a correlation between buying a blue tick and being the dumbest motherfucker who's ever written anything down. But my God.
I think there is.
I think some brands just do it or whatever. I think there's that. And some people are just like, I'll pay for this because I like no ads or whatever. Not that there's really any ads on this anyway, but...
It's just, I got an ad today. It's like, you invest in gold. I'm not going to.
Where was it? Which gold should I invest in?
Nice. Real gold.
Yeah. God, I do like the entitlement of like a blue check, just being like, everybody needs to say, like, listen to what I have to say. And
Is
it's
this going on the podcast?
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. But it's like, this is nothing. Like, it's not funny, like either. Like, it's not interesting. It's just you being an absolute dumb prick.
So, James, a young hero makes a choice, and he brings with it the terrors of the multiverse. But enough about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Whoa!
But it's the same plot, but it's The Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And?
I liked it.
Okay. I'll say this, Mason.
Yes.
What a hollow and ghoulish product.
The whole thing,
Just
you think?
what a fucking nightmare. Yuck.
Well,
that's what I say, Mason, to this
what
movie.
I say is there's a lot working against this movie.
Yeah, including all the things in it. I mean, just the idea that, and this is another thing that I think for me is working against it, which isn't an in-universe thing that I just find absolutely just baffling to me, is that Warner Brothers never came out and said literally fucking anything. Or if they did, it was vague and like, well, it's important for mental health and whatever. There wasn't a moment 3 or 4 years ago or whatever before they filmed this movie when there's footage of a woman being like,
choked
to the ground. And that's one of the things that is confirmed. And there's a bunch of stuff that hasn't been. And they've just not said anything. Even to come out and go, we don't condone that. And we want them to be better. And look, we have faith in this movie and the people that are in it and we're moving forward. Even that. But just nothing?
Yeah.
You fucking kidding me?
Let's get Stephen King to say this is the best movie he's ever seen. Yeah.
So I don't think
Yes.
in a movie of this budget
Go on.
I've ever seen worse looking CGI people in anything. And like this is maybe it's a slightly unfair comparison, but this is some like Scorpion King shit.
I know, I saw
those
that. I
kind
saw
of
that
faces.
comparison on Twitter
like,
earlier.
My goodness. And here's a quote from Andy Muschietti who says that
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
He says because a lot of
I said sorry.
a lot of the times when you see the CGI people, and not always, but because there's a second Ezra Miller running around this movie who looks horrendous. But again, not everybody.
There's a second Ezra Miller.
Not everybody noticed or was bothered by that, which is fine. He said that the idea, of course, is that we are in the perspective of the Flash. Everything is distorted in terms of light and textures. We've entered this water world, which is basically being in Barry's POV. It was part of the design, so if it looks a little weird to you, that was intended. I don't believe you. The design choice was, let's make this look like the Polar Express. I do not believe you. And even with, you ran out of time. You ran out of money. Totally. That can happen. I would 100% accept
They gave that check to Christopher Nolan, so they ran out of money.
You might be right, yeah. But and if you're saying it's stylized, and I know he's protecting his movie, I get that. If you're saying it's stylized, you don't want to stylize it in a way that's not this. Would have found less shrapnel.
Wow.
So anyway, so they decide to reverse time together. And then the worst thing I've ever seen happens, Mason. So there's all these cameos appear from across the history of the DC comics and universes and movies that have made and have not been made, which I guess is a homage. But as a homage, yuck. Disgusting.
Here's a few. Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash, played by some guy for 1 second.
Yeah, it's not Teddy Sears. People think it's Teddy Sears. People think that was a nod to the Flash TV series. There isn't one in this. Yeah. Maybe there's a secret one that hasn't been found yet at time of recording. But the fact
you don't get John Wesley shit.
Yeah, you don't want to have a nod to that show.
Grant Gustin.
At all.
You don't want Grant Gustin?
Ezra Miller was in that show.
He was in that show.
That's wild to me. You don't even want to just see it on a screen.
He would have been like, oh, it's that guy. I met that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That show ran so this movie could run awfully.
That's right. What else? Who else? Who do we want to mention?
George
next?
Reeves.
Killed himself.
Yep.
That's the one that I found not good. You didn't have to put that in. You didn't have to put not Brandon Routh.
No. Well, yeah.
Not
Tom Welling.
Tom Welling would have been great. Nice
Dean
to see.
Cain.
No, that's fine. You don't have to put him in.
Adam West is in it.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage is in it.
See, that's the one I think if this were a better movie, it'd be like, finally, we get the payoff from the Kevin Smith story.
If this was a better movie,
Yes.
Nicolas Cage would have actually been in it, and there would have been some interaction, and it wasn't just glowing orbs fucking crashing into each other with like horrible looking people in them. This should be a movie where you're actually interacting with other things. You're not just watching them like you're watching a TV.
James, I am watching a TV. I'm watching a TV right now, aren't I?
Do you know what I mean?
I'm watching a YouTube clip of a man giving effusive praise to the Flash movie.
Also, like, nobody knows that. The Nicolas Cage spider thing?
People do. See, that's the thing.
People like us know. Normal people don't know that.
Normal people like us know, and I like that one. I'm giving
No,
him
I like it, but I don't like the execution
Right,
of it. He doesn't even say anything.
He doesn't say
Also,
anything.
like, what version is it? Because the Kevin Smith version has the giant spider, but he never cast anybody. The Tim Burton version has Nicolas Cage with the long hair and the suit.
Yes.
So it's a combination of the two. But also in that movie, at the end in the concept art, Superman has cut his hair. So he doesn't have... So I guess this is an alternate version, of it, which is a blending of...
James, let me... It is. Well, yeah, obviously, James, you've answered your own question, but the answer is they've built that CGI model from the one still photo of Nicolas Cage they had.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Can you imagine also like the various Flashes running through these universes?
Yeah.
And like they run past like a real Nicolas Cage or Superman beating himself up in a junkyard in Superman 3. Just something.
Yeah.
Like you're watching orbs crash into each other.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Well, see, that's the thing as well, I think...
Are you kidding me, Mason?
I was kidding you this whole time, actually.
Oh, this is a joke?
Yeah, I made this. I made The Flash, and I hide out the cinema.
I felt bad when I saw them. Like it made me feel bad. And this goes back to what I've been talking about before. Whenever I see dead people recreated in movies or people like made to look young, even when it's like Luke Skywalker.
What about Indiana Jones?
I haven't seen it yet. But it never makes me feel good.
Interesting.
It's either neutral to bad.
Is that because you're an empath?
Maybe I'm an empath.
I think it's probably
Maybe I
'cause you're an
feel
empath.
too much.
Yeah. That's probably it, yeah.
They've absolutely sucked the life and air out of all of these characters. It feels so just hollow and terribly unfunny. It is a chore to watch, and I'd imagine also a chore to talk about at length. One of the episodes, I think it's the first one in the series, I think, in the new series, it's completely dedicated to some of them going to the Met Gala or whatever, which is like a horrible place as is. Have you ever seen any footage from that ever? Just weird, rich freaks swanning about in terrible clothing and whatever. And look, hey, do your fashion if that's what you want to do. Absolutely. But just weird vibes, just vampiric-looking ghouls clip-clopping about in weird big shoes or whatever. Junk. Anyway, so the whole episode is like about that. Like, are we going to make it to the Met Gala or whatever? I hope we make it to the Met Gala. And what a just completely unrelatable scenario. They've taken all like the grimness out of Sex and the City, because if you remember like the original series, and even I guess some of the last series, I guess a little bit, but not really. They would sometimes go to like a fancier thing, but a lot of the times you'd see like the grimier or more realistic aspects of New York and even the characters. But now that they're all like rich people in their 50s, it's like, who gives a shit about, what are their problems? Oh, my dress isn't going to fit me for the Met Gala ball. Oh, I guess the resolution is I'll wear the dress that I was supposed to get married to with Big the first time. And that's nothing. And then you think like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll see what hijinks happen at the Met Gala ball. Maybe they'll witness Jason Derulo tumbling down the stairs or whatever. But no, we don't even see it. Like, you'd think there'd be some humor to be had in going there and just being like, look at these awful freaks with their skin pinned back over their skulls, desperately trying to look cool. There's none of that. No, one of the complaints I've seen is, well, look, I don't even like this stuff that comes out of Hollywood, so who cares? But here's the thing, right? Do you like banks? Do you like lining up at the post office? Do you like getting on a grubby train for work? Because people in all of the... Yeah, I do too. The people who work in all the industries, even the industries that you fucking hate dealing with, they are also entitled to a livable wage. Just because this is an entertainment industry, there is this idea that, this should be, you love it, you should do it for free. Nothing should be done for free when you're working for somebody.
That's true.
That's a fucking lie that people tell you to get you to do shit for free. You've mentioned this one when people say, well, if they give in to some of these demands, and I don't think it'll be all of them, I think it'll be some, hopefully, won't they just want further demands? Like you've talked about that. I don't know, do you want to feel that one?
Oh, well, I mean, people are like, the union movement was good back in the day. Union movement was good back in the day, but we don't need it anymore. And it's like, well, if the unions go away, they roll back everything, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see that like anti-union busting has been absolutely fucking rife, like the world over. And you look at wages in relation to inflation, look at it in relation to, like I'm talking like going to the supermarket, look at the cost of things now compared to what it used to be. Look at what it costs to buy a house. Like these things are not in line anymore. It's got absolutely insane. And the thing is about these negotiations, this shouldn't be a one-time thing. Like the industry and all industries are constantly evolving. Like the idea of AI and streaming services, these things like 5 years ago, it wasn't, well, maybe not so much streaming service, but these things weren't at the forefront. These things need to be ongoing.
That's true.
These things constantly need to be assessed.
Because the tech keeps evolving, exactly.
Exactly. And that's everywhere. I've done an economics. That's great.
Well, we've all done an economics,
Also,
right?
like student debt is fucked. What are we even talking about? Come on. That's a ridiculous system.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. You saddle someone with a debt which they can't default on. They sign it when they're 17. What the fuck is happening? Come on. If I'm going out, you know what I fucking hate, Mason?
What's that?
I hate when you go to an average restaurant for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
I like not even fine. Fine's the wrong word. I like dining experiences with good hearty food.
Wow.
Which put a bit of love into it, Mason.
Like a McDonald's.
Not necessarily.
Interesting.
But just not this bog standard shit. I live in the suburbs. There's fucking nothing here, mate. I'm dying. I'm drowning in terrible food, Mason. I just want to go to a good restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
You know what Claire said to me once? The
Here we
absolute
go.
gall. She goes, you didn't even like food. And I'm like, how fucking dare you? She's like, you didn't appreciate food like I don't appreciate food. And you know what I said?
Wow.
I said, you didn't appreciate the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, no. Oh, no,
And
you
she
said
lost
it.
I said it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, she doesn't appreciate the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I also think your taste buds are dead.
That's not true because I love awesome food.
Yeah.
I just don't eat like a bunch of like junk all the time. Not even junk, just nothing food. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You go and you get a meal and you're like, this was whatever. What a waste. Should have just eaten 4 boiled eggs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The point is, it was in a group chat, one of the terrible group chats I'm in, and it came up, something about the moon landing, and someone was like, yeah, who knows about the moon landing? We'll never know. And I'm like,
Tell me off air who that guy is.
I will. But I'm like, no, it happened.
Yeah.
Like at this point, it's too big of a thing that you've talked about this before. I think you the one that told me this, but
I said the moon landing was fake. Yes.
there are too many components that someone wouldn't have just leaked this by accident.
Or
just,
they had a crisis of conscience or
just
whatever.
went, fuck it, whatever, I'm 90, yeah, it was fake.
Yeah.
And here's the
And
proof.
I go, well, actually, if they did that, then somebody would kill them. Well, yeah, then they'd have family who are like, they were killed, and and then you'd have to pay somebody, and then blah blah blah. Goes on forever. The web continues out forever.
The internet has fucking ruined minds.
Everybody's got
whatever
brainworms now.
algorithm you get caught in, it just fucks your brain into mush.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember
Don't drive directly into the truck. Just hit the brakes.
I lost a bunch of points on the test.
Yeah.
Not I got downgraded. I still passed.
Okay.
Because it started bucketing down. And I came to a roundabout.
Oh, this is in real life.
This is in real life. And I couldn't see.
Yeah.
Because it was all like the whole thing fogged up and I had to wait for it to unfog and I couldn't see any cars. And like, oh, you stopped unnecessarily.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, are you serious?
Under your breath?
Yeah. I'm like, fuck you. But I passed. So I was like, whatever. Like, who cares? But yeah.
Whoa.
I think about that and I'm like, that's unfair. I was being what? Just drive out? I'm a maniac.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy. No, I'm not anymore, am I?
You're not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The perfect office conditions. I got friends who work in like those kind of spaces and a lot of like corporate gigs do that, like banks and accounting firms and whatever.
and like roving desks, and they're like, it's a fucking nightmare.
Sounds
Because
that
like
way.
you don't know where you're gonna sit. You
Yeah.
gotta book every room. You don't have like a place to like
Yeah.
put all your stuff.
And if they rotate your desks all the time, you can't put your little bobbleheads
exactly,
anywhere. I know.
what are you gonna put it out and put it there every day? You'd forget it one day to be gone.
Yeah.
Someone put it in the toilet. Yeah. Anyway.
What, to cook a steak on it?
Presumably.
Well,
That's the fuel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm up here.
are you bringing up vintage outfits?
Yeah, I'm bringing up all my vintage outfits.
How many vintage outfits you got?
I don't have any vintage outfits, I
Oh,
don't
I
think.
don't have any vintage. I got so many. And by that, I mean I have clothes from 10 years ago that I still wear.
That'll do it, yeah. You've got your jacket that looks like two jackets.
No,
but it's
Mason,
actually one
I'm
jacket.
talking about my jacket that looks like two jackets. I'm fairly confident Claire threw out my one jacket that looks like two jackets.
You don't know that. She might have burned it. She might have
All
burned
I
it and
know
been in the
is
backyard.
I would not have thrown out that jacket.
No, that's true, yeah.
And she doesn't even throw out my clothes. Like, she's not one to be like, I'm going through
She
your
would
wardrobe.
have made an exception for that jacket.
It was a good jacket. It had the warmth of one very thin jacket, but it looked
Yeah.
like two.
That's true.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
I mean,
Movie.
initially there was just one book, the Bible.
Yeah, sure, that's right. Was that the first book?
Yep.
I thought it was that book, Brown Bear, What Do You See? I hate that book, Mason.
Oh, yeah?
I know it's about colours and patterns and repetition for like very young children, but fuck that book. Tall.
She's not even that tall.
It's
She's
not
like
that
6'1"
tall.
or something.
Yeah, why couldn't she be like 9 feet tall?
9 feet
That's
tall.
a tall girl.
That's tall.
Also, I don't know if it's like anybody else. I like tall women. Not in the sense that like this is my thing, but I've never looked at a tall woman and been like, yuck.
Right?
What the fuck is happening?
I don't know, man.
Well, is that so strange that a woman is tall? I'm like 5'10". There's a bunch of women that are taller than me. It's not that unusual.
That's true.
Yeah, anyway.